His younger brother is a gold-badged hero revered by all, while he is just a weak coward bullied by everyone, all because he lost an opportunity that could have determined his fate, the door to become a golden badge hero. It was snatched away by his brother, and thus his miserable life began. However, heaven showed favor, and 3 years later, the opportunity presented itself again. He got the chance to enter through the Rainbow Gate, remembering all the humiliations he had endured. This time, no matter what, he would seize this opportunity with his life, completely changing his destiny. This is a world full of portals, where hell gates descend upon the human realm. Countless powerful monsters emerge to massacre humanity. At the same time, trial gates also descend. If humans enter and pass the trial of the gate, they can obtain powerful strength, capable of killing monsters. People call them heroes. The level of the trial gate also represents the hero's current rank. The highest level is the Golden Badge Hero. Golden Badge Heroes enjoy endless rights and riches and are objects of worship and attention from everyone. That day, a television broadcast was interviewing the Golden Badge Hero. Renji and Jirasaka, the boy watching TV with admiration, was named Subaru Ariaki, dreaming of becoming a hero like him someday. His half-brother Taiga Ariaki beside him was very impatient, since they were stepbrothers from different mothers. Just then, a golden gate suddenly appeared before Subaru. Subaru extended his hand in disbelief, just as he thought his dream was coming true. His brother ran and pushed him aside. Grabbing the doorknob, he turned to Subaru with an evil smile. "Sorry, this gate is mine." Just as Subaru desperately tried to stop him, the golden gate had already closed on him. When his brother went through the gate, he had become the youngest Golden Badge hero. Time flew by and 3 years passed. In this world where the strong rule, shy and weak, Subaru became a target for bullying. That day, he was hung up and insulted by 3 thugs with bronze badges. However, he couldn't defend himself, only enduring the humiliation with clenched teeth. Nevertheless, the thugs weren't done with him. They chose to throw stones for more fun. Just as the green-haired punk was about to throw, a voice surprised him. It was the Golden Badge hero Taiga Ariake. Seeing his brother bullied, Taiga not only refused to help but showed a look of disgust. "Damn scum, being bullied by bronze badge trash. You've completely embarrassed me. Luckily we're not blood-related." Then he grabbed a stone, activated his skill, Golden Arm, and threw it forcefully. The stone shot out like a golden lightning bolt, grazing Subaru's face as it flew into the sky. The clouds behind were swept away by this powerful attack. The tremendous power made the 3 bronze badge thugs sweat coldly. Looking back at Subaru, he had peed himself out of fear. Seeing this pitiful scene, Taiga immediately lost interest and left with the words, "Do whatever you want with him, it's not my problem," and then walked away with his arm around a girl. The 3 thugs relaxed upon hearing this. After they finished with Subaru, they stripped him and threw him into the school field. Even passers-by took pictures and laughed. Since Taiga became a Golden Badge hero, their parents also began living a life of luxury while Subaru could only live in a room like a kennel. That day, Taiga ordered him to buy water while studying, and when he was about to explain, he was met with ruthless mockery. "No matter how much you study, you're still useless. You'll always be scum." Then he threw money in Subaru's face. "Don't think about running away because you can't escape." While buying water, Subaru was lost in thought, remembering Taiga's words. They were brothers, and he was serious about it. During these 3 years living in a doghouse, enduring the heat and cold despite giving so much to the family, even being called useless, he would really continue such a life forever. Thinking about this, Subaru was in agony. A life like that was worse than death. The source of all this was that golden door. If he had another chance, he would never let anyone take it from him. But there are no second chances in life. At that moment, the 3 troublesome guys from before suddenly appeared behind him, bringing him back to reality. The guy with the hat said, "Looks like you have really bad luck. I just got hit by a monster at the door. Now you come to play with us and make us happy." Hearing this, Subaru turned and ran. But this action triggered completely the sadistic desire of the guy with the hat, who claimed that this time he would torture him slowly to death. Scared, Subaru could only run wildly. The 3 bad guys easily caught up and mocked him. "This is so fun. Our little Subaru is desperate." Then the guy with the hat brandished his knife indifferently. Subaru, wounded by the blade, closed his eyes in pain, wondering if they really intended to kill him. Subaru screamed, terrified, "I don't want to die," although he had been thinking life was worse than death. When death really came, he desperately wanted to live. Running into an alley, the man with the hat suddenly had an idea. He pushed Subaru into the alley. Then the 3 caught up and beat and kicked him. Subaru could only beg for mercy. But the more he did, the more excited they became. Beaten until bruised, Subaru began to cry. The tired bullies also lost interest. They activated a fireball skill, ready to finish him off. At that moment, Pixel suddenly appeared in front of the curly-haired guy. The next second, a bronze door formed. The curly-haired guy was instantly split in half, dead before the others could react. The bronze door quickly broke and upgraded to a silver door. Just as the green-haired boy was surprised, the silver door broke and upgraded to a golden door. The eyes of the guy with the hat opened wide. Golden door. Just then, the golden door suddenly shook violently. Then it broke and upgraded to an unprecedented rainbow color. Subaru stared fixedly at this door that had appeared before him for the second time. This time, he absolutely would not let anyone take it from him. He stepped forward and grabbed the door handle. The two who had regained consciousness desperately tried to stop him. Then one threw a fireball at Subaru. The violent explosion blew his legs off instantly. An intense and unheard of pain ran through his body. But thinking about the harassment he had endured for 3 years, all the humiliation he had suffered, this time, even if he died, he would not let anyone else have the door. Subaru's body burst with a last surge of strength. Crawling desperately toward the door, he fainted the moment the door closed. A monster slowly approached him, smiling wickedly. What an interesting guy. Then it crouched down, pointing the tip of its finger at the head of its Varo, then immediately inserted it. A powerful electric current ran through his body. His cut legs healed at a visible speed. Then his heart began to beat again. Upon waking, Subaru saw the monster up close. He immediately stepped back in fear, but the monster casually walked toward a throne, then showed a disdainful expression. Subaru looked around, still terrified by the process of entering the door but remembering the interview of the Golden Badge hero Renji. The space inside the door was a building with a knight in golden armor. Only fighting and winning his approval, one could obtain some kind of power from him. Looking at the terrifying monster in front of him, Subaru, he froze, not knowing what to do. The monster spoke first. "How long are you going to stand there, kid? Did the hit fry your brain?" Subaru trembled and replied, "My brain is fine." The monster grew a bit impatient. "Then come here. If you can hit me once, I can grant you power." But Subaru shouted anxiously, "Wait, who are you?" The monster instantly got irritated. "You idiot, who the hell cares about that?" Then he casually waved a hand. A powerful shockwave made a trench in the ground. Subaru's eyes widened, thinking it was absolutely impossible to fight this being. Even trying to stand up, his trembling legs wouldn't obey. The monster held his forehead, exasperated. "Looks like you need help." With a snap of his fingers, countless swords fell from the sky. Then he pointed at Subaru and said, "Either grab the weapon and fight or turn around and go home." Subaru looked at the terrifying monster in front of him, then glanced at the door behind him. Maybe leaving now would save his life after all. Fear overcame him, and his trembling legs walked toward the door. The moment he grabbed the doorknob, the monster mocked him. As expected, a damn waste. Those familiar words made Subaru's body tremble, instantly recalling those humiliating memories. The monster continued mocking, "You're miserable. Life will always be spent crawling, all because of your cowardly choice." At that moment, Subaru seemed to see his entire miserable life stretching out before him. Enraged, he frantically pounded on the door in front of him. "Damn it, damn it," he shouted furiously. "Having power means you can do whatever you want. Being weak means you deserve to be bullied and insulted." This scene excited the monster. Of course, useless. Subaru was now furious. "Shut up, go to hell." He raised his fist and charged at the monster with rage, breaking the monster's face with a single hit. But the monster was delighted rather than angry. "Little one, you passed the test." Then he bit Subaru's shoulder. Instantly, a burning energy coursed through his body. Subaru felt like his body was about to explode. He thought, "He's trying to kill me. It's a trick." Then he bit back. "Don't mess with me. Even if I die, I won't back down." The monster seemed surprised. What an interesting type. It wasn't long before Subaru was pushed to his limit, with rainbow electricity surging all over his body. He collapsed to the ground. The monster showed a satisfied smile. "Remember my name, Vanquish. Until we meet again, little one." Inside the rainbow door, Subaru fainted after receiving the power. When he opened his eyes again, a series of voices sounded. "You have inherited the skills of the ancient vampire Banish. You have gained the blood mold ability. You have gained the rainbow blood taker ability. The trial door is about to disappear." Then the trial space began to collapse. However, Subaru couldn't move, just watched helplessly as the door gradually vanished. The next moment, he fell into an endless abyss. Outside the door, the two thugs with bronze badges saw the shattered rainbow door, grinding their teeth. "Damn it, you're kidding me. Such a good chance wasted on this loser." Just as they were about to leave, a sudden, breaking sound was heard. Subaru jumped out of the broken space. The two thugs were shocked. Damn. He really survived. Subaru had now truly become a rainbow hero. The guy with the hat refused to accept this fact and rushed at him with a knife, but Subaru easily dodged it. Then came a second strike. "Portal thief, die." At the critical moment, Subaru's eyes lit up with a rainbow glow. The hat guy's movements suddenly seemed extremely slow. A simple crouch easily dodged the attack. The hat guy's face showed disbelief, so he frantically increased the speed of his attacks, but all of them were dodged by Subaru. The next second, Subaru grabbed the hand of the boy with the hat, shouting, "Stop now." The boy with the hat was so angry that he could have devoured him, but the next second he started laughing. He had noticed Subaru's trembling legs. "So you're just a rookie. A harsh reprimand, you're worthless trash. How dare you grab my hand?" Subaru was scared and quickly let go. Taking advantage of this moment, the guy with the hat gave Subaru a knee to the chest, followed by a punch aimed at his face. Subaru reacted and urgently dodged it, but was hit by the next punch from the guy with the hat. Subaru instinctively wanted to scream in pain, but was surprised to discover he felt no pain. At this moment, a panel appeared in front of him, showing Subaru's vitality stats. Looking at the two punks in front of him, it was like a digitized space. Is this what heroes see? The green-haired boy definitely noticed. Now he could see the interface, but was scolded by the boy with the hat. "Shut up." This morning, he was still a loser who wet his pants. "I absolutely won't accept this fact." Then his hand ignited with roaring flames, throwing them toward Subaru in front of the huge fireballs. Subaru had nowhere to dodge. The next second, a violent explosion burst into towering flames. The guy with the hat had a smug smile, thinking he had succeeded. But the next second, he was surprised his valor was there without a scratch. Looking at the panel, his life value had only dropped 32 points. The guy with the hat was shocked. Is this a joke? A skill that could destroy a truck, and he's fine. The green-haired boy became fearful. Maybe we should run that portal. He's definitely higher level than gold. The guy with the hat scolded angrily. "Idiot, look closely. He's only level 1. If his level rises, we're dead, so we have to kill him now." Then a gray rope shot out. Subaru was tied up and immobilized instantly. It was the green-haired boy activating his skill. The guy with the hat took the opportunity to charge with his knife. "Die. Damn scum." Subaru was as anxious as an ant on a hot pan, because he had no idea how to use his skills at the critical moment. Several blood swords emerged from his body. The guy with the hat charging was pierced. Then Vanquish's voice sounded, "What a troublesome guy. I'll only teach you once." Blood mold skill activated. You can control the shape of the blood for 10 seconds. Discover the rest yourself. Remember to fuel your hatred while he was distracted. The tip of a knife was already centimeters away. I instantly dodged this fatal blow. Subaru couldn't understand why the guy still attacked, despite being seriously injured. The guy with the hat had entered a frenzy state. "Damn gate thief. Our friend died because of you. You should die, killer. No one will be sad or miss you. No one needs you." These words completely ignited Subaru's fury. The spark of hatred in his heart began to burn. "Shut up, stop talking nonsense." A strong rainbow energy began to burst from his body, raising his furious fists. He charged at the guy with the hat. The sharp knife shattered on contact with his fist. Then a punch crashed into the guy with the hat's face. The veins of the enraged Subaru bulged, followed by another punch, sending the guy with the hat spiraling forward toward the green-haired guy. The green-haired guy saw the situation was serious and quickly activated his skill, taking the guy with the hat, who looked like a dead dog, and fleeing. Subaru saw them disappear, sighing in relief. Finally, it's over. The next day, people from the Hero Association arrived at the scene. Seeing the devastation, they assumed it must have been the work of monsters. In 1180, at that moment, the gold badge hero Renji slowly approached and analyzed. There were no traces of monsters nearby. The ability to split a bronze badge hero in half must be at least at the silver badge power level. Even his spiritual guides sensed a disturbing aura. However, Renji didn't think much of it, then looked up at the sky before the damn sky clock hit 0. The most important task was to destroy more demon gates. Meanwhile, that morning, just because Subaru hadn't returned from buying water overnight, Taiga had smashed and destroyed Subaru's doghouse. Damn Subaru, how dare he not answer my messages? Then his phone received information about the death of the bronze badge hero. He was one of the 3 who had bullied Subaru. Taiga suddenly thought of something. His pupils contracted in surprise. Damn it, that's impossible. Don't tell me he's become a hero already. He went to the police station to verify the truth. The officer was respectful. Seeing one of the 7 gold badge heroes of the country, Taiga went straight to the point. Bring me all the files on last night's murder case. Given the supreme status and power of a gold badge hero, the officer had no choice but to comply. Meanwhile, Subaru arrived at the Hero Association headquarters, an organization that manages heroes and demons, demon gates. To advance in hero rank, one must clear demon gates, and to enter demon gates, one must register as a member. Last night's incident was classified as a murder case, and a gold badge hero was sent to investigate. If Taiga found him, it would be over. So Subaru's most important task now was to quickly improve his strength. A young, enthusiastic woman greeted him and began explaining the rules. First, clearing demon gates lets you level up. Second, the number of stars on a gate represents its difficulty. Third, stars can be exchanged for money. Hearing that stars could be exchanged for money, Subaru pulled out the stars dropped by the guy with the hat. Although he felt bad, he was broke. The young woman was surprised to see the stars, wondering how an unregistered hero had stars. She said entering gates illegally was a punishable crime. Subaru was panicking and lost, but the next second the young woman showed a sweet smile. Since you're new, I'll let it slide this time. Lucky Subaru sighed in relief. However, the final amount of the exchange still surprised him. Based on the exchange rate, Subaru could now be considered rich. This also gave him more motivation to be a hero. But since his current appearance was too peculiar, Subaru decided to change his image first. After a spree of vengeful spending, Subaru finally looked like a hero. Then he went to a cafe and ordered a cappuccino, savoring it slowly. It's so delicious. He hadn't experienced a life like this since. Taiga became a hero. Subaru was so excited he almost cried. Now he had become a hero, finally escaping that unbearable life. Silently, he decided to find more gates and work hard to level up and make this kind of life continue. But at that moment, a strong sense of pressure interrupted his pleasant daydream. Turning his head, it was Taiga looking at him fiercely. "I found you, damn scum." Then a shockwave shattered the glass in front of him. He grabbed Subaru's neck, pulled him out forcefully, and threw him into the parking lot. The strong impact made Subaru bounce between cars. Just as he was about to crash into a mother and her child, Subaru turned toward them and quickly activated his blood mold ability. Instantly, streams of blood shot out, wrapping around the nearby vehicles, managing to finally stop them, saving the mother and child. He shouted for them to get away fast. Then he looked fiercely at Taiga. Taiga, wrapped in 10-meter-tall golden flames, he walked slowly towards Subaru. "Subaru, I really can't believe you actually became a hero." As he finished speaking, an intense golden energy enveloped his body. "I'm going to kill you." At this point, Subaru knew there was no escape. Even if it was just level 1, even if he faced one of the 7 heroes of the nation with a gold insignia, his gaze was determined in energy. Rainbow began to sprout from his body. "Come on, lit up this time, I won't back down now." Knowing that Subaru had also become a hero, Taiga had used every means to finally find him, wishing for nothing more than to kill him immediately. Subaru was surprised at how quickly they found him. Taiga let out a cold laugh. "Think about it. In hell." His huge fist came straight at Subaru, who quickly threw himself backward, jumping back to create distance. "Damn it, it was the use of the phone and spending money that made them locate me." Taiga smiled maliciously and said, "So what if you know? You're already a dead man facing an opponent so powerful." The interested voice of Vanquish sounded in his mind. "How do you plan to win this fight?" But facing the huge gap in attack power, Subaru only had one thought: stay alive. That was my main concern. Vanquish smiled and said, "Oh, here's a hint. The blood mold ability can convert magical power into blood for use." Taiga stopped talking and activated his ability. Golden Impact, determined to kill Subaru with one blow. After a violent explosion, flames rose to the sky. Just when he thought it was over, the job was done easily. The smile on his face gradually froze. Subaru had imitated the green-haired guy's technique, controlling blood in thread form, flying through the air to dodge the attack. But before Subaru could land, Taiga used his speed advantage to appear behind him, about to unleash a full-power attack. At the critical moment, Subaru released a thread of blood to change direction, barely avoiding this fatal blow. However, under this powerful impact, the area within 50 miles instantly turned to ruins. Taiga didn't expect his consecutive attack to be dodged by a rookie hero. He was furious with shame, charging furiously at Subaru. "Damn scum, you're dead if I catch you." Surprisingly, Subaru didn't dodge this time. A blood mist spread, his figure instantly disappearing into the mist. When Subaru reappeared, he was behind Taiga, recalling all his past suffering, turning all his pain and rage into strength. He put everything into a punch at Taiga, but such an attack couldn't even break his defense. Instead, Subaru's arm filled with intense pain. Reacting, Taiga gave a contemptuous smile, casually swinging a claw. Blood immediately gushed from Subaru's chest. With just a casual attack, Subaru was seriously injured, his life value instantly dropping to minimum. Taiga now wore a victorious smile, reaching out to finish him off. Suddenly, the blood on the ground condensed into several blood swords. At the same time, a blood mist blocked Taiga's vision. With all the strength of his valor behind them, Taiga was instantly pierced like a wasp's nest. After the successful strike, Subaru caught his breath, believing in the toughness of these blood swords, which were the limit of what he could control. But the next second was incredible. Taiga was there, and in front of Taiga, who was invincible in speed, power, and defense, Subaru now fell into deep despair, allowing Taiga to grab him. The outcome was decided. Taiga launched his final attack with all his strength, hitting Subaru's chest. The powerful impact immediately raised clouds of dust. When the dust settled, Subaru was unharmed. The full power hit had struck a blood sac, completely dispersing the impact. The next second, the blood sac melted and stuck to Taiga's hand like rubber, impossible to shake off. Subaru now converted magical power into blood as the magical power rapidly diminished. More and more blood spheres appeared, all launched toward Taiga. Taiga was instantly wrapped up and immobilized. Taiga was furious, shouting angrily, "You think you can win?" But Subaru was very calm. He never thought he could win, he just wanted to survive. Then he fully activated all the blood spheres, instantly surrounding Taiga completely, then using blood ropes to escape the scene to prevent Taiga from chasing Subaru. He turned the blood into fog to block the vision of a hero with a gold badge. Being manipulated like this, Taiga was now extremely enraged. Damn. Scum. The hunter. Taiga ignored everything and was about to chase Subaru. A golden chain shot out from the blood fog. Taiga was tied up and immobilized. All 7 great heroes with gold badges had gathered. Renji's gaze was cold as he said, "Destroying the city like this? You better have a good explanation, or you're not going anywhere." Meanwhile, Subaru, who had escaped alive, was extremely grateful. Because his health and magical power were at rock bottom, he felt a chill, knowing the next encounter would surely be fatal, so he must strengthen himself quickly. At that moment, a nearby demon gate was slowly descending somewhere, in a corner of the city. A group of thugs planned to take over a gate reserved for a girl. The girl was not afraid but full of confidence, taking a confident stance, ready to fight. But the next second, she learned a lesson. It turned out these thugs were a team with an average level of 13, while the girl was only a bronze badge hero, level 8. The leader wearing sunglasses mocked her. "Pichu, what an idiot daring to challenge us at level 8. Another thug by the gate pointed and said, "Just give up the gate and everything will be fine. After all, this is a survival of the fittest world." Just as he finished speaking, Subaru suddenly appeared nearby. "I heard you're deciding who enters the gate by elimination. Count me in, trusting in our numbers." A punk stepped forward and insulted him. Where did this idiot come from to join? Then threw a punch, trying to teach Subaru a lesson. But Subaru easily dodged it and immediately launched a blood sphere at the punk's feet, sending him flying up. Then he fell flat on his face. This scene surprised everyone present. A bronze badge hero defeated so easily. The other punks refused to accept this fact, believing he must have used some dishonest skill. Then they all charged at him together. Subaru calmly took his position, facing the bald giant who charged at him. With just one hit, he knocked him to the ground. The 3 remaining punks looked with wide eyes. 1 hit, 2 hits, 3 hits. Without exception, all 3 punks were defeated with a single blow. For Subaru, these punks were even weaker than the guy with the hat, and much less than his brother Taiga. Seeing the situation was bad, the man with sunglasses hid at a distance to shoot, activating his firearm skill. 6 shots fired at Subaru. Just when he thought his surprise attack had succeeded, the smoke cleared. The bullets had been blocked by Subaru's blood spheres. Now it was the man with sunglasses' turn to panic. Before he could reload, his glasses were broken with 1 hit. With this, all the punks were easily defeated. The girl looked surprised, but her Varo was busy looting. Soon he had a new set of gear before entering through the gate. He even gave a salute to the girl. The girl only reacted after a while, yet this gate was originally reserved for her. Entering through the gate for the first time, Subaru marveled at the beautiful scenery inside. Suddenly, he was knocked flying by the gate behind him. The girl hurriedly entered and locked the door, preventing the criminals from waking up and coming in. Then the angry girl said that this portal was reserved for her, Subaru. He quickly explained that it was his first time inside and that for certain reasons he needed to become stronger. The girl remembered Subaru's help before, and seeing that Subaru was alone at level 1, she agreed to join the team, then introduced herself. "I'm Saiaka Mamilla. What's your name?" Subaru was about to say his name, but suddenly, he remembered they were still after him for murder, quickly changing his answer to Venser, and so Subaru began his first team cooperation at that moment. The monsters in the distance spotted the two and started gathering. Saiaka was full of energy. "Leave it to me." She lunged at a goblin, delivering a hard hit to its face, then the goblin collapsed to the ground. She kept moving quickly among the monsters, hitting them one after another. All the monsters were on the ground. This scene surprised Subaru. Is this girl really that strong? Saiaka proudly presented, "This is my impressive strike." Just as she finished speaking, all the monsters behind her got up. Subaru finally understood. Her ability had a time limit, just like his. The awakened monsters surrounded Saiaka, because Subaru had trusted Sayaka's words and stayed still. Seeing Saiaka in danger from afar, Subaru now had to test his new ability. At a critical moment, Subaru released several blood cords, strangling the necks of all the monsters tightly. Then with a powerful pull, All the monsters were thrown through the air and violently slammed against the ground, suffering double damage and meeting their end. This scene left Saiaka stunned. At that moment, a series of level-up sounds played. Subaru immediately rose to level 4 and the duration of his blood mold ability extended from 10 to 15 seconds. Now Subaru's wounds healed, and he even developed an 8-pack. The feeling of leveling up excited him greatly. Recovering from her surprise, Saiaka thought to herself, how is this guy so powerful? However, Subaru was the first to offer praise, saying, your ability is really amazing. Saiaka pointed to her head in confusion. I'm not supposed to be the one saying that, Subaru explained. Honestly, if your impressive strike is used one-on-one, it wouldn't be invincible. Saiaka thought for a moment and suddenly felt it made a lot of sense. Then Subaru pointed to a canyon in the distance, saying the terrain was perfect for a one-on-one fight. Excited, Saiaka couldn't wait to try it. She threw a stunning punch at the monster in front. The monster was stunned and disoriented, but as soon as it regained consciousness, it immediately received a second hit, and so this poor monster became a punching bag, hit until it disappeared. A notification appeared, you have killed a level 6 monster. For the first time, Saiaka realized how fun combat could be. She kept eliminating monsters using the same technique. Suddenly, a dangerous presence approached. A goblin boss appeared riding a giant wolf. Facing the level 17 goblin boss and the level 12 giant kobold wolf, Subaru showed no fear and told Saiaka, take care of the others, I'll handle this one. The battle erupted instantly. A massive impact sent stones and dust flying. Subaru dodged a lethal blow with a quick step back. Then the giant wolf's claws attacked. Subaru decisively faced it with his fist in an instant. After more than 10 exchanges, neither side gained. The goblin boss on the wolf saw this and drew his bow. The next moment, the goblin's hand glowed green. The arrow split into dozens of light arrows heading towards Subaru. In the emergency, Subaru quickly launched a blood mold defense, wrapping himself completely. Under the immense force, the defense almost breaks. Only now does Subaru realize that the goblin is the real boss. Saiaka, watching from the side, can only worry anxiously, because when monsters exceed your level by 3, their stunning blow becomes ineffective, so you must quickly eliminate the monsters in front of her. Meanwhile, Subaru concentrates 2 blood molds in his hands and with all his strength transforms them into dense blood arrows that shoot forward, but the giant wolf disappears from its original position. The next second, it teleports in front of Subaru, then the goblin boss's hand flashes green again. Suddenly, a rain of arrows descends, forcing Subaru to block and dodge. Detecting a skill being released, Subaru quickly raises a blood shield to defend himself. However, what the goblin shoots this time is a piercing arrow. The blood shield and Subaru are pierced through. Instantly, a burning pain spreads through his body. Cursed, the goblin actually has a second skill. The previous arrow rain was just a decoy. Subaru now faces an unprecedented crisis. The goblin gives him no chance and activates another skill. Just then, Saiaka suddenly appears and hits the wolf's head hard. The giant wolf is stunned and collapses to the ground. Subaru looks toward the cannon. All the monsters have been eliminated by Saiaka. Her level has successfully risen to 9, allowing her amazing strike to affect the level 12 giant wolf. Seeing the situation worsen, the goblin quickly distances himself. Subaru knows his chance has come. He releases the blood ropes, tightly wrapped around the wolf's head, jumps high with all his strength, and then pulls hard, tightening the blood ropes with a crunch. The giant wolf's neck breaks instantly. A notification sounds. You have killed a level 12 giant wolf. Your level has increased. Subaru's wounds heal quickly. The goblin boss keeps activating skills, but now Subaru has devised a counter-strategy. Imitating Taiga's skill, the blood mold instantly transforms into a huge blood fist, facing the incoming piercing arrow. In an instant, the unstoppable giant fist crushes the goblin's chest. The goblin immediately spits out blue melon juice and meets his end. A notification sounds. You have killed a level 17 goblin boss. By killing monsters above your level, Subaru's level rises rapidly to 9. With perfect coordination, Subaru successfully completes his first demon gate in just 15 minutes, breaking the time record. Meanwhile, a group of punks waits impatiently at the gate. The shirtless punk grits his teeth, determined to teach Subaru a lesson when he comes out. Just then, they notice the time on the gate suddenly stops, indicating successful completion. 2 punks look incredulous since the average completion time for a 2-star gate is 2 hours. However, Subaru and Saiaka emerge in just over 10 minutes. The shirtless punk immediately steps forward to confirm if they really succeeded. At that moment, a panel appears before everyone, showing the remaining time for completion. The next second, the remaining time returns to the sky clock, a giant clock visible worldwide, whose countdown's end means the end of the world. That's why the heroes fight continuously. Now the punks finally believe this fact. Subaru approaches the shirtless punk, apologizing for taking his clothes and offering compensation. The punk quickly waves his hand, saying it's not necessary. Brother, stay with her now. All the punks are impressed by Subaru's strength and soon leave the place. Then a breaking sound is heard from behind. The demon gate disappears, dropping 2 stars. Saiaka happily picks up the stars since they represent a considerable amount of wealth. However, Subaru makes a request in the blink of an eye. Subaru returns to the cafe, seeing how normal life resumes. He is so moved that he almost breaks down in tears, knowing his efforts were not in vain. Then Saiaka suddenly asks, Vanquish isn't your real name, right? Subaru's reaction gives the hesitant answer. Seeing this, Saiaka quickly explains she's not blaming him. After all, they fought side by side as comrades, and Subaru saved her life. She wants to become a companion who never betrays, and offers help whenever needed. Reflecting on his painful past experiences, the word companion is something no one had ever told him before. A deeply moving Subaru, who then lets his guard down and begins to tell Saiaka about his various experiences, the tragic ones. Subaru's experiences resonate deeply with Saiaka because she too was once the weakest in her family, often excluded and despised, so becoming stronger is her unwavering goal. And Subaru must become stronger to survive, so both reach a common goal. Meanwhile, at the Hero Association headquarters, the Gold Badge Heroes, led by Renji, are discussing how to approach the 5-star Demon Gate. Taiga's movements restricted. Only 6 Gold Badge Heroes can act nearby. Shikishima comments, losing an impulsive and brainless guy doesn't matter. Yudo, more concerned, points out that the 5-star gates must be cleared by Gold Badge Heroes, so they need enough personnel to be safe. However, Renji is confident about this because he has invited the strongest Silver Badge team, Humiliated, to participate in this challenge. At that moment, Subaru, headed to the Hero Association to exchange stars, accidentally runs into Team Julieta. Subaru quickly apologizes. The leader of Team Julieta arrogantly says, "Watch where you're going, kid," seeing the team walk away. Subaru comments on their impressive aura. Meanwhile, Saiaka is excited because she has successfully reserved the next 2-star Demon Gate. However, what they don't know is that in this seemingly ordinary Demon Gate, an extremely dangerous disaster awaits them. Shortly after the two enter this 2-star Demon Gate, finding a spiral passage leading down. Subaru closes the door. A panel appears. Door lock confirmed. Mission start. Saiaka is excited and eager to start. Just then, a strong sense of danger approaches. Subaru looks down into the dark passage. At the bottom, a strange flame floats. Suddenly, numerous skeleton soldiers begin advancing. Soon, the skeleton soldiers arrive before the skeleton soldier leader suddenly draws his sword and attacks Saiaka. Subaru instantly releases a blood shield, blocking this sudden attack for Saiaka. Reacting quickly, Saiaka strikes the skeleton until it shatters, successfully eliminating the first skeleton soldier. Now the attacks from other skeletons follow, but Subaru blocks them one by one. Saiaka also understands the situation and quickly launches her attack. With their perfect coordination, they successfully kill the first wave of skeleton soldiers. But more and more skeletons advance, forcing Subaru to stay fully alert. Soon both are panting from exhaustion. Subaru loudly reminds it that there are too many enemies and they must conserve energy. Saiaka looks at Subaru like he's an idiot. Shouldn't it be the other way around? Inside the gate, they should give it their all, since leveling up will fully restore their energy. Realizing this suddenly, Subaru mobilizes all his energy. The next second, a massive tide of blood erupts. The skeleton soldiers are instantly thrown into chaos. The overwhelming flood washes the entire passage. Saiaka is stunned by this display of power. But Subaru doesn't weaken his attack, instead channels all his power. Her magic rapidly decreases and turns into a volume of blood. All the skeleton soldiers in the passage are trapped and unable to move. However, Saiaka is now gasping for breath. She understands what to do and with one step kills the skeleton in front, then continues down the hallway, eliminating the skeleton soldiers one by one. Soon Sayaka's level rises dramatically to 15 and she yells at Subaru that she'll handle the rest. With fewer monsters, the pressure on Subaru instantly eases. His body bursts with colorful energy as he clenches his fist. He gives the remaining skeleton soldiers an explosive blood burial. With that, all the skeleton soldiers are annihilated. Subaru's level also shoots up to 99. Saiaka marvels at how crazy this skill is. Just then, an escaped skeleton launches a surprise attack on Saiaka. But the next second, it's instantly killed by a blood arrow. It was Subaru who saved her. Now with their levels increased, the two face the remaining skeleton soldiers, dispatching them as easily as cutting vegetables. Despite this, Subaru feels an oppressive force growing stronger as they advance. Soon, the two reach the end of the passage with Saiaka at level 20 and Subaru at level 19. A warning appears. The boss has descended. The Skeleton Queen, level 29, the Fallen Empress. Judith appears. The Skeleton Queen moves both hands, firing purple energy, instantly destroying the field and passages. Subaru immediately releases a blood shield to protect them both. Seeing this terrible destructive power, he breaks out in a cold sweat. However, Subaru's worry hasn't disappeared because he feels that the terribly strong presence he sensed before isn't coming from the boss in front of him. Just then, not far behind Subaru, colorful mosaic fragments begin to continuously flicker. The Skeleton Queen attacks wildly, wielding whips in both hands. The fierce attacks reach the two. Saiaka uses her agility to constantly dodge. Subaru releases a blood shield to block attacks while thinking of a strategy. Facing the frequent and ranged attacks of the Skeleton Queen, Sayaka's skill becomes useless. She can only rely on her blood molding ability to defeat the enemy, but remembering their promise to grow together and never give up, for Saiaka to gain experience, she must damage the boss. Soon Subaru thinks of a solution. He releases two huge blood spheres. The Skeleton Queen notices his intent in an instant. Both launch their attacks simultaneously. Two beams of energy, purple, and the blood spheres collide forcefully. The blood spheres split into four and hit the queen. The boss's arms that control her attacks are entangled by the blood spheres, which are like rubber. While Subaru clenches his fist tightly, the Skeleton Queen can no longer move. Then he yells at Saiaka, who immediately understands. Saiaka lunges at the boss, her body radiating red energy. She delivers a strong punch to the boss's face, followed by a rain of attacks on him. When the control panel timer shows only 5 seconds left, Subaru warns Saiaka to retreat quickly. Breaking free from the common bonds, the Skeleton Queen attacks immediately. A sky full of whip shadows surrounds Saiaka. At this moment, Saiaka is wrapped in blood mode, successfully avoiding this dense attack. After landing, Saiaka is completely unharmed. A moment later, just as Subaru is about to repeat the previous operation, suddenly, a voice sounds from the Skeleton Queen, arrogantly. "Where did you learn this skill?" Both are surprised since the boss can actually speak. Recovering from his surprise, Subaru quickly asks, "Do you also know Vanquish?" However, the Skeleton Queen doesn't answer. Her body bursts into intense waves and grows 6 bone arms. Then she concentrates dazzling energy. The next second, this massive energy is unleashed toward both of them. Upon seeing the danger, Subaru quickly releases a blood shield to block it, but the power of the boss's ability surpasses his imagination. The blood boils and continuously evaporates to maintain the shape of the blood shield. His magic rapidly decreases. If this continues, they will both perish. Here, Subaru's gaze hardens. He condenses the blood shield into its hardest form, advancing step by step against enormous pressure. When he reaches the Skeleton Queen, suddenly the front of the blood shield bursts with all its energy, concentrating into a gigantic red sword, instantly piercing through the Skeleton Queen's body. Receiving a fatal blow, the boss begins to dissipate with her last breath full of hatred. She says, "You dare." A notification sounds. "You have killed the Skeleton Queen boss." Subaru feels regret, although he wanted to learn about Vanquish. He had to kill her to survive the sounds of celebration. He interrupts Subaru's thoughts. Saiaka also gains experience, leveling up to 21. This pleases Subaru greatly since he successfully fulfilled his promise that they would grow stronger together. However, Saiaka is puzzled, having killed the boss but not receiving a door unlock notification. Just then, colorful tiles slowly appear in the space. The next second, a rainbow door appears behind Subaru. Saiaka is very surprised, since it's the first time she's seen a rainbow door. Even Subaru is confused, wondering if doors can appear so many times. Saiaka explains that each door has different activation conditions. Renji once opened 7 trial doors, becoming the strongest gold badge hero. After hearing this, Subaru thinks to himself that if he gets another powerful chance, maybe he could surpass the Portis gold badge heroes. Saiaka can't wait, imagining they become the strongest duo. Then the two approach the rainbow door. Just as they grab the handle to open it, suddenly, a blood-colored sword energy shoots out instantly, cutting Subaru's arm. Saiaka is also hit by the sword energy. Subaru, ignoring the pain, runs towards Saiaka but loses balance and falls to the ground. At that moment, a monster, holding a blood-colored weapon, appears at the rainbow door. Subaru shouts Sayaka's name loudly, but Saiaka doesn't respond. The monster casually comments, "I thought it was just you. Was that your important companion? A worthless scum like that dying saves trouble." Hearing this, Subaru's expression darkens instantly. The next second, his body explodes with intense, colorful energy, consumed by overwhelming fury. "I will absolutely kill you." However, the angrier he gets, the more excited the monster becomes, introducing himself. "I am one of Lord Vanquish Carrion's deputies, the Lord of Spirits." Subaru glares with rage. "I understand now, you can die." Subaru charges at the door, looking at the monster in front of him, then closes his eyes, entering an empty space to find Vanquish, loudly demanding why his subordinate attacked them. However, Vanquish doesn't respond but slowly disappears from the space. The monster explains it's useless. The Vanquish in your body isn't the real one. Just a tutorial that won't answer questions beyond its tutorial. So, now that you've grown, show me your strength. With Without another word, Subaru advances with a leap, kicking the monster, which easily blocks with its weapon, then mocks what an impatient guy. If you pass the trial, you'll get Lord Vanquish's great treasure, the Mystic Piercer, but Subaru has no patience to listen. His whole being consumed by rage, I said, I'm going to kill you. Blood thorns in the shape of a tree grow from his back and shoot toward the monster. The monster jumps high and mocks him. You'll need to be faster than that to catch me. As soon as the words leave his mouth, his smile disappears because the blood thorns are already in front of him. The monster quickly jumps to avoid the attack and praises him. Incredible. You've copied the Skeleton Queen skill. Seeing the monster constantly dodging, Subaru mocks angrily. It seems you're just a coward who can only run away. Saiaka, about death, time is running out, and he can't afford to waste it. Hearing this, the monster actually stops. In an instant, both launch attacks simultaneously, however, against the powerful Mystic Piercer weapon. Subaru's blood whips are cut to pieces. The monster mocks. You can't afford the Mystic Piercer. Your defense is like paper. Next, the monster feels something's wrong. The ground begins to shake. The monster just smiles slightly. Suddenly, many blood spikes rise from the ground, but the monster anticipates this with a backward flip. Seeing this attack is ineffective, Subaru instantly transforms. The blood spikes into a spiky form, pulling hard to crush the monster. Suddenly, the monster teleports right in front of Subaru, praising, "You really surprised me," then throws a punch to Subaru's abdomen, followed by another strong hit. Suddenly, upon receiving severe damage, Subaru instantly loses consciousness, flying several meters backward and crashing hard into the ground. The monster says calmly, "So you thought you got stronger and despise me. Bravery? The trials are inherently cruel. Either you die or I perish." As the words fade, Subaru gets up staggering, thinking of one thing only. Sayaka's life hangs by a thread. He must defeat the monster before him. Ignite your hatred. Passive blood creator skill activated. Now Subaru's body is covered with blood armor, bursting with intense colorful energy. This sight is unexpected even for the monster. Then Subaru lunges at the monster, wielding sharp claws fiercely. The monster still maintains a relaxed stance, but in the next second, several spikes shoot out from Subaru's back, although the monster again relies on agility to avoid them. Subaru has his chance to get closer. Both attack simultaneously, causing a violent explosion. In just a moment, they've exchanged several blows. Now the monster no longer hesitates. His body emits strong, colorful energy as he raises his weapon high and then brings it down hard towards Subaru. Subaru's arm is instantly cut off, but something unexpected happens. The severed arm is being regenerated by Subaru. The next second, he throws a powerful punch. The monster, unable to dodge in time, takes a direct hit. Unwilling to accept this, the monster tries to hit again, but the result is the same. Regeneration followed by another hit. This one lands directly on the monster's shoulder. Now, Subaru is like a hell demon, frantically consuming his own magical power. No matter how many times he's cut, he uses blood mode to heal wounds and fight. Again, the monster thinks to himself, "What a crazy battle maniac." Then he remembers what Vanquish the Ghoul once said, "You think this guy, Subaru, bit me when I was in extreme pain, gaining his power." The Ghoul replied, "That's really unexpected behavior. He's an interesting guy. I'm sure you'll like him too." The monster realizes Lord Vanquish was right, laughing. "Subaru, I'm starting to like you," but Subaru isn't in the mood for jokes, staring at the monster. In front of him, his arm begins to transform. The next second, a blood-colored spear forms, instantly piercing through the monster's entire body. In his mind, he thinks, "Die, Subaru." Kills Lord Ghoul with his blood spear. The dying monster on the ground is furious. The trial master, "You let me take damage, not kill me, bastard. You're trying to skip ranks." Subaru says coldly, "Just hurry up and die. Once you're dead, the gate will open and I must take Saiaka to the hospital." The monster sighs, "How foolish. Time outside the gate is now frozen, and to keep your wounds, your magic will continue to decrease. How do you plan to survive now?" Subaru answers calmly, "There is no other way to defeat you. Still, I must send Saiaka to the hospital before she dies." The monster grits his teeth. "It was necessary to go this far. Don't tell me you're in love." Subaru sheds tears unwillingly, "And you're wrong. Because she is my first friend. Once we swore never to abandon each other." These words move the monster who was killed for many years. Distant memories slowly emerge. He too was once a young man, weak and defenseless, until the vampire king Vanquish appeared and told him the same words. Amen. In the center, "He for my vampire dignity. I swear never to abandon or betray you." The monster points at Subaru, saying, "It seems I was wrong. As an apology, I will give you the Mystic Piercer and my abilities." Subaru looks confused. "I'm about to die, so why are you giving me gifts?" The monster shows a relieved smile. "How foolish." A notification sounds. "You have defeated the Gull. Sir, your level has increased to 26. A healing light now covers Subaru's entire body. Soon all the negative effects on Subaru are removed. then? Subaru asks the question he most wants answered. Are all beings inside the gates of the underworld? The monster confirms this and then gives Subaru one last piece of advice. When you have no way out, remember to use Blood Taker. Subaru is puzzled. So I believe such an ability exists. In his last moments, before disappearing, the monster shows a satisfied smile. Your final battle style was like Vanquish. Shortly after Subaru takes Saiaka outside, immediately pulling out his phone to call emergency services. Meanwhile, inside the 5-star demon gate, the captain of the strongest silver team, Julieta, looks up at the sky, where a level 59 sky whale has appeared. With just one strike, it has killed several teammates. The vice captain is now extremely anxious since the team is no match for this monster. Unless most of them die, the players cannot escape. Hearing this, Julieta's expression gradually turns manic. How many more of us need to die to escape? The vice captain loudly questions. You're abandoning your teammates. You should take responsibility as captain. Before she can finish, the vice captain is instantly pierced by a thin sword, because in Julieta's eyes, how can the worthless lives of comrades compare to her nobility? I myself sounds like a warning. Most players dead, the gate lock is about to open. Julieta sees her companion looking at her with disgust, cursing her as an idiot, saying this will attract monsters. She shouts angrily, "Deal with it. I'm going home," and then runs toward the gate without looking back, escaping outside. Julieta sighs in relief, but warning alarms sound consecutively. No heroes surviving inside. An underworld creature is about to be released. Underworld creatures will hunt heroes from the gate. The next second, a blue energy beam shoots out of the gate. The still celebrating Julieta is instantly knocked down. Then the enormous body of the sky whale breaks through the gate. Meanwhile, Subaru finally gets rescue services. Anxiously waiting nearby, suddenly several red panels appear. The 5-star gate mission failed. Time will be deducted from the sky clock. Then the sky clock drops from 292 days, drastically reducing to 49 days. Just as Subaru is surprised by this, a voice comes from behind. Failure will be deducted from the sky clock time. Then the sky clock drops from 292 days, drastically reducing to 49 days. Just as Subaru is surprised by this, a voice comes from behind. It's the person he met at the Hero Association. Without saying a word, she tries to order Subaru to help her stop the whale chasing her just so she can escape by car. Then she grabs one of the rescuers and orders quickly, "Leave this bronze badge behind. Trash. I'm a high-ranking silver hero. Quickly take me far from here." Subaru's face darkens. He grabs Julieta's shoulder. "Wait a minute," he says as his anger rises. Just then, the sky whale appears above them. The city echoes continuously with monster invasion alarms. People are in chaos. To keep saving Saiaka, the medical staff must evacuate the hospital. However, seeing the ambulance leave, Julieta turns to Subaru and yells angrily, "What are you doing, damn it, I'll kill you." But the next second a terrifying presence overwhelms her. Subaru says coldly, "Who are you going to kill?" Moments later, Julieta's face is covered in bruises, finally calm and obedient. Then Subaru asks, "The whale is hunting you?" Julieta quickly nods. "Yes, it's hunting heroes from the gate." Subaru sighs in relief. As long as Julieta is here, the whale won't harm Saiaka. Now the whale summons several water spheres around it, while the spheres emit a dazzling light. The next second, several blue water pillars shoot up. Without even looking up, Subaru softly says, "Blood Mojo Azalea," and in an instant, a gigantic blood flower blooms beneath the whale. The whale's attack is completely blocked by the blood flower. Now, Subaru gathers his strength and jumps up, his body forming a blood armor, his fist bursting with intense and colorful energy, striking the whale hard, pushing it back dozens of meters. But after the hit, Subaru's expression is grave. The sky whale seems unharmed. Is this what 5-star gate creatures are? The level difference? It is too big. The giant whale opens its mouth to reveal dense biological projectiles. Seeing the hits are ineffective, Subaru summons the artifact he just got from the Rainbow Gate. Facing the countless projectiles, Julieta, her face now like a pig's head, is terrified. But Subaru, holding the Mystic Piercer, is ready to counterattack. Since it's his first time using this weapon, Subaru decides to try with 1/3 of his magical power. The next second, the Mystic Piercer glows with red arcs, then he forcefully strikes the incoming projectiles. Space is cut by countless bloodlines. 0.05 seconds later, a violent explosion lights up the sky, while the giant whale is thrown back by the shockwave of the attack. Now Subaru looks ahead, finally understanding the principle. The power of the Cruce Mystic Piercer depends on how much magic is used. Facing the small human whose 2 attacks were ineffective, the giant whale prepares its ultimate move with water pillars surrounding its body. The water sphere in front of it gradually grows. Seeing this, Subaru raises the Mystic Piercer thinking, "I'll use 1/3 of my magical power again." With a powerful strike, a blood-colored sword energy shoots out. The water rings around the giant whale are instantly cut, then blood marks slowly appear on its body. After a strong burst, it explodes, and the huge water sphere falls with it, then crashes to the ground, splashing water dozens of meters high. A moment later, the rain clears, and the city finally returns to its former peace. People all over the city celebrate their survival. Having completed his mission, Subaru can't wait to rush to the hospital. In his urgency, he launches directly into flight. The scene is captured by an old man, who then uploads the video online. But Subaru doesn't care about any of this. His heart is full of anxiety. Saiaka must survive. Subaru rushed to the hospital in panic, but what he feared most had already happened. With trembling hands, he slowly lifted the white cloth from her face. At that moment, Saiaka looked so peaceful, time seemed to freeze. Subaru looked incredulous. His whole body suddenly lost all strength. Waves of regret and remorse flooded his heart. It was his gate, Rainbow, the one who had brought Saiaka and that damn scavenger, the Ghoul Lord. Suddenly, Subaru remembered the Ghoul Lord clue. When you have no way out, remember to use the skill, Blood Creator, as if grabbing a lifeline. Subaru frantically searched his panel, finally finding the Blood Creator skill. He activated it without hesitation. Resurrect your closest person like your relative. Conditioned death must have occurred within the last hour. Subaru looked at the description in disbelief. Could there really be a skill that could bring the dead back to life? But seeing there were only 15 seconds left on the countdown, Subaru activated the skill immediately, without thinking twice. Instantly, the room filled with blood-colored energy. The energy flowed continuously into Sayaka's body. Subaru prayed anxiously, "Wake up soon, Saiaka." At that moment, memories of their time together flashed through his mind. As time kept decreasing, Subaru released energy with all his strength, but when the timer hit 0, Saiaka still hadn't woken up. A wave of intense fear overwhelmed him. Subaru murmured, "I failed after all." At that moment, Sayaka's sisters ran in, rushing to Sayaka's side, calling her name loudly. The younger sister's face was covered in tears. Seeing this, Subaru felt a heart-wrenching pain. The older sister looked at Subaru with hostility. "What is your relationship with her?" Subaru was puzzled. That promise to never abandon her seemed to echo in his ears. Tears began to flow uncontrollably. "I am her friend," understanding the situation. The furious older sister rushed, pushing her Vero against the wall. "So you're the one who took Saiaka on such a dangerous mission. We wanted to get stronger first to have enough power to protect her before taking her on missions." She raised her fist about to hit Subaru, when suddenly an incredible scene unfolded. Saiaka sat up, her body wrapped in red flames. A mark glowed on her back. Then she rose into the air, emitting red electricity. After a moment, she gently descended to the ground. Sayaka's appearance had changed. While everyone was still in shock, the next second, Saiaka turned fierce. "Don't touch her." She took a quick step toward her sister, about to attack. Seeing the danger, Subaru summoned his blood armor and grabbed her. Surprised at how much stronger she had become after a moment, Saiaka voluntarily released her grip, knelt on one knee, apologizing to Subaru. "Lord Subaru resurrected me, although I don't remember my previous memories. I will absolutely obey Lord Subaru's orders." Faced with this unexpected situation, Subaru was lost, while the older sister's expression grew darker and darker. In the next moment, both sisters burst with intense energy, angrily saying, "What did you do to her? Damn it." Confused by this, Saiaka asked, "Really, Lord Subaru is a pervert?" After receiving a negative answer, Saiaka said coldly, "Give me 10 seconds and I'll take care of these rude people." The atmosphere grew tense with no choice. Subaru quickly activated blood mode, firmly trapping both sisters. No time to explain. He grabbed Saiaka and fled, but the big screen in front of him left him shocked. It was broadcasting his battle with the giant whale. Subaru had become famous overnight. Just then, two people appeared before him. They were the gold badge heroes Udo and Shikishima. Subaru's expression turned serious at that moment. An even more powerful presence approached. Slowly from behind the two, it was the strongest gold badge hero, Renji. The three main gold badge heroes had gathered. Renji said calmly to Subaru, "You are suspected of destroying city facilities and being involved in a murder case. Come with us." Subaru. He never imagined meeting his childhood idol under such circumstances. Subaru was extremely nervous, thinking he was going to be arrested. But the next second, Renji smiled. "The previous murder case has been solved. Now you're innocent." The scene shifts to Subaru explaining his experiences. Renji is amazed by the appearance of the Rainbow Gate and the ability to resurrect teammates. Subaru was curious about how his name was cleared. Seeing this, Shikishima throws him a tablet. "Probably you don't know how many security cameras there are in the city. In your fight with Taiga, you were just a victim being harassed. That murder case was also recorded, and the two people at the scene testified. So you are acquitted now, and because of that battle with the giant whale, you become a true hero." The sudden fame left Subaru baffled. Shikishima also explained, After hearing your story, the mystery of why Taiga only had one ability is solved: a stolen gate. No matter how much it's upgraded, it will never produce a second one. So the reason Taiga kept you close was to wait for a second gate to appear. Upon learning the truth, Subaru fell silent. Soon everyone arrived at the Hero Association headquarters. They went straight to the underground prison, a place specifically for criminal heroes. Taiga glared fiercely at Subaru and screamed wildly, "Damn scum! I'll kill you! All the gates should be mine! How dare you, a worthless person, take them away!" Saiaka wanted to protect her master. "I want to kill this person." But Subaru stopped her, in front of the hateful and fierce Taiga. Subaru's heart was surprisingly calm. That feeling of being ignored like an insignificant ant made Taiga instantly furious. "Damn bastard. How dare you look at me like that?" Subaru turned around and walked away. Unwilling to keep chasing his past, Udo was a bit worried. "Let's just let him go." Renji's expression suddenly turned serious. "Not only that, I'm going to give him some special privileges. We need his powerful strength." The tablet showed the appearance of a 6-star demon gate. Subaru then went to the main hall, about to redeem the stars he earned from the demon gate. But they told him that for killing the underworld creature, the sky whale, he would receive a great reward. While Subaru was still in shock, the receptionist pulled out a black gold card, saying it was an additional privilege. Behind him, the onlookers murmured, "That's the guy who killed the giant whale. Incredible, he's the 8th hero with the gold badge. He even defeated Julieta." Subaru had become famous overnight. The receptionist suddenly asked, "You have money, power, and fame now. What do you want to do next?" Faced with this question he had never considered, Subaru fell into deep thought. In the underground prison, Taiga, agitated by the encounter, got furious and slammed against the iron door. Just then a figure slowly approached, raising a hand to release golden energy. Taiga was instantly bound by golden chains, unable to move. Looking closely, it was the receptionist whose true identity was actually one of the 7 gold badge heroes, Sakura Kinokawa. Taiga looked at Sakura with clenched teeth. Sakura increased her power by tightening the golden chains. Taiga's face showed pain. Faced with such humiliation, Taiga remembered his former self, emanating incredibly powerful energy, and that look of contempt as if he were nothing more than an ant. The huge gap made Taiga go increasingly mad. "This world? Stop screwing with me." His mind began to fill with murderous thoughts. At this point, Taiga's resentment reached its peak. A world like this doesn't need to exist. Suddenly, a completely black energy appeared in the space. The next second, a dark gate appeared and whispers were heard. Demonic from the gate, "This world no longer needs you. Come on, let's eliminate them all." While Taiga and Sakura were stunned, countless withered hands emerged from the gate. Then Taiga was wrapped up and dragged toward the gate. Seeing this, Sakura burst with golden energy, several chains. Golden chains headed toward the cage, but at that moment a dark energy arose. The golden and unbreakable chains instantly collapsed and broke. Under the corruption of the dark energy, the next second Sakura's hands also disintegrated, and then she completely lost her ability to fight. Seeing this, Taiga froze in sweat. What kind of power is this? At that moment, the demonic voice sounded, "I will give you this power, let's destroy this world together." Then the dark gate slowly disappeared. The next day, Subaru was lying on the rooftop daydreaming, reflecting on the answer to that question about what he wanted to do from now on. He looked at Saiaka beside him. "Is there any way to turn you back into the original Saiaka?" Saiaka said calmly. "The owner of this body must be very important to Lord Subaru." Just then Saiaka suddenly thought of something. "I was born from the Bloodmaker's ability. Maybe the answer lies in the ability." Subaru opened his skill panel. Saiaka pointed to an unlocked skill. "This skill could be obtained the next time a gate opens, then we can ask the master inside." Understanding all this, Subaru finally knew what to do next, which was to meet Vanquish as soon as possible, so he needed to clear more gates to level up the scene. Shifts to Subaru standing before a demonic gate. By then, Subaru had become a star hero. The two opened the demon gate without hesitation. What they found was a group of terrifying demonic creatures to test Sayaka's current strength. Subaru decided to let her handle these monsters without saying a word. Sayaka's body burst with blood-colored energy using the blood wheel skill. A high-speed spinning blood wheel expanded in her hand, then she forcefully threw it at the demons ahead. After a bloody storm, all the low-level demons were completely wiped out. Then the ground began to shake. A great demon appeared before the two. To be sure, Subaru summoned the Mystic Piercer. "I'll handle this." Under the power of the Mystic Piercer, the demon was quickly defeated. When the demon gate broke, the two managed to surpass it in just 10 minutes. As their hero expected, they could easily handle 3-star gates, so he started programming a 4-star demon gate. Just then, a voice came from behind the second-ranked gold badge hero. Shikishima had been waiting outside the gate. Subaru was very surprised by his sudden appearance. Shikishima jumped in with bad news. Taiga had escaped, and a gold badge hero had been defeated. The 4th-ranked Golden Chain user Sakura Kinokawa, I think you know her, the pink-haired receptionist. Hearing this, Subaru was horrified. Shikishima continued, Sakura is unconscious and all surveillance evidence has been destroyed. So for safety, Gold Badge heroes will work in teams. You can choose any gate to face, but you need to cooperate with me for a while. Shikishima was sure Subaru would be the next target. The three arrived at a 4-star demon gate, although each additional star increased the difficulty tenfold. Shikishima said casually, this will be an easy victory facing a group of monsters averaging 20 levels higher. Directly summoned a dazzling meteor shower. Before the monsters could resist, all were buried in a sea of blue fire. Then, with hands in his pockets, he slowly walked toward the boss, Subaru. I was surprised by Shikishima's true power. The real reason behind his strength, Shikishima's master of the gate was a dragon knight, and he had been granted the Death Flame ability. However, even the final boss, at level 62, couldn't escape being instantly eliminated by Shikishima. The three passed through the 4-star gate in just 10 minutes. Shikishima's goal for the day was to surpass 3 demon gates. Subaru hadn't recovered from his surprise, thinking he had become strong enough, but Shikishima's strength was beyond imagination. But Shikishima said the next battle would be Subaru's. He wanted to see his true strength. The three arrived at the next demon gate, which was a crystal world, completely clear as they searched. For monsters, a crystal cat jumped from behind as a huge cat paw approached. It appeared over Subaru's head and then crashed down hard. Seeing this, he knew he was very anxious. But the next second, a series of red lights flashed. The crystal cat's forearm shattered instantly. Subaru was stunned. This cat was even stronger than Lord Gull. Just as he was about to launch another attack, he saw something even more shocking. The shattered forearm of the crystal cat quickly regenerated, then attacked Subaru again. He barely dodged with a backward jump. Seeing that the monster was exceptionally strong, Saiaka wanted to help anxiously, but Shikishima stopped her, saying, "Don't worry, I'll step in when he's about to lose." Although Subaru's gate level is higher than the Golden Gate, relying only on that will lead to a miserable defeat. He needs to unleash his true potential in battle. Subaru was anxious, since this terrain wasn't suitable for the blood mold properties. Facing the monster that lunged desperately, Subaru decided to block its vision first, but the next second, he was still hit with perfect precision. His body crashed to the ground, like a cannonball. Seeing this, Shikishima sighed repeatedly. This guy lacks combat experience, but Saiaka disagreed. You don't understand, Lord Subaru has already found a way to counterattack. Subaru had tied the blood cord to the monster, since even the Mystic Piercer hadn't worked. This time, he would try Lord Gull's skill, Death Fist, an ability that maximizes attack using vibrations. After mastering the skill, Subaru manipulated the blood cord into a spring formation, then launched a very fast punch at the monster. When the blood spring contracted instantly, the fist released a powerful impact. The monster exploded under this impact but regenerated as it fell. The fragments instantly restored to their original form upon touching the ground. Before the monster could react, blood cords wrapped around its neck. Again, the next second, Subaru's Death Fist struck again and the monster exploded once more. Since Subaru had experience with regeneration, he knew regeneration must use a lot of magical power to maintain itself, so every time the monster regenerated, it was immediately destroyed by Subaru. Shikishima was impressed. In such a short time, he discovered the monster's weakness, and was able to combine 2 skills to create such powerful results. Shikishima sighed. What a crazy guy Subaru was, battling fiercely with monsters inside the Demon Gate. Although he had found an effective and powerful attack method, Subaru had underestimated the monster's endurance. Both sides were exhausted but still hadn't determined a winner. However, Shikishima suggested, if you can defeat the boss, I'll treat you to sushi. Hearing this, Subaru immediately burst with terrifying energy. The final boss was defeated by the temptation of sushi. Shikishima kept his promise but frowned. Subaru looked at the sushi with fascination, leaving Shikishima speechless. Meanwhile, Saiaka was petting the crystal cat after defeating the gate boss. It had taken physical form. Other heroes got gear by defeating bosses, like Renji's earrings and Taiga's black coat, all with attribute bonuses. Although they didn't know what the cat was for, Shikishima suggested naming it without hesitation. Subaru suddenly said, "Sushi." When a huge shake came from outside, an eagle demon had invaded the human world and captured a girl. Subaru sprang into action immediately. Moments later, Saiaka and Shikishima faced the eagle, using skills to cut its wings. Subaru took the chance to jump on the monster's head, instantly releasing a blood spear that killed the eagle. The little girl fell uncontrollably toward the ground, but she was caught by Subaru, who ran to her and then landed safely. Just then a man rushed over. It was the man with the hat who had harassed Subaru before, and the girl was actually the man with the hat's sister. The man with the hat pulled his sister anxiously, not only failing to thank Subaru, but gritting his teeth. If you want revenge, I'll post the video of you wetting your pants. But Subaru had already moved past all that and said, "Thanks for testifying for me in the murder case." Then he called Shikishima to keep eating sushi. Impressed by Subaru's magnanimity, the man with the hat completely broke down. "Damn it, I'm so pathetic." The next day, the man with the hat deleted the video. Suddenly, there was a commotion in the schoolyard. Taiga had returned from the Dark Gate and then raised a series of dark gates behind him. Seeing this, everyone was shocked. Taiga shouted to the crowd, "Just enter through the Dark Gate, and you'll gain power rivaling the Golden Badge heroes." Elsewhere, upon hearing about Taiga's appearance, Shikishima immediately contacted Subaru and rushed to the school. The man with the hat hesitated seeing the Dark Gate, but was mocked by Taiga. "How weak we are, truly inferior to those damn chosen ones." These words deeply affected Hartman, once he too had been bullied for being weak, until one day a bronze gate appeared and completely changed his fate. However, to prove he was no longer weak, he only did bad things to those weaker than him. After the incident where Subaru saved his sister, he realized how pathetic he was and didn't want to return to his old self. Taiga hurriedly urged the two to enter through the Dark Gate. Hartman was sure they'd kill him if he didn't enter, thinking his sister was waiting at home. After much thought, he decided to enter through the Demon Gate. Just then his phone received a message. It was from his sister. This message instantly awakened the man with the hat. "I'm so pathetic." He'd already decided not to return to the past. Then, with flames burning in his hand, he told the green-haired boy, "Help me tell his Vero that I'm sorry." Seeing this, Taiga was confused. Has this guy lost his mind? Then the man with the hat shouted to the green-haired boy, "Run, take care of my sister." At this point, the man with the hat had transcended life and death. He told Taiga, "You're pathetic." The next second, the man with the hat's head was grabbed by the exposed Taiga. Just then Subaru arrived at the school, breaking everything to reach Taiga, but seeing that the man with the hat had already been killed, remembering his cute and sensible sister, his anger flared instantly. He threw a punch at Taiga. The powerful impact instantly destroyed a building, but Taiga was unharmed, smiling wickedly. "I didn't expect to see you again so soon." With a touch of provocation, he said to Subaru, "Let me see how strong your power is." Then they both threw punches. Although Taiga was slammed hard to the ground, what Subaru didn't expect was that his blood armor broke, and the cause wasn't external damage. Taiga didn't gain the upper hand in this clash either, so he decided, using the Demon Lord's power, walking towards Subaru with an evil smile, emitting demonic energy. Just at that moment, a golden flash blocked his path. Looking up, it was the top three heroes with the world's golden insignia arriving. Seeing this, Taiga sneered. "Looks like I'm surrounded for the second time, but this time it's different. I can incapacitate Sakura." The three golden insignia heroes were provoked. Suddenly, in a flash, Taiga, who had been mocking, had his arm cut off by Renji. Instantly, Taiga's expression showed terror at first. Then suddenly, he laughed at Renji, the #1 golden insignia hero. "This is the first time I've seen a defeated expression on your face, Renji." He wasn't just defeated, but filled with rage, because his closest team member of the golden insignia, Sakura, was now seriously injured and unconscious. Just then, Taiga's wound expanded into a giant hand, crushing down towards Renji's head. Renji held his golden sacred sword, ready to counterattack. But at the moment of contact, the golden sacred sword corroded and vanished. At a critical moment, a golden fist struck the ground. Instantly, a golden wall rose, blocking Taiga's attack. For Renji, it was Udo, who had urgently activated his second skill. Then he apologized. "I'm ready to accept the punishment from the Hero Association." It turned out that due to the great power of the Golden Insignia Heroes' skills, they were only allowed to use their first skill outside the Demon Gates. Meanwhile, Shikishima and Saiaka launched an attack. Instantly, a dense golden and red energy shot towards Taiga, but everything was swallowed by the smoke emanating. Even the indestructible golden wall collapsed and dissipated upon contact with the smoke. Faced with such strange smoke, everyone wore a serious expression. Udo, he requested to use other skills but was stopped by Renji because that would involve more people in the battle and sacrifice, which was exactly what Taiga wanted. Just then, Shikishima suddenly remembered the doctor's words. Sakura's limbs had deteriorated instantly. Suddenly, he realized something. His pupils dilated in surprise. In front of everyone who dared not attack, Taiga sneered, "I will show their corpses to the world," then prepared to attack. Suddenly, Subaru rushed in from the side. Knowing the danger of the smoke, everyone was shocked because that smoke was the power of time. But Subaru wasn't afraid at all. As if he was about to witness Subaru's tragic end, Taiga couldn't help but smile enthusiastically. The next second, Subaru was covered by smoke. Shikishima anxiously shouted Subaru's name. Suddenly, a colorful fist broke through the smoke and struck Taiga's face with force. The powerful impact immediately sent Taiga flying while Subaru emerged unscathed from the smoke because he had converted magical power to cover his entire body with blood mojo. Taiga's face was full of disbelief. Subaru calmly said, "The me who feared you is gone forever, just as you wished. Now see my true power." Taiga was utterly furious, activating demon power, raising a series of dark gates. Instantly, 12 dark gates surrounded the four people. Then he released smoke that could resist anything. With a horrid expression, he shouted at Subaru, "Since the smoke doesn't work on you, I'll kill all your friends." Hearing this, Subaru recalled those painful memories and his heart began to beat violently. Immediately, his body exploded with intense, colorful energy, instantly drawing everyone's attention. Even Taiga was sweating profusely. Subaru said coldly, "You dare harm my friends in front of me?" The flames of hatred in Subaru's heart ignited, the passive skill Blood Taker activated, increasing the power of all skills by 30%. The passive skill Blood Taker activated, increasing the power of all skills by 30%. Then the two rushed toward each other. Taiga attacked first with a palm, Subaru dodged with a sidestep, then counterattacked with a roundhouse kick. Taiga instinctively raised her hand to block but underestimated the strength of this kick, which directly broke her arm. Taiga didn't even have the chance to scream. Two whips of blood shot out tightly, wrapping Taiga's arm. Subaru followed closely. Taiga quickly released smoke to counterattack, but it was in vain. Subaru, powered by the flames of hatred, far surpassed Taiga both in speed and power the next second. Taiga was kicked in the head, followed by another punch. Taiga couldn't react at all. His jaw was hit hard, his whole body was thrown into the air. But it wasn't over yet. Several blood whips kept launching a fierce attack. After a while, Taiga, like a dead dog, was slammed to the ground. Shikishima quickly recalled, "Stop, we still need to ask this guy some questions." Subaru's flames of hatred finally extinguished, but the dark gates and smoke hadn't disappeared at Subaru's reminder. Sayaka's body exploded into a mist of blood after a while. The smoke finally cleared and they escaped the situation. Then a voice came from the dark gate. "How unfortunate." Then a huge eye appeared in the gate. "It's really strong. Able to see through my ability in such a short time," Shikishima asked coldly. "What exactly is your purpose?" The monster looked up. "To make the sky's clock reset is my purpose." Then he prophesied, "You 3 gold badge heroes will soon be defeated by Taiga." Upon hearing this, Subaru said firmly, "I absolutely won't let that happen." The monster teleported in front of Subaru. "Indeed, you are the most interesting avatar of Vanquish." Subaru was surprised that he knew Vanquish. "Who are you?" The monster's gaze sharpened. "My name is Darth Child. I am the king of Blackwater, the Dark Lord inside the Dark Gate. Claims he will destroy the world and become the god of a new world." Subaru, upon hearing this, totally disagrees with such an outcome and throws a punch at the Dark Gate. However, the portal suddenly disappears. It turns into smoke and teleports toward Taiga, about to envelop him. Seeing the danger, everyone quickly launched attacks. When the dust settled, they still couldn't prevent his escape. At this moment, Shikishima is extremely frustrated, because during the battle there were two enemies watching from the rooftop and the power they possessed was not inferior to Taiga's. Because of this, he had to divide his attention to protect himself from them. Meanwhile, Taiga faints inside the Dark Gate. The Dark Lord laments that poor Taiga is still too weak, so he decides to remodel him to make him stronger at the same time. The Dark Gate receives a group of people seeking power. Some are even willing to see later. Subaru and others attend the funeral of the man with the hat. Seeing the once charming sister now devoid of vitality, Subaru remains silent, secretly promising to subdue the villains. However, from that moment, the Dark Gate no longer appears. Subaru says he will continue eliminating more demon gates to meet Vanquish as soon as possible and quickly increase his power at this moment. Shikishima suddenly announces, "Tomorrow you will join Renji to explore the gate. Our fighting styles are different, so I don't have much to teach you, and this is a good opportunity for Renji to teach you fencing the next day." Subaru arrives at the gate in the bustling market, never expected to join his former idol for the exploration. Subaru now has the expression of a fan. Just as the three are about to enter through the gate, a voice comes from the side. "It's a silver rank hero team. We have already reserved this gate." Renji quickly pulls out a notebook to check, and after thinking for a moment realizes they indeed made a mistake. Then they hurry to their gate, scheduled without delay. After entering the Renji gate, he starts explaining enthusiastically but gradually sinks into a swamp without realizing it. Soon his whole body disappears into it, leaving his Varo and the others panicked, not knowing what to do. Suddenly remembering Shikishima's warning, "Be careful with Renji. He's not perfect," and to make matters worse, a giant steel ant appears before the two Subarus, quickly activating their skills to attack. At that moment, the swamp suddenly starts boiling. The swamp explodes, and a beam of golden light shoots out, followed by a massive sword rising from the ground. The giant steel ant instantly splits in half. This scene almost leaves even the experienced Subaru speechless, a sign of a man at the top of the world. Although he's a complete idiot at everything except fighting, after the skill fades, Renji falls back into the swamp. Subaru can only use blood ropes to lift him. However, Subaru is surprised that his strength can't lift a single person. It turns out Renji used himself as bait and successfully killed a swamp monster. At this point, Subaru understands Renji always puts himself on the front line to protect his comrades when facing enemies. That's how a hero should be. Subaru becomes a fan again and hands over a towel that was actually prepared by Shikishima beforehand. A moment later, the three reach the top of a hill. Renji activates his Hawkeye skill, increasing his vision 100-fold and locates the boss's hideout. The boss cunningly senses the approaching enemies. A massive tree rises. Suddenly from the ground, a level 80 plant-type monster appears, and 1 second later, the tree's eyes shine with light. Countless golden rays shoot in all directions. Seeing this, Renji activates his skill. Titan's Leaf, a golden sword, dozens of meters tall, forms a shield in front of them. When the attack arrives, the giant sword shatters. The area around the tree explodes with thunderous booms. After a moment, the surroundings are filled with deep craters, but Subaru was prepared and flew upward to avoid this powerful blow. His Varo is surprised, and although this is only a 4-star gate boss, it's abnormally powerful, at least equivalent to a 5-star gate boss. At this moment, a sword suddenly appears. In Renji's hand, he swings it forcefully toward the distant tree. The 100-meter-tall tree splits in two with this single cut. Renji says calmly, "Thanks to you, we defeated the monster instantly." Renji's powerful attacks continuously renew Subaru's strength vision. It turns out Renji used his 6th skill, which can transform the sword into sword energy, attacking anywhere within sight. Very risky, but also high-impact reward. As the final boss dissipates, a message appears. Dungeon cleared successfully. Please exit through the door quickly. Later, the group returns to the Hero Association. Renji apologizes. Today, I defeated all the bosses. Just please don't tell Shikishima about the mistakes I made today. However, Subaru has already reported it. The next second, Shikishima appears behind them full of resentment, dragging Renji furiously. But Renji is used to it and says to Subaru, "Shit, I've already reserved a 5-star gate. See you tomorrow night." Falls. Subaru thinks about the giant tree today. So formidable despite having only 4 stars. And tomorrow they'll be tackling a 5-star gate. Remembering Renji's battles today, he must learn something from them to become stronger. Meanwhile, inside the dark gate, the man in the suit asks how many heroes have been modified. The girl calmly replies, "Already 20. Then the man in the suit says grimly, "Start the house." During the night, several heroes are attacked and seriously injured. Only the strongest silver-ranked hero Hisaki remains unharmed and kills the dark member who came to attack. This also puts Shikishima on maximum alert at this moment. The dark members begin to report their status. K, the strongest after the modification, has killed the ambitious silver champion. His next target is to hunt down gold-ranked heroes. Meanwhile, Subaru and Renji arrive at a 5-star gate next to a building. Waiting at the gate are members of the reconnaissance division responsible for providing intelligence to improve survival rates. Subaru is very surprised, since it is the first time he learns about the intelligence department. Then the leader begins to provide information. The world inside the gate is relatively small, only a garden and a palace. There are 2 thrones at the top of the palace. Renji instantly realizes that they will probably encounter 2 lords on this exploration. Subaru now feels uneasy. He has experienced the difficulty of facing 2 lords before. If it weren't for Saiaka's help, in that battle, he could have perished. At this moment, Renji interrupts Subaru's daze. Renji remains as calm and confident as ever. Let's go. Looking at the determined back of his idol, Subaru's anxious heart instantly calms down. Then several people enter through the 5-star gate. Suddenly, the sound of a cut is heard behind them. The next second, 2 intelligence members have fallen. The attacker is K, who killed the silver champion. The intelligence captain tries to counterattack, but after a flash of sword light, he also falls. K quickly reports the news and says a dark gate will open in 10 minutes. The silver-haired man on the other end of the phone is actually Taiga after his transformation. The scene shifts to Subaru, arriving at the world inside the gate. All he can see is a distant palace. The scene before him looks like paradise on Earth. However, Renji becomes very alert just as Saiaka closes the gate. The weather changes drastically with a storm raging. Then 2 figures appear on the thrones. The Storm Lord at level 89, Delta, and the Thunder Lord at level 93, Quilm. At this moment, the Storm Lord lifts his head and sniffs. He can smell the familiar scent of the Golden Knight. Then the Thunder Lord adds, there is also the hateful smell of the undead. But the next second, they laugh because now his aura is too weak. Then they summon ranks of Thunder Rain Knights. Subaru feels a sense of unease, because the aura of each knight is no less powerful than the great whale he killed before. Facing an unprecedented danger, Subaru shouts under the torrential rain, "Saiaka, listen carefully. Don't hold back using my magical power," because Subaru clearly knows this enemy is unprecedentedly powerful. Saiaka lowers her head and responds, "Understood." Then she spreads her 6 wings surrounded by blood clouds. Renji has a solemn expression as he summons his golden sword in front of the endless Thunder Rain Knights. Subaru summons his blood armor, his whole body bursts with intense, colorful energy, giving his all to face them. Renji's hand emits a golden flame, then the ground beneath the soldiers lights up with a dazzling golden light. The next second, a giant, towering sword rises from the ground, instantly throwing the knights into chaos. When the smoke clears, a considerable number of knights still survive. Renji frowns, not expecting their agility to be so high. The remaining knights continue advancing, facing the knight in front. Suddenly, a kick comes from the side, hitting his head. It is Subaru's full-force kick. Facing the knight ahead, a sudden kick comes from the side, hitting his head. It's Subaru's full-force kick, but the next second he's surprised, the knight wasn't knocked down. He grabs Subaru's foot and throws him forcefully to the ground. Then a fist hits his chest. Subaru looks incredulous. How can a knight be stronger than the Ghoul Lord? But the Thunder Rain Knight gives Subaru no chance to counterattack, throwing another punch. At this critical moment, Subaru starts to counterattack first, kicking him away, immediately getting up and hitting him in midair. At this point, Subaru has snapped out of his daze. "I didn't come here to make an active charge." Several blood leaks to bind him tightly. Then he fiercely jumps a blood cocktail. The Thunder Rain Knight is instantly torn apart by a huge blood spear. Although he managed to kill one soldier, it consumed much of his condition before he could catch his breath. 4 Thunder Rain Knights surround him. Subaru summons the Mystic Piercer without hesitation, but the next second he's surprised again. The Thunder Rain Knights simultaneously activate a skill, Diamond Sword. Subaru is mentally shaken. It's so unfair. Seeing this, Renji worries deeply at Subaru's troubled expression. Instead, he loses his fear. He had thought about this question. No matter how much I admire Renji, I'll never be like him. I don't need to become that. I just need to use all my strength to fight, to keep getting stronger. Not just in levels, but learning to control my feelings. That feeling of never giving up to save friends, to fight enemies, to help others, to become stronger. I've been waiting for a life or death battle like this. Subaru resolutely charges at the Thunder Rain Knights. Blocking the 2 swords of the first knight, he keeps advancing. He blocks the slash of the second knight, still moving forward, being cut by the third knight, but continuing onward. Only 1 knight remains just as Subaru attacks. He finds an opportunity, the blood spikes. They instantly trap the knight's arm, a cut from behind kills the knight. Having used all his strength, Subaru is now at his limit. At that moment, a message appears. Your level has increased. His condition instantly maxes out as he faces the charging knights again. His Baru jumps high and with enough magical power actively activates his double piercer skill. Dozens of blood-colored sword energies furiously crash into the ground. After a moment, a panel appears. You have killed the Thunder Rain Knight. Seeing this, the remaining Thunder Rain Knights freeze momentarily, stunned, and Subaru has completed his transformation at this point. Renji shows a relieved expression, glad he didn't help because Shikishima once said, "Don't help him until the last moment and don't teach him anything." Because true strength is always born in desperate situations, and you only need to look cool, sir, stronger. Renji closes his eyes and sighs. That guy really predicted it correctly. Now Subaru has a new calm in his mind. He only uses sword techniques to attack enemies. The dual blade knight's fencing is equally strong, blocking the attack while cutting. Subaru first kicks the knight's arm, jumps to the top of the knight's head, concentrates energy at the tip of his sword, the Mystic Piercer, cutting strongly with both sword and man. This way, he can use minimal magical power to defeat enemies with the highest defense. Renji finally understands Shikishima's good intentions, letting him realize it himself was the right choice. After defeating the enemy in front of him, Subaru finally has time to check on Sayaka's situation. However, looking, he is surprised by an extremely fast figure. Saiaka is using the advantage of her 6 wings to move quickly among the knights, cutting and releasing clusters of blood that stick to the knights. The next second, they explode over the knights. When the smoke clears, the knights are completely unharmed, but this is within Sayaka's expectations. Her current strength is not that powerful, but it is enough to hold off the enemies for her companions. At this moment, a knight appears, suddenly in front of her, about to cut Sayaka. But the next second, the knight is cut in 2. It's Subaru who arrived just in time after seeing Saiaka and Leisa. Subaru is very happy to see this. Sayaka blushes, then lowers her head and says, "Don't worry about me, Lord Subaru. Please take care of yourself too." Then both return to the battle. At this point, Subaru and Renji meet since he finds leveling up has become difficult. Renji also notices it, initially thinking it was because of high levels. Looking at the palace ahead, Renji finally understands this is a special terrain with only bosses, and the knights are just puppets they summoned. Subaru looks at Renji worried. Without leveling up, Renji will get more tired. However, Renji says, at least defeating knights can consume the boss's magical power. Although their purpose is to make us reveal our hidden cards, seeing their plan exposed, the dual lords decide to appear. Renji is surprised. They have finally come out. Then he hesitates whether to use the Distortion Edge, a skill that consumes 80% of magical power, but can instantly kill the giant tree guarding the powerful enemies. This move is very risky, but now it's the only chance. Mentally reciting his sixth skill, at this moment the violent storm suddenly stops. Then the blue sky and white clouds appear again while Renji is still hesitating. The Lords of the Storm and Thunder leap, appearing instantly behind Renji. However, the two lords disdain surprise attacks, calmly stating we only want a fair competition. The surrounding minions immediately stop fighting and kneel. Benji is secretly surprised that this boss can talk. Not only can they control the weather, but also formulate battle strategies. Obviously, they are not ordinary bosses, so he poses a long and puzzling question. What exactly are the Gates of Judgment and the Demonic Gates? Why do you creatures from the underworld come to our world? Upon hearing this, the Lord of the Storms seems puzzled. Haven't you received information from Ludwig? Benji is very surprised. They even know about his spiritual guide. They could be existences closer to the core. But the next second, they actually intend to reveal the information they know. Baro is surprised. It's so easy to disclose the world's secrets. Then the Lord of Thunder clears his throat. Basically, the gates are sorry. This seems impossible. Baruo is confused. Why are these two speaking intermittently? Some secrets might be restricted. But the next second, the tone changes completely. Anyway, let's fight. If you defeat us, you can get closer to the answer. Subaru begins to be on high alert. The dual lords, at this moment, play rock, paper, scissors. After a moment, the Lord of the Storm wins, points at Renji saying, and now fight the flashy Dorado, then advances with an attack that arrives instantly. Renji launches several sword energies to counter. They exchange dozens of moves in just a moment. This makes the Lord of the Storm unable to avoid praising. It seems Ludwig chose a perfect successor, but this also makes him more excited, showing a fierce expression. Let's have some fun. Renji is also fully alert. The enemy in front of him is the strongest he has seen. The observer Subaru is surprised when the Lord of Thunder teleports, catching Subaru off guard and startling him. He, the Lord of Thunder, is very displeased. He doesn't want to fight the undead successor. Having to defeat him several times to kill him is really boring. Before Subaru can react, a violent energy, a shot bursts from the Thunder Lord's chest, instantly piercing halfway through the ground. When the smoke clears, a deep hole has been blasted into the ground. The Thunder Lord walks forward slowly. Though I don't know who your master is, you're unfortunately weak. Seeing this, Renji gets distracted during the fight, and with this move, a hand suddenly presses against Renji's face, then a thumb presses down hard. The Storm Lord continues his attack. A fierce fist falls toward Renji. Renji hurriedly defends and retreats to create distance. At this moment, one of his eyes has been destroyed. Meanwhile, the Thunder Lord picks up the mystical piercer. This sword is very curious. It wasn't struck by lightning, and I can feel the pressure from the sword. Don't tell me he's Bankish's successor right now. Saiaka suddenly appears. The Thunder Lord says calmly, if you interfere in a one-on-one fight, I will kill you. Saiaka is very distressed, because she can't do anything. She also knows Subaru wouldn't agree to interfere. All she can do now is shout loudly for Subaru to get up above. The Thunder Lord says this is useless, because his legs have been blown off. But the Thunder Lord is immediately proven wrong. Subaru has regenerated his limbs and stands up again, fortunately using semi-hardened blood to cover his entire body. Although he lost his limbs, he survived this fatal attack, even though his health is at its last point and he still has to face the strongest boss of all. Subaru's fighting spirit is unusually strong. If I can defeat him, I can get stronger quickly. The Thunder Lord is very upset by this regeneration behavior and plans to use his true power to annihilate him. Meanwhile, the battle between Renji and the Storm Lord enters a heated phase. The Storm Lord is very satisfied with his opponent. Even after losing an eye, his speed doesn't decrease. However, the careless Lord is almost cut, so he quickly kicks backward and creates distance fast. Renji takes a deep breath and says, thanks for being so strong. If I defeat you, I can get stronger. So he activates his 5th Imperial skill, Glare, increasing the power of all skills by 200%. The Storm Lord is excited. Is this your trump card? I'm starting to look forward to it. Then the battle between the two erupts again. Meanwhile, Subaru is quickly dodging through dense lightning. Because the speed of lightning is too fast, Subaru must predict the lightning attacks while moving quickly without stopping. Otherwise, being hit once would turn him to ashes. Even the Thunder Rain Knights can't escape the lightning storm now. Subaru doesn't have much time. He must avoid attacks and level up, so he changes direction toward a soldier with lightning speed and kills him. Then the notification panel appears: you have killed a Thunder Rain Knight. His level instantly rises from 33 to 34. Subaru's wounds heal. Then he summons blood armor to cover his entire body. Blood helmet. A sharp cone of blood shoots toward the Thunder Lord. The Thunder Lord calmly raises his fist. The next second, a golden lightning bolt of 1 billion volts instantly disperses the approaching blood cone. Then he lunges at Subaru. Subaru hurriedly jumps to avoid it, but the lightning speed is still too fast. His feet barely touch it before turning to ash. The Thunder Lord says lazily, "Even if your power increased a bit, do you think it makes any difference?" But Subaru's feet regenerate quickly and gather dozens of blood arrows around him. With all his strength, all are rapidly fired toward the Thunder Lord. The Thunder Lord mocks, "Shh, how pathetic. Finally, I understand why you were chosen by the undead, obsessed with life and never giving up, ultimately doing completely meaningless things." The next second, several bolts fly out, evaporating completely, all the blood arrows approaching. The Lord of Thunder looks disdainful. Before unstoppable power, everything is insignificant. At that moment, Subaru's pet cat Sushi suddenly appears, recovering. Silently, the mystical Piercer, the proud Lord of Thunder, is surprised to see the cat suddenly appear. Then a lightning bolt strikes hard. What the hell is this thing? But when the smoke clears, the crystal cat stands up again. This scene leaves the Lord of Thunder completely stunned. Subaru shouts hurriedly, "Sushi, bring it to me." Sushi understands, and with a nod, the mystical Piercer instantly flies towards Subaru's hand. Subaru feels he finally has a chance, but the next second his expression freezes. The Lord of Thunder teleports in front of him, then lightly points a finger, tearing Subaru's arm off. But Subaru starts laughing because the huge Sushi has arrived. A giant claw lunges at the Lord of Thunder. The Lord of Thunder reacts and kicks back. Thick currents break instantly. Sushi stops. Now Subaru's wounds have healed, raising the mystical Piercer ready to attack. The Lord of Thunder turns hurriedly, surprised that his coordination is so tactical. But Subaru changes direction, quickly diving downward. Upon landing, he raises the mystical Piercer. Subaru must use all his magical power in a single gamble, so he fiercely slashes around him. Waves of sword energy cut the surroundings. Knights. The next second, a series of death notifications sound. His level rises from 34 to 35.1. New level. Subaru's condition is at maximum, but at this moment, the Lord of Thunder flashes, instantly piercing Subaru's chest. The Lord of Thunder roars angrily, "Damn bastard, why don't you give up?" Hearing this, Subaru considers the answer, thinks of those who bullied him, who called him useless. Thinks of Sayaka's words, "Let's get strong together." Thinks of Sakura's words, "From now on, what do you want to do?" But what he most desires now is to see her again. Adventuring together was so fun, even if just once to see her. Even if she doesn't want to forgive me, I also want to say thank you. If there's a chance, I hope we can keep adventuring together. So I made this bet. Hearing this, the Lord of Thunder is completely confused. What is this guy talking about? It turns out Subaru remembered the original reason for exploring the Demon Gate. Whenever he reaches level 35, the third Rainbow Gate could descend again, and he won the bet. The next second, a mosaic of colors begins to appear out of nowhere. An instant later, a Rainbow Gate descends, appearing behind his Varo. The Lord of Thunder looks amazed. The ancient vampire Vanquish reveals himself. "Get ready. Chillin', because hurting my successor carries a severe punishment." Seeing his Varo barely alive on the ground, Vanquish praises, "You did very well. This is your victory." Then shoots a thread of blood from his finger, wrapping Subaru right under the Lord of Thunder's nose, carrying Subaru toward the gate. The Lord of Thunder barely contains his rage. "I will never forget what you did to us." Then his body explodes with intense energy. It won't be so easy to leave. A dazzling and violent pillar of lightning shoots instantly toward the gate. When the smoke clears, the world inside the gate has been struck with a deep fan-shaped pit. Then the Lord of Thunder intervenes. Inside there is a white desert. The Sea of Bone Ashes is the familiar and hated Bone Ash. Omar, Vanquish, avoided the violent energy before and is restoring Subaru's wounds and says thanks for getting stronger. "I'm also starting to recover my power." After a moment, his wounds, Varo, are completely healed. Suddenly, a thunder sounds nearby. The Thunder Lord's body dances with electric currents. Grinding his teeth angrily at the two, Vanquish kindly reminds him, "This is not your world, leave." But the Thunder Lord roars, "And my one-on-one fight isn't over yet. After finishing him, you're next." Vanquish shows a look like he's staring at an idiot, and you'd think he'd listen to your nonsense. "But if you want to defeat me and Subaru, I'll give you this chance." Then grabbing Subaru's shoulder, his body begins to merge with Subaru's. This behavior surprises Subaru a lot. Vanquish smiles slightly. "Borrowing your body for a while? I'll teach you how to use the blood mode. As soon as the fusion is complete, a huge colorful energy bursts out. Vanquish is satisfied with this level 35 body. The Thunder Lord looks disdainful. You think you can defeat me with this weak body? Vanquish is very casual. This is enough. Don't forget, this is my world. The Thunder Lord roars. If I could return to the underworld. Maybe. Before it ends, a big slap instantly hits him. With just one slap, the Lord's head flies off. Vanquish's gaze is cold. You'll never return because you'll die here. The Thunder Lord, taken by surprise, is furious to the max the next second. Just as his head regenerates back onto his body, Vanquish throws another palm, hitting his chest hard. Several blood stains remain on his body. Vanquish softly recites Cursed Blood Vortex. The entire body of the Thunder Lord begins to twist under Vanquish's control, spinning at high speed, eventually compressed into a ball of flesh. The Thunder Lord forcefully extends a foot, kicking Vanquish hard to break the control. The next second, free from control, he begins to counterattack. A lightning-charged kick is fiercely launched, causing a deafening explosion. Then he summons lightning attacks, but all are blocked by Vanquish using blood molds. At this point, the Thunder Lord performs a wide flying kick. Vanquish takes advantage of the opening, blocking while instantly pointing his finger. The Thunder Lord's abdomen is pierced with a large hole. Vanquish laughs coldly. Why don't you move? Come fight me. In the mental world, Subaru is sweating a lot. This is too strong. Looking at the Thunder Lord suffering in pain, Subaru is very curious about how he was hurt, because enemies with regeneration abilities shouldn't get hurt until their magic runs out. Vanquish explains it's because of the curse. By applying curses to the blood, you can severely damage the opponent's soul. The Thunder Lord now has bulging blue veins. Cursed vampire, you dare to underestimate me. Then his whole body bursts with an imposing lightning. Seeing this, Vanquish also starts to get serious. Then the battle erupts again. The two exchange fierce blows. However, with the blood curse enhancement, the Thunder Lord gradually loses ground. Instantly, his body is full of holes. The Thunder Lord is very displeased. If he were at full strength, it wouldn't be like this. Vanquish says calmly, you only have yourself to blame for not killing Subaru. Immediately, the moment the Rainbow Gate descended, you lost. And Subaru would do his utmost for victory. That's the difference between you and him. Then the Thunder Lord, full of reluctance, begins to collapse, finally unable to regenerate, slowly dissipating. A message appears. You have killed the boss. Looking at Vanquish, showing terrifying power for the first time, Subaru is amazed and convinced. However, something unexpected happens. A lightning appears out of nowhere. Then the panel shows the boss has resurrected. Subaru is very surprised. What is happening? Vanquish's expression is calm as if he expected this. This is just remains. The Lord of Thunder, although resurrected, only has 5% health remaining. The newly resurrected Lord of Thunder charges forward with fury, but is firmly pressed to the ground with a single finger by Vanquish. Suddenly, Vanquish remembers an important matter, the trial inside this gate, pointing at the nearly dead Lord of Thunder, indicating that he is the subject of the trial. Upon hearing this, Subaru is immediately surprised. If he were to fight against the Lord of Thunder himself, he would certainly risk his life to defeat him. But Vanquish's expression suddenly turns serious. If you can't beat him even in this state, I won't need you anymore. And this time, I won't intervene. You need to learn to ignite your hatred, Subaru. He seems confused because he has no reason to hate the Lord of Thunder. Vanquish explains, because you were once called trash, you hate being useless. Not only do you not care about your own life at all, but you are always in danger for the safety of others. And you blame yourself for not being able to protect others, but all these are wrong thoughts. Don't blame yourself for being weak. Instead, hate your weakness. Hatred isn't to keep you stuck in the past, but to give you the power to move forward. So ignite the hatred and become stronger. One day you will love yourself and reach true happiness. Hearing this, Subaru suddenly realizes he no longer feels fear or worry. The skill, He Who Hates the Light, has leveled up. The Cursed Blood skill activates as he walks firmly toward the Lord of Thunder. Sorry for the wait, chillin'. Let me borrow your life for a while. Facing the Lord of Thunder with everything, Lord Subaru firmly grabs the Mystic Piercer on full alert. The next second, a violent explosion erupts. On the other side, Renji fights with growing vigor. Another cut severely injures the Lord of the Tempest. Then the Lord of the Tempest creates distance. Seeing this, Renji activates his second skill, Core Edge, blocking the Lord of the Tempest, pulling hard to drag him. The advantage brought by the Imperial Glare skill is obvious, although the cost is an extremely high magic consumption. Currently, his magic can last at most 48 seconds, but the enemy still has 400,000 health units. Renji doesn't have much time, so he decides to go all out, activating his 7th skill, Etual, capable of using the skills of other powerful knights. Then a flying dragon slash is launched. The Lord of the Tempest is cut to pieces. Before the Lord of the Tempest can regenerate, Renji raises his sword and jumps high. The piercing strike skill cuts forcefully through the Lord of the Tempest. He is pinned to the ground like a cannonball. At this point, the Lord of the Tempest is in a pitiful state, feeling that Renji's swordsmanship, now, compared to before, seems like that of a completely different person. Renji's eyes flash. Beastbreaker skill, giant sword energy like a rainbow is launched. Forward. The Lord of the Tempest is instantly cut in two. Double flash skill. Two sword energies chase after, cutting the Lord of the Tempest to pieces again. Renji's attacks come one after another, raising his golden holy sword, Mad Destroyer skill. A golden sword shadow tens of meters high crashes down forcefully. The Lord of the Tempest blood runs out from continuous attacks, unable to regenerate, his body gradually dissipates. The panel shows you have defeated the boss, but defeating the boss didn't level him up. Renji's life and magic also run out, collapsing to the ground powerless. Looking towards Subaru's rainbow gate, it breaks in the next moment. Renji is surprised. Subaru failed as well at this moment. The panel suddenly shows the boss's clone. Then the Lord of the Tempest appears again. Now he is extremely angry, having actually been killed by a mere human. So he lunges at Renji, determined to tear him apart. Renji can no longer move, and at this life or death moment, a spatial rift suddenly appears in front of Renji. Then the figure of his Varo emerges from the void, confronting the Lord of the Storm, who charges, with his fist closed, infused with the blood curse. Fists fall like a storm. The Lord of the Storm is struck with agonized screams. After a moment, his body begins to collapse, slowly dissolving into space. Then, his Varo turns his head, "Let's go home," towards Ajirazaka. Meanwhile, Taiga, who had fallen into darkness upon returning from the underworld, the first thing he did was kill his own stepfather with his own hands, while his mother remained indifferent to his transformation, coldly immersed in her own world, thinking only about how to spend and waste money. At this point, Taiga was completely consumed by a murderous intent. Then a black smoke headed toward his mother, looking at his fallen mother. He raised a champagne glass. But Taiga's madness didn't stop there. Next, he wanted to destroy the entire world. Meanwhile, Subaru sighed. Having finally defeated the two lords, he crossed the 5-star gate in just 22 minutes, and Renji, due to his level increase, had his negative status removed, regaining his sight. At this moment, Renji was very grateful for Subaru's timely appearance. Otherwise, he really would have died this time. Then Subaru called Saiaka and Sushi. At this moment, Saiaka and Sushi peeked out from the palace. She was happy that Subaru was safe and sound. Subaru was also overflowing with joy from the victory. "Let's go home." Moments later, the three exited through the gate, only to see someone already waiting outside. Udo congratulated them. 22 minutes, that's a new record. The man dressed in blue, Ryuji, was the highest-ranking senator. The three were very surprised by the situation in front of them. Udo then pointed to the guy beneath him, saying, "I got information about someone committing crimes, so I came running and subdued this guy. This guy is a subordinate of Taiga and will be taken back for interrogation." Then he grabbed Renji. "You also need to go back. Shikishima is waiting for you." The remaining two watched as everyone left. Then, Subaru suddenly said, "I found a way to see Saiaka." After that, the two went to the rooftop. At this point, Subaru had unlocked the level 35 skill Prana to Peace, which could exchange the souls of a relative with their original owner, meaning that Sayaka's soul was still in her body, just not fully recovered. Due to severe injuries, Sayaka's return was only a matter of time. Thinking about this, Subaru couldn't contain his excitement. His long-cherished desire was finally about to come true, so he jumped high and wanted to do 3 flips to celebrate. At that moment, he felt sorry for Lord Gull, realizing that what he had said before was correct. But what he still couldn't understand was where the soul of Sayaka's current familiar came from. So Subaru stopped thinking about it and took out the rewards for opening the gate, earrings with thunder and storm attributes. However, he gave them to Saiaka. Saiaka felt extremely flattered, while Subaru explained that the last battle made him realize he didn't have enough power to protect her, so he hoped Saiaka would accept them and try them on now to see the effect. Then Saiaka calmed down and carefully put on the earrings. Subaru sincerely praised, "They look good." This comment made Saiaka blush and fly away. Watching Saiaka fly farther and farther, Subaru was left speechless, wondering how far she could fly. At that moment, the crystal cat was speechless and angrily hit Subaru, such an unbearable master that even the cat couldn't stand him. The next day, Subaru unexpectedly learned of his parents' death through the news. At that moment, he was completely stunned upon hearing this terrible news. Subaru returned to his old house. The house had already been reduced to rubble. Nearby, Udo was checking the condition of the deceased. From the wounds, the killer was clearly Taiga. Who would have thought he'd be so heartless? Shikishima approached silently behind Subaru You don't have to push yourself to come to the scene, Subaru said calmly. There's nothing to be sad about. I can't remember any memories of my father and mother anymore. What I want to know now is what Taiga is thinking on the other side. Taiga arrived at the Hero Association headquarters, walking straight to the entrance. Until now, news about Taiga had spread throughout the Hero Association. Taiga slowly approached the reception desk. The receptionist still greeted him warmly. However, at this moment, Taiga began to emit smoke. People were completely unaware of the approaching danger at that moment. Outside the Hero Association, everything was cheerful and peaceful, just as a magician was about to perform his next trick. The Hero Association building collapsed suddenly behind him. Everyone was shocked by this sudden event. Sounds of collapse and screams filled the air. Only one figure walked slowly out of the ruins. Taiga, who had gained immense power, now felt incredibly empty and alone. Moments later, Renji and others received the news that this attack had caused 200 hero casualties. Upon hearing this, an unnamed rage burned inside Renji. Shikishima quickly relayed orders to the branch. Don't stop investigating the gates of hell. We can't let the sky clock reach 0, Shikishima said. He began to regret letting Subaru go home alone because he could be the next target. Suddenly, a strange phone call came in, and Shikishima immediately guessed it was from a member of the Dark Forces. The suited man on the other end sneered. So you like our declaration of war? Upon hearing this, Renji's body burned with rage, but the suited man became even more arrogant, claiming they would attack the other 6 branches of the association. Renji could no longer stay still, and went straight to the roof of the car. Before Yudo could stop him, Renji flew off at high speed. Shikishima said there was no need to stop him. Let him go to reduce further casualties. At this point, Shikishima spoke harsh words. At this moment, Shikishima also guessed the Dark Force's purpose, which was to destroy the sky clock, and Taiga had the ability to accelerate time. Now the sky clock had 870 days left, and destroying the 5-star gates of hell was the most effective way to reduce the time. So he quickly notified other heroes to watch over the remaining 5-star gates and sent the gold badge to follow Taiga's movements. Meanwhile, in a certain building, the Dark member, the girl in the black robe, Yumanu, didn't understand why they declared a war when they could have launched a surprise attack, but Keigi eagerly awaited such an open battle. On the other hand, 3 Dark members found Subaru, led by Kei, who had escaped from the association's headquarters, claiming he wanted a one-on-one battle. But Subaru calmly stood up and said, "Come, all 3 at once, so none of you will escape." Hearing this, the bald guy got furious. "How dare you underestimate us?" So he immediately activated his ability, Obsidian Guardian. In an instant, his body was covered with a layer of stone armor. He jumped fiercely towards Subaru the next second. Subaru threw a punch to counterattack. On contact, the stone armor was covered in blood marks, followed by another punch that sent the bald guy flying, breaking the stone armor. The bald guy lost consciousness without knowing what had happened, but Kei saw clearly. He was attacking from the inside with blood. Far from being afraid, Kei was extremely excited. His body exploded with intense energy. Jumping and quickly cutting his Varo, he crouched, easily avoiding the attack. Just as Subaru relaxed his guard, he suddenly turned and struck down with both swords. At the critical moment, Subaru hurriedly retreated, barely escaping. When the smoke cleared, the ground had a large hole cut by the blow from Subaru. He didn't expect Kei to be able to add black smoke to his swords. Seeing this, the blonde boy asked, "Do you need my help?" But Kei confidently refused. "Watch how I defeat him with style." Subaru was very confused about the purpose of all this. While speaking, Kei attacked again, and Subaru quickly raised his shield to block. At this point, Kei responded, "Because it makes no difference as the leader of a team. I alone am enough to handle this, and I will prove I can defeat the strongest hero, Renji, because that's my dream." Hearing this, Subaru was puzzled. It's not about breaking the sky clock and destroying the world. He thinks he's a comic book hero, but Subaru had another question. "Then why did you attack those 3 people in front of the 5-star gate?" Kei sneered. "That was their fault for being weak and leaving the battle line." As soon as he finished speaking, a blow hit him, unexpectedly in the face. Kei's body flew backward, only stopping when he crashed into the railing. Now Kei was surprised. The speed of the blow was much faster than before. What he didn't know was that this very statement had enraged Subaru. "How dare you insult those who work hard to protect the world?" Then he activated his skill. "One who abhors the light, you should die for your selfish dream." Hearing this, Kei became furious, his body also bursting with an intense aura. Just as Subaru was about to launch an attack, the blonde boy suddenly appeared and kicked Kei. Kei was knocked unconscious by this kick. Subaru was very surprised by what had happened, so he asked, "Are you going to be my next opponent?" However, the blonde boy said, "Come on, let's finish this battle here. Actually, I have another identity. I'm a subordinate of Shikishima sent to infiltrate the Dark Forces as an undercover agent. I came here to tell you the locations of the 6 5-star gates. Meanwhile, other heroes monitoring the 5-star gates were also encountering members of the Dark Forces. Taiga arrived in front of one of the gates. However, Shikishima had been waiting there for a long time. Wow, a rare pleasure. I accidentally hit the jackpot. Looks like I'll have to give it my all today. Taiga responded coldly. Shikishima, I guess you'll be the first to die, but… Shikishima sneered. I told you not to underestimate me too much. Then he unleashed his 5th skill, Meteor Shower. A sky full of blue flames descended rapidly. Facing the quickly approaching meteor shower, Taiga showed no expression. With just a few jumps and dodges, he avoided the dense attacks. Seeing Shikishima's full assault, Taiga recalled that painful memory. It turned out that 3 years ago, Shikishima was the first person to suspect him when the Gate of Palinus. Taiga was stolen from others. His leveling was abnormally slow. Even at level 20, his second gate still hadn't appeared. While Simple Renji said some people don't get their second gate until level 30, so you shouldn't suspect him too much. But Shikishima said, I don't want to ruin the mood either. But his situation really fits very well. However, all these conversations were overheard by Taiga. Shikishima's next proposal made Taiga very nervous and sweaty. In fact, Shikishima wanted to use a lie detection skill to test him. Feeling his life threatened, Taiga secretly promised to kill Shikishima someday. Who would have thought that this wish that was once foolish could now be fulfilled? Then Taiga's body began to emit a burst of smoke, then disappeared into the smoke. When he appeared again, he was behind Shikishima, which surprised Shikishima a lot. This guy's speed is so fast. However, he immediately dismissed this thought because Shikishima had the ability of X-ray vision, capable of sensing enemy positions within 1 kilometer. This guy must be using some method to teleport instantly. Facing the rapidly approaching fist, Shikishima remained very calm. I've already told you, don't underestimate me too much. Then a dazzling white light appeared behind him. The next second, a violent explosion was heard. Although this attack didn't kill Taiga, Shikishima now knew his ability. He could only teleport inside smoke, and he felt that Taiga was only around level 50 while he was already at level 83. Taiga was no match for him. Suddenly, a violent explosion erupted behind Shikishima. Taiga said slowly, when all of you went to defend the 5-star gates, we destroyed all the 4-star gates. Now 200 underworld creatures have been released. And you've lost a large number of heroes because you didn't anticipate our actions, so what do you plan to do about all this? Shikishima looked at this scene in disbelief. Going this far, you really are Taiga. But Taiga said the old Taiga is already dead. Now only his desire remains in his conscience, which is to take revenge on the world that didn't love him. Upon hearing this, Shikishima finally understood everything. The fear, pride, boldness, and madness that once existed in Taiga had disappeared. This also meant he had the potential to kill the heroes of the Gold Badge. However, he couldn't tolerate Taiga's recklessness. So he activated his 6th skill, Moss to the Flame, to protect the city. I must kill you. At that moment, Taiga said coldly, I will regret your death. So both sides launched at each other simultaneously. At the moment of contact, 2 energy aces, 1 blue and 1 purple, shot up into the sky. At this moment, in another corner of the city, the Elegant Man also encountered a Gold Badge hero. And an hour ago in the underworld, the Elegant Man said goodbye to his wife and children and said he would be back before dinner. However, after the Dark Gate closed, the Demon Lord made strange noises. It turned out the Elegant Man's family was already dead and were only revived using the Demon Lord's power. And now next to the 5-star Hellgate, Renji used all his power and cut down a monster with a single blow and said coldly to the suited man in front of him, drop your weapon and surrender. While I'm still calm in front of the #1 hero in the world with the Gold Badge, the suited man was very calm. Sorry, but I also have my mission. This statement enraged Renji, so he raised his golden sacred sword and attacked quickly. However, the suited man remained serene, calmly swinging his hammer. The space above Renji instantly shattered. A strong blow descended through the void, striking Renji to the ground. This was the suited man's first skill, which could cut space to launch attacks. This strange attack made Renji cautious. Although Renji wasn't good at understanding complex things, he could clearly feel that this attack method was very similar to his 6th skill. Since that was the case, Renji decided to attack before he could move his scythe, so he instantly increased his speed to the maximum and charged toward the suited man. At this moment, a mark suddenly appeared out of nowhere. Renji, upon touching the mark, found his body unable to move. Taking advantage of this interval, an attack fell again through the void. Unable to dodge, Renji was knocked to the ground. This was the suited man's 2nd skill. Anyone who touched the mark would be frozen for a second, and what he didn't know was that the man in the suit had already filled the surroundings with Renji's marks. Refusing to give up, he launched another attack, but his body touched a mark again every time Renji was frozen by a mark. The man in the suit launched an attack, and that's why the man in the suit was so confident, because he knew Renji would choose to open up, step forward. So Renji decided to change his strategy and released 3 flying swords that shot out but hit the target and instantly froze. At the same time, a void attack came from the side again at this moment. Renji felt powerless for the first time, but this also made him even angrier. Having such powerful strength, why not use it to protect the world? However, the man in the tie suddenly became fierce and asked why you're protecting the world. For the many strangers who died or for the job of being a hero? Your anger is really directed at me. Answer me. Void and hurricane attacks fell from the sky again, knocking Renji to the ground. At this moment, the man in the suit was wrapped in a shadow. It turned out that the man in the suit once had a happy family, but his family was cruelly killed by a minor hero who couldn't be convicted because he was a minor, the poor. The man in the suit sank completely into darkness until one day the demon lord appeared before him, saying he could help him resurrect his family. In exchange, he would help the demon lord destroy the world. So the man without hesitation fell into darkness. And Renji also remembered that case, feeling a deep empathy for the man in the suit's experience. He immediately fell silent, allowing the man in the suit's attacks to rain down heavily. The man in the suit despised Renji's behavior, while Renji still held his golden sacred sword motionless. Then the man in the suit roared, "You really want to be killed? Then I'll grant your wish immediately and kill your companions. Along with you." Renji finally closed his eyes in resignation. The next second, the roaring man in the suit was hit by a powerful golden sword energy. This was Renji's most powerful skill, the 6th skill, Distortion Edge. However, the defeated man in the suit looked relieved because he had finally exhausted Renji's magical power. Completing his mission at this moment, Renji, having defeated his enemy, did not feel joy but an inexplicable sadness that arose because he could feel emotions in his opponent's attacks. With each attack, he could feel the man's pain. Now, he finally understood the words of the man in the suit. In fact, it wasn't so great as to fight for the world. He just wanted to protect his friends, so this was also the reason why he couldn't give up. But for the man in the suit, everything he did was just to see his family. The man in the suit was at peace before his death. "I lost this time. You should leave, Renji." Finally, he couldn't contain his anger. The damn demon lord was exploiting his enemy's weaknesses. Meanwhile, Subaru met the woman with the cloak. According to the information provided by the blonde boy, the Dark Member's abilities were related to time and space, and could be used along with their original abilities. At that moment, the woman with the cloak released silver energy, then transformed into an orange cat with glasses. Then with the enhancement of spatial abilities, it became a huge creature. However, just as it was about to pounce on Subaru, an even bigger cat paw struck hard. It was Crystal, Cat Sushi, who intervened, killing it with a single blow. Then Sushi yawned lazily. This enemy was too weak for him. At that moment, Subaru contacted Saiaka. Saiaka, with her great strength, had successfully cleared an area of monsters and said she could meet him soon. However, the moment she hung up the phone, her heart began to beat anxiously. On another battlefield, Sayaka's 2 sisters met the girl in the black robe. Older sister Hasuki began to unleash the power of the Dragon King. The next second, she activated her skill, Dragon's Fall. A powerful shockwave crashed into the girl in the black robe, seeing the ground turn to ruins. They thought such an attack would surely kill the opponent, but when the smoke cleared, the girl in the black robe was surprisingly unharmed. The prepared younger sister Misujo suddenly appeared, swinging her gigantic scythe quickly at the girl in the black robe. However, just as she was about to strike, the figure of the girl in the black robe vanished instantly. Just as the younger sister was stunned, she suddenly reappeared and delivered a fierce kick. The younger sister was shocked by this strange ability. How did she do that? This was the special skill of the girl in the black robe. Blink of existence. By blinking, she could disappear from the world. At that moment, the older sister rushed to help but vanished again just as she got close. Before the older sister could react, a foot came from the side. The older sister was kicked hard and sent flying. However, just as the older sister landed and stabilized herself, a series of attacks came one after another. Unable to withstand it, the older sister was finally knocked down. But at that moment, the girl in the black robe was unusually excited just because she recognized that the 2 sisters in front of her were social media celebrities with tens of times more followers than her on social media. But now they were being tortured and killed by her. Thinking about this, her expression gradually turned sinister. At this moment, Saiaka suddenly teleported. Behind her, accompanied by a whisper, "I promise, I only need 3 minutes." Then a notification appeared, Soul Conversion Principle. It turned out that the soul of the real Saiaka had taken control of the body. The girl in the black robe had reacted just as she received a heavy blow. The girl in the black robe, who was thrown through the air, was very surprised. How did I suddenly get hit? It turns out Saiaka had just used the Death Fist. The 2 sisters were also shocked. Saiaka had come back to life, and Saiaka was as lively as before, greeting the sisters Although I can only return for a while, leave it to me now, feeling this long-awaited reality. With the world and her most important family in front of her, Saiaka was extremely happy at this moment, while the girl in the black robe had broken teeth from a strong hit and was now extremely angry, roaring. But Saiaka didn't tolerate her, hitting her directly in the face. "I'm the one who should be angry. How dare you mess with my family?" Subaru, connected to Sayaka's soul, felt a strange familiar sensation. Could it be that Saiaka has returned? Meanwhile, on Sayaka's side, the battle was one-sided. The girl in the black robe had no way to counterattack. Realizing something was wrong, she wanted to escape quickly. But when she tried to use her blink skill, an error warning appeared. Skill cannot be used due to excessive spatial impurities nearby. The girl dressed in black was completely terrified. What's happening? Looking around, she was surrounded by a red mist. This was Sayaka's blood mojo skill. Seeing this, the girl in the black robe decided to fight to the death. But in Sayaka's eyes, her strength was terribly weak because without her skill, the combat abilities of the girl in the black robe were completely useless. The sisters watching were amazed. Sayaka's strength had become so powerful. The older sister couldn't help but remember her in the past. Back then, Saiaka was very weak, and the older sister, to push her limits, decided to temporarily kick Saiaka out of the team until she got stronger, then they would reunite. But the strong-willed, Saiaka felt like she had become a burden, so she made a decision. By the time I get stronger, it will be too late to invite me to join the team. At that moment, the older sister finally understood Sayaka's feelings. She shouted out loud, let's cheer together for her. Saiaka, you're the best." Upon hearing the sudden encouragement, Sayaka's fighting spirit grew even stronger. The girl in the black robe was very confused. Wasn't their relationship bad? How could this be? This also reminded the girl in the black robe of her childhood, when her sister became the center of attention in the family because of her cute appearance, while she suffered neglect from the whole family. Even though they dressed the same and said the same things, the treatment was completely different, even facing malicious abuse from internet trolls. So the seed of extreme hatred began to be planted. She didn't understand why it was like that until one day the Demon Lord gave the answer. If someone is above you, then drag her down. So after gaining the Demon Lord's power, she personally took care of her own sister. At that moment, she only felt immense satisfaction. But now that feeling of disgust returned just because the person in front of her had power over her. So anger erupted, "You should be beneath me." However, Saiaka wouldn't tolerate it, dodging to the side, then delivering a blow that knocked her down hard, pushing her out of the misty area. The girl in the black robe went completely crazy. "Then at least I'll hurt what you cherish most." Then the girl in the black robe disappeared from the spot, reappearing in front of the younger sister, slashing excitedly just when she thought she had succeeded. The satisfied expression on her face froze. In fact, it was a blood mold that blocked the attack. It was Sayaka's timely rescue at that moment. Saiaka was extremely angry, releasing lightning. "I don't know what nonsense you're saying, but how dare you touch my family?" Then die, and a huge fist crashed down hard. The violent explosion was deafening. When the smoke cleared, the girl in the black robe was finally defeated, and Sayaka's sisters, as protected by the blood mold, were safe and sound. The older sister looked at the scene in astonishment. Saiaka had finally grown, not only defeating a strong enemy, but also protecting them. At that moment, Saiaka returned to her previous liveliness, making a victory sign to her sisters, but before she could finish celebrating, the next second, she suddenly spat blood. And Saiaka remembered time was running out. "We have to convert souls quickly." Then Saiaka, after thanking them, began to say goodbye to her sisters. "I have to go to sleep now." But the sisters were very anxious. "Sleeping means you're going to disappear." Seeing their worry, Saiaka quickly explained, "We'll see each other again soon, and after that, we'll team up again." But just then, a figure flew quickly from the sky. Subaru, sensing Sayaka's soul, had run without stopping. Seeing Subaru, whom she hadn't seen in a long time, Saiaka was also surprised. Remembering all those memories, she couldn't help but shed tears. But before Subaru could reach her, Sayaka's soul was gradually collapsing. Here, to prevent the wound from worsening, Saiaka returned and left a message. "She's waiting for you at the red table." Upon hearing this, Subaru finally breathed a sigh of relief. Just then, a roar scared Subaru. Sayaka's older sister approached with firm steps. Subaru thought she was going to settle the score with him, but unexpectedly the sister grabbed Subaru, excitedly with tears in her eyes. "Thank you for letting us see, Saiaka." Meanwhile, the younger sister also expressed her apologies. Subaru was moved to tears, but the next second, the two sisters were full of fighting spirit. There are still creatures from the underworld waiting to be eliminated. "We're leaving first." Seeing the two leave, Subaru remembered the Conqueror's words, feeling truly happy even though he hadn't found the answer yet. But as long as he was with everyone, it would be fine. So his gaze turned, determined again. Let's go. Many people are waiting for us. The scene changes. Saiaka arrives. To a white desert. A figure walks slowly. I saw your battle. Saiaka shows a proud expression. Wasn't my perfect performance, and in front of her is Mr. Gull with a serious face. Your performance only scores 13 points. Hearing this, another voice. Objects. It should be at least 30 points. Another voice is very angry. Using my power but taking 3 minutes. 0 points. Mr. Gull mocks. Don't interfere. With others training, you two parasites. Then he tells Saiaka, let's continue training. Meanwhile, a violent explosion is heard. Taiga emerges unscathed from the explosion, then his form, helped by the smoke, teleports behind Shikishima just as he's about to attack. Shikishima turns his head and says coldly, this is pointless. Several blue moths appear in front of Taiga, instantly causing a violent explosion. This is Shikishima's 6th skill, moths, get to the flame, which can summon fire moths that track targets after several explosions. Taiga clearly feels his smoke diminishing. He has to admit the strength of Shikishima, who has been a gold badge hero for 8 years. Just as Taiga hesitated whether to use his trump card, a familiar voice echoed. 5th skill, Imperial Gaze. Taiga turned to look. It was Renji who had arrived at the battlefield. With Renji's quick arrival, a 2-on-1 situation was now forming. Taiga hadn't expected the man in the suit to be defeated so easily, with Renji defeating him so quickly, but facing the 2 best human combat powers, Taiga wasn't worried at all. A purple electric current surged from within him. He murmured softly, "Black door." A dark door descended beside Shikishima. Seeing this, Shikishima jumped quickly, but the next second, several tentacles came out of the door towards Shikishima. Shikishima was immediately bound by the tentacles, so he quickly tried to activate his 3rd skill, Fleeting Flash. However, Shikishima was surprised to find he couldn't release the skill. It could be because of these arms. Shikishima thought to himself, this is bad. Seeing this, Renji was also stunned. This was completely within Taiga's expectations. This was the weakness of the gold badge heroes. Because of their own powerful strength, they had absolute trust in each other, so when judging to support, there would be an inevitable delay. Then Taiga raised his sword and walked towards Shikishima. At that moment, Renji faced a difficult choice, kill Taiga to end this battle or save Shikishima, who was at death's door. Just as Taiga raised his hand, Renji burst out with his strongest energy, rushing quickly to the next step. The tentacles on Shikishima were cut by dozens of golden sword energies. In the end, Renji chose to save his comrade. The rescued Shikishima looked back. A bloody mark appeared on Renji's body. Shikishima's pupils contracted violently. It turned out the price Renji paid to save his comrade was his own life. At this moment, the fallen Renji looked relieved. Seeing this, Shikishima shouted loudly for Renji, remembering their first meeting. Renji was actually a disaster in daily life, which made Shikishima feel very powerless. But during the exploration of the gates of hell, Renji sincerely helped and cared, finally opening Shikishima's heart. And while fighting, side by side, the friendship between comrades deepened. Because of this, Shikishima decided to establish an intelligence department to explore the gates of hell in advance and reduce the casualties of the Sakura heroes. Immediately understood Shikishima's thoughts. It turned out that Shikishima was the person who valued friendship the most, and Shikishima also expressed his wish, hoping that when all the gates of hell disappeared, everyone could laugh and finally dissolve. But now this wish was finally broken. Looking at Renji, who died in front of him, Shikishima was distressed, while Taiga spoke calmly. Congratulations, Shikishima, you are Renji's true friend. Hearing this, Shikishima was furious to the extreme. No matter what, I'm going to kill you. But Shikishima could no longer fight. Just as Taiga was about to finish everything, a blood-colored spike descended from the sky. Blood mold, Gimlet, a strong impact fell instantly, raising a cloud of dust from the ground. As the smoke cleared, Shikishima saw who had arrived. It was Subaru, who had arrived just in time, then started asking Subaru for help. Subaru took a deep breath. Don't worry, Shikishima, I won't let Renji disappear. Then Subaru's hand gathered a red light. Haribara, a dead reincarnation skill. A wave of energy enveloped Renji. At this moment, Shikishima finally remembered the first time he discovered Subaru had already completed 2 trials and successfully revived a hero. Shikishima was surprised. Could this be Subaru's ability? Then Subaru said with determination, I'm sorry, Shikishima, although I can't bring Renji back. However, I will protect his body temporarily until the day Renji truly returns. Now Renji's body begins to realign automatically, then reconnects through a mysterious energy. Suddenly, the ground beneath Renji explodes violently. A powerful green light shoots into the sky. Renji lets out a strange, maniacal laugh. So this is the human world. Not bad. Feeling the powerful energy flow in this body, the voice grows increasingly excited. This really is a top-tier vessel. Excellent. Subaru has a bad feeling. In this familiar voice, why did it have to be him? The soul that transferred turns out to be Lord Gull, one of the 6 undead kings under Banquis's command, master of the second trial of the Rainbow Gate. Due to Subaru's growing power, Lord Gull has regained considerable strength. Seeing this, Taiga summons 6 gates of darkness. Go destroy these noisy things, countless. Tentacles emerge from the gates, all rushing toward Lord Gull. Carrion immediately recognizes these withered tentacles, so it's that old wrinkled, just a nanny of a demon lord. Then raising his hand, he murmurs softly, "Blood mold, phase blood emerald." A vortex of energy gathers above his head. "To challenge me, you're a million years too late for that." Then he violently strikes his fist downward. A dense rain of energy falls instantly. Under the energy rain, the tentacles are as fragile as paper. The wounded tentacle monster groans from behind the gate. Hearing this, Karen discovers the tentacle monster's position, so there you are. Instantly forms scissors in her hand. Try these scissors. With all her strength, she throws them. The spinning scissors at high speed transform into a cold flash. Flying toward the gate, the huge tentacle monster behind the gate is cut in half by the blow. The 2 spectators are surprised by this sight, but Subaru remains calm. Well done. Charian. Meanwhile, Taiga approaches emanating dark energy. "Looks like you're my next opponent," but Karen is confused. "You want to fight me?" "No way, master." Subaru hasn't given that order. "I understand, then I'll kill Shikishima first." "Still, you don't understand. Your true opponent is right in front of you. You haven't realized it. You've been avoiding Subaru all along." Hearing this, Taiga stops while Karen urges, "Hurry up and finish this. My master has a lot to do, unlike you, who have nothing to do." Taiga's true thoughts were not about avoiding Subaru, but about preventing anyone from interfering in his duel, because when young Taiga met his half-brother, Subaru, that feeling of fear left a lifelong impression. Even reborn, that feeling remains engraved in his heart. So Taiga seems to make a decision. "All right, come with me," instantly opening a dark door from the ground. Seeing this, Shikishima quickly tries to stop Subaru. "Don't go, you'll die," but Karen shows no concern, instead encourages Subaru, "Do what you have to do. I'll handle things here." This is exactly the moment Subaru was waiting for, so he calls. Sushi, and under Shikishima's surprised gaze, decides to jump through the dark door. "I'll be gone for a while," feeling that the moment of destiny has arrived. Subaru remembers the words of the blonde boy, "What did Taiga do to you in the past?" But Subaru now only has one answer, which is to completely end this relationship. Only then can he move forward and in. Although Renji's soul transfer was unexpected, once his Varo dies, his spiritual relative will also die after that. The human world will be mind-scene change. Karian flies with Shikishima to the next place. Shikishima shouts at Karian, "It's too dangerous for Subaru. Why didn't you stop him?" "Don't worry. He already has a strategy." Hearing this, Shikishima is puzzled. When did he make a strategy? Just then, an alert appears. The 5-star Demon Gate reset time has been reset to 0. Remaining time for Demon Gates, 8,000 hours. Punishment: a deduction of time from the celestial clock. Seeing this, Shikishima's eyes widen in surprise, and then the celestial clock time rapidly decreases. After a moment, only 2 days remain on the celestial clock, and it begins to show signs of breaking. Shikishima starts to sweat cold. This means that now, if only one Demon Gate is destroyed, the apocalypse will suddenly arrive. Karian hits the stunned Shikishima with one hand. "Calm down, you idiot. If Renji is so important to you, then desperately protect what he values." Hearing this, Shikishima is momentarily stunned, then his mind clears immediately. "Now take me to the hospital immediately." But when Shikishima arrives at the hospital, he finds Sakura's bed empty. Shikishima's fury erupts. Where did that woman go at such a critical moment? Meanwhile, somewhere in the city, the black hero Koei is now bruised and swollen. In front of him is the serene gold rank hero Udo. Clearly, Kohi's wounds are from Udo, then the dissatisfied. Koei raises his fist to attack again, but the next second he is sent flying. Udo had activated his golden wall ability from a distance. Koei can't understand how a supposedly defensive hero could be so powerful. What he doesn't know is that Udo doesn't care about his offensive ability, always believing that the strongest shield is the best attack. Finally, Udo easily finishes the fight, then receives a call from Shikishima asking where Sakura has gone. Hearing this, Udo looks up only to see Sakura activating her second ability, her hands and feet, instantly replaced by golden chains, then her legs emit a dazzling golden light. 68 pounds of Karenid, the monster before her, is instantly destroyed by this attack. Then Udo speaks. "Sakura you mentioned is fighting. She wasn't seriously injured." But Sakura replies, "I don't think any hero can sleep under a sky like this. So you know what we need to do now." Udo affirms now we only have one option. The answer is obvious: speed up clearing the demon gates, because our duty is to protect the world. So Shikishima immediately notifies all the heroes. No matter how many doors of Monya Kasaya must be conquered to make up for lost time, Sakura is now full of fighting spirit after being bedridden. For too long, she can finally move at this point. Shikishima suddenly stops Carrion. Really? Aren't we worried about Subaru? Hearing this, Carrion laughs, then with determined eyes says, if he can't do it, then no one can. But in the Demon Lord's space, colorful tiles suddenly appear. The Demon Lord's eyes show disbelief. How is this possible? The old vampire appears instantly in the Demon Lord's space. Vanquish seems excited. I heard there's a bad kid here, so I came. Taiga looks at Vanquish and murmurs, then, this is the master of the Rainbow Gate, but his thoughts are interrupted by Subaru. Taiga, look at me. Your smoke and my blood can cancel each other out, so let's use the most primitive form of fighting. Get ready. This is our last battle as brothers. The Demon Lord is very surprised that Vanquish has successfully entered his world. How did you appear in this world? Vanquish says calmly, well done, Subaru. You gave me the coordinates of this world. Precisely. The Demon Lord turns with a surprised expression. It was you who caused this situation, but Subaru chooses to ignore it, which instantly enrages the Demon Lord. Look at me, human. The next second, the cold voice sounds, you're the one who should be looking at me. In an instant, the Demon Lord is tightly bound by blood ropes. Vanquish has thrown cursed blood. Don't overthink it because you're just a stupid fool. Nothing more. Hearing this, the Demon Lord is stunned. You call me a fool? Do you really think you've won? At this point, the Demon King's right eye, which was tightly closed, suddenly opens, revealing an eye with 4 pupils. Not even a god, immortal like you can defeat me in my world. The Demon Lord instantly activates his ability, Death's Victory. A thick black smoke advances toward Vanquish. The next second, it completely envelops Vanquish. This sight surprises Taiga, because it's the first time he's seen the Demon Lord so angry, and the cause of this situation is actually Subaru, that old weakling, has now become the confident and powerful rainbow hero. Suddenly, Subaru speaks, are you ready? Really? Do you think you can defeat me with your bare hands? The next second, Taiga's arm suddenly transforms into a sharp blade, then swings fiercely at Subaru. Subaru dodges with a downward move and instantly launches himself in front of Taiga, closes his fist and punches Taiga hard in the face, sending him flying several meters. When he stops, Taiga raises his left hand, from which black smoke emerges, then he violently throws it forward at Subaru. Subaru likewise releases a blood mist to meet it. The two energies clash evenly. Taiga now looks surprised. His proud ability has no effect, but Subaru says coldly, I already told you, using abilities is useless. Suddenly, with a backward jump, he kicks Taiga in the face, then, palm on the ground, spinning another roundhouse kick that connects. Continuing with the rotation of his body, another kick lands on the back of Taiga's head. Taiga is hit repeatedly. Subaru quickly takes advantage of his lead, but the next second, Taiga suddenly stops and stabilizes, then throws a powerful punch. Subaru can't dodge. He takes the hit but immediately adjusts his position, then both launch at each other again. But this time, both attack with all their strength, completely abandoning defense. Fists fall on each other like raindrops. The spatial tunnel cracks from their intense battle. After a while, the two finally separate. Both now have bruised faces. Subaru looks fiercely. Seems like you're finally ready. Taiga and Subaru fight with all their might, both completely abandoning defense, neither backing down even once. Meanwhile, Darkchild stares intently at Vanquish in the black smoke, thinking this blow could defeat Vanquish, because this time he used undiluted black smoke. But moments later, colorful tiles reappear in the black smoke. Vanquish reveals a small, sinister smile, and I can use that now. The colorful energy in the space grows increasingly dense. Darkchild trembles in amazement. Impossible, the black smoke that just appeared can accelerate time by thousands of years, so Darkchild decides to give it his all, his eyes glowing golden. Then let the passage of billions of years consume you. As soon as the words fall, a cold voice sounds, an ice seal, and the entire space freezes instantly. Darkchild is frozen in place before he can unleash his ability. Then Vanquish's voice sounds, time cannot kill me. That's why they call me the Lord of the Undead. You were pathetic until the end because you could have come up with a winning strategy. You were just too stupid. Don't you know the more you use the gates, the more traces you leave? So I was able to locate your position. More fortunately, Karen became Subaru's familiar, and he was once my familiar too. Darkchild finally realizes something. Vanquish laughs arrogantly. So Arian passed my plan to Subaru. And you foolishly let Subaru enter so I could teleport here instantly. Knowing the truth, Darkchild is furious. Damn brat, you knew you couldn't kill me, so you brought Vanquish here using Taiga's hatred and my caution, you damn scum. Then Vanquish approaches Darkchild. You're a pathetic worm. But for messing with my successor, don't think you'll escape punishment. So Vanquish raises his hand and softly says, Riet Cliver. Several dimensional tears instantly appear on Darkchild. The next second, purple blood gushes from Dark Child. Suffering severe wounds, Dark Child lets out a heart-wrenching scream. Vanquish quickly evaluates. You have a surprisingly impressive howl. Now desperate, Dark Child starts screaming, Lady Safina, save me. Vanquish will kill me. Please save me. As soon as the words fall, a golden light begins to shine in the sky. Vanquish looks up, seeing the light grow brighter. In an instant, a golden bell with a human face appears. Recognizing the newcomer, Vanquish's lips curl slightly upward. So you're the mastermind behind all this, old brilliant witch. Seeing her savior appear, Dark Child shows a joyful smile. But in the next second, the golden bell claps loudly at Dark Child. Then the bell speaks slowly. How dare you ask for my help, traitor? You dare act on your own and try to monopolize the human world. So, fools like you are only fit for the lowest level gate. After speaking, a demonic gate appears in space. Dark Child begs in pain. I don't want to be the lowest scum. I am the king of the blackwater. But despite Dark Child's pleas, the golden bell's hands release without hesitation. A red force drags Dark Child toward the gate to become a beast. After a moment, Dark Child's figure gradually disappears. When the demon gate closes again, it has become a one-star demon gate. Then the golden bell slowly turns to Vanquish. It's been a long time, undead. While Vanquish shows a smiling face. Looks like you're doing well, old witch. As soon as the words fall, Vanquish lightly cuts with his index finger, dividing the golden bell in two. Vanquish points at the broken bell. We will meet again soon, and then I will fight your true form. I look forward to that moment. And with that, the bell dissipates into space. At this moment, Vanquish hesitates. It seems things are about to get busy. Should I call the Six Lords? But I have completed my task and my successor. It's time to settle everything completely. Now Vanquish is more worried about Subaru because Vanquish knows that battles between heroes can sense each other's souls and ending up killing their own brother. With their own hands will be a test for Subaru. Now Vanquish murmurs, don't give up, Subaru, just. Overcoming this, you will be a qualified heir of divine blood. Now the battle between the two heats up intensely. Even after hundreds of strikes, both sides' eyes remain determined. And because of this look in their eyes, memories awaken in Taiga's mind. Young Taiga, just for eating pudding from the fridge without his mother's permission, suffered beatings from his mother being cursed that he and his father were trash from his earliest memories. Taiga knew his mother was a real scoundrel. Even his mother's new stepfather was just as trash. Although he knew the stepfather also had a son, Taiga, who was sure that kid had to be a damn scoundrel too, like himself. But at their first meeting, Taiga was stunned. Why could he smile so freely and have such clear eyes? He shouldn't be a bastard like me. At that moment, fear and impatience took over Taiga's body. So there really are happy people in this world. And why wasn't he that person even though they were in the same environment? But he didn't complain or give up at that moment. Taiga deeply doubted. I have a rotten nature, and that's when Renji said on TV. The gates choose people with radiant souls, although Taiga also dreamed of becoming a hero. He knew that definitely didn't apply to him just as he sought Subaru's approval. He was surprised to find out Subaru was chosen by the Golden Gate just because he feared his bro would be happier than him. Taiga took the gate without hesitation even after becoming a hero. Taiga kept him close and harassed him severely, never allowing this kid to be happier than him. Not even once thinking about this. Taiga's anger grows stronger, each attack becomes more powerful at this point. Taiga lifts his foot, cutting instantly toward Subaru, who dodges with a backward jump. The powerful impact instantly breaks the tunnel. Taiga falls into the dark water space, but Subaru relentlessly pursues him. A quick kick violently hits Taiga, then a rain of blows falls on Taiga. Finally, with a fierce strike, Taiga is knocked to the ground. At this moment, Taiga's eyes become distant, and memories begin to resurface slowly. It turns out that, although Subaru was happy, he suffered the same treatment as him even to protect him. Subaru endured beatings from his mother and promised him everything would get better. However, Taiga never believed any of it, but Subaru still persisted, never giving up. Then Taiga remembered when the Golden Gate appeared. If a radiant soul was the condition for the gate's choice, what was he thinking then? Now Taiga sees Subaru's thoughts. The powerful Renji could protect the most important people. If I could become a hero like him, I could protect Taiga, because Taiga is my only brother. Then Taiga returns to reality, slowly getting up, saying, actually, I realized a long time ago. In this world, only you truly love me. Vanquish watches the two below. It ends here, Subaru. Taiga's body is no longer human. The Dark Lord has disappeared. Without the dark power, Taiga's soul heads toward collapse and destruction. In his last moments, Taiga remembers his most beautiful memory, Subaru. For a small piece of flan, he suffered his father's merciless beating. Still, Subaru didn't let go. Even Taiga found it strange. Usually obedient, Subaru was so disobedient today he didn't know what. Subaru was protecting. How foolish. The father thought he was crazy for this broken thing. After the father left, Subaru found Taiga. Do you like pudding? Let's eat together. Taiga was stunned. How could there be such a foolish person? It seems like I can never beat him. Subaru. The pudding we ate that day, I never thanked you then. Actually, I was really happy. Thanks, big brother. With that, Taiga disappears forever. Subaru. Now he's full of pain, lying on the ground in agony. What kind of savior am I if I can't even save my own brother? At this moment, Vanquish slowly approaches. Subaru, can you get up? The greatest misfortune of Taiga was that he knew he was doing bad things but had no way to stop himself. Every time he did something wrong, the hatred for himself piled up. The more it piled up, the more twisted his soul became. This was an inevitable ending. Subaru murmurs in pain. There really was no other way. That's an answer you'll have to search for your whole life, until the day you die, and never forget it. Now cry if you want, I'll wait here until you can get up. Meanwhile, thanks to the efforts of all the heroes in the human world, the time on the sky-clad clock has been restored to 417 days. Shikishima finally sighs, relieved. The crisis in the human world is finally over. Now what they need to do is wait for Subaru's return. Saiaka is very worried now, but Carrion remains calm. We are his family. As long as we exist, he won't die. I know, but I can feel that Subaru's heart has been deeply wounded. The next second, a colorful crack suddenly appears in space. An angry voice sounds, I said I'd wait for you. I didn't think you'd fall asleep, crying, and I came all this way to help you. Saying this, Vanquish kicks through space. Then Crystal Cat pulls Subaru out. Subaru is now deeply asleep, dreaming happily about eating pudding with Taiga. Meanwhile, the sky-clad clock system begins repairs. When the repairs are complete, the 6-star gate will arrive. Elsewhere, I didn't expect the Dark Child to be dead. I can't feel the connection, and my abilities have been withdrawn. Do you think this is because of the rainbow air? After all, the Dark Child was a Dark Lord. So it's likely the work of the Divine Blood Master. It seems the three kings will start acting now because the sky-clad clock has begun updating. Meanwhile, after receiving treatment, Shikishima's body returns to its original state. Only Baro remains unconscious. Karen says nearby, don't worry, he's just healing his soul. Did you forget how exhausted you were after crossing your first gate? To this, Shikishima nods in agreement. I slept for 5 days after crossing my first gate. Only a monster like Renji could move immediately after crossing a gate. That's right. The stronger the person you contract with, the longer the soul needs to adjust. If an ordinary person contracted with Vanquish, their soul would sleep for decades or die instantly. But Subaru was able to keep acting for more than a month after contracting, which shows that his soul's power is extremely strong. So don't worry too much. I think he'll wake up. Now Subaru's consciousness reaches a vast starry space. What is this place? Am I dreaming? Suddenly, a voice is heard. This is the universal unconscious galaxy. Subaru looks toward the voice. This is where souls are born and where they return. You're in a soul dream stage, so you can see me for the first and last time. Subaru is very confused. It's not Vanquish or Carrion, but it feels incredibly familiar. The mysterious person continues, don't prepare for battle. Subaru, although the Dark Lord was very weak, he opened a hole in the human world, and as Vanquish's successor, your existence has been discovered. All countries will invade the human world. A storm is coming, a war with the Dark World. Everything will be lost. No one can stop it. Even Vanquish is powerless. Everything will be lost. No one can stop it. Even Vanquish is powerless, except one person, and that's you, Subaru. He starts to sweat cold. If such a disaster comes, what should I do? The Red Table, the Half-Twilight, the Apostle, Aurora. Most importantly, you will become king. Subaru murmurs, the king is me. I failed, and now I'm just the remaining consciousness. What do you mean you failed? And who exactly are you? I am Subaru, the King Aurora. I am you the strongest person in the world, but I failed to save the world defeated in the future. I can't tell you everything, but I can give you some revelations. Please protect this world, protect my loved ones, don't lose them. After speaking, a shining bracelet appears on Subaru's hand. You have received the Midnight Sun's Glow, a bracelet that allows you to see the King Aurora's memories that react to disasters. Now is the time to awaken. The first disaster will come next. The second. Subaru suddenly sits up in bed before Saiaka can react 3 doors. Radiating bright light appears simultaneously. Subaru, what amazes Saiaka the most is that each door has 10 stars. Now a voice sounds, pleased to meet you, Subaru, heir of Vanquish. Then from the 3 doors emerge 3 figures. They are the Golden King, Safina the Silver King, Rowan the Bronze, King Bodan. We 3 offer you our greetings. The next king of the generation, Subaru, looks at the bracelet on his hand, sure that everything in his dream was real because the bracelet reveals clear memories that in 3 months he will lose all his friends in their final moments. Subaru, don't die, I entrust you to Renji Lord. Subaru, I am honored to serve you. Go. Subaru, I will stop them. The battle is incredibly brutal, everyone trusts. The future to Subaru, even Vanquish is powerless. The rest depends on you, but Subaru is finally pierced through the chest. You're so foolish, King Aurora. Did you really think you could win without Vanquish's power? Subaru's pupils fill with shock, then he falls resentfully. In the end, I still lost. The apocalypse has come. I couldn't save anyone. I lost everything forever. Tagna Pishitzaporski E2 Fraz. Everyone entrusted me with the world, but I couldn't save it. I wish I hadn't made mistakes. Then if I could go back to that day, Subaru extends his hand with all his strength, desperately wishing that someone could save him, save the human world. Fortunately, King Aurora used all his power, finally finding himself in the past, in the unconscious universal galaxy. Subaru feels this tragic memory. Thank you. I have received your memories. Then his eyes become incredibly determined. Even though your world no longer exists, I won't let it go to waste. I will definitely protect everyone and prevent the disaster. Then his thoughts return to reality. We are the three kings with the largest territories in the Akshar underworld, the most powerful goddess of the Prested infernal realm, boasting the invincible order of knights, the Golden Knights, the Twilight Empress Safina, the most powerful divine beast ruling over all beasts, the legendary nine-tailed fox Rowan, the master of nature's spirits, and the half-human race that Rowan, the earth, the leader of no one. Boden Carrion looks at the three kings of the underworld in amazement. Impossible. The kings of the underworld came to greet Subaru. The Golden King gets straight to the point. You did excellently in repelling the dark forces. A suitable candidate for the next generation. King, I invite you to the Golden Kingdom. Continues the Silver King. You can consider this recruitment. You can cancel your contract with Vanquish and sign a new one with one of us three. Frankly, your soul vessel is unique. Just choose a suitable master, and you will become the strongest in the world. We three are the strongest in the underworld, much stronger than Vanquish. Your goal, along with other heroes, is to protect the world by clearing demon gates, and that is also our goal. Therefore, you should change to a new master to protect more humans. Upon hearing this, Carrion instantly becomes enraged. Enough nonsense, I will kill them all as soon as the words fall. The cold voice of the Silver King sounds, shut up, Carrion. The next second, several silver lightning bolts attack Carrion. Carrion starts to sweat cold. This energy contains soul power. You can't resist me in a human body. So shut up and listen. Then facing Subaru. We're not here to persuade you to change masters, but to offer you better conditions. That's Sidafina. Then the three kings begin to offer conditions. If you join me, I'll give you a spear that pierces everything and the right to command Golden Knights. I'll give you the bow of infinite light and 100 high-level dragons. I'll give you the axe of absolute destruction and 20 forests where great beings reside. Then the Silver King continues. What we can offer are the best deals. You just need to choose a door and then enter. Don't provoke me, bastards. You dare say you're stronger than Vanquish? You're just afraid Subaru will get stronger and that person will regain power. Subaru looks at Carrion surprised. Carrion's loyalty to Vanquish is absolute. Suddenly, Rowan's killing intent arises. You're really annoying. Seeing this, Subaru quickly stops Carrion because from future memories, Subaru knows this choice is inappropriate to save the world apart from Vanquish. Subaru can't cooperate with anyone, even if he must face the wrath of the three kings. After rejecting at this point, Rowan's tone finally softens. I think this is a fair deal. Of course, you have the right to choose, although Carrion still strongly opposes. The next second, Subaru suddenly speaks. I understand. I'm willing to change if the conditions are fair. Hearing this, Carrion curses angrily. Damn you, Subaru. But Subaru is very calm. Since you're so sure, why don't you convince me more? Rowan smiles. You want us to show our strength. We can do it now. What I want you to test is not strength, but conditions. If my soul is really 1 in a million, then the other kings must have thought so too. Let me meet with all the kings of the underworld to prove that your conditions are the best. Hearing this, the three kings are surprised. They didn't expect their pawn to propose this condition. There's a meeting soon, isn't there? 1. Where all the kings of the infernal realm gather in one place. Take me to that meeting. Rowan looks confused. How does he know about this meeting? Carrion told him. If he knows, how much does he know? What a cunning guy. But they don't know Subaru already knows the future. Now Subaru's gaze is incredibly determined. I will write this destiny myself. At the same time, Vanquish, who was in the territory of the underworld's sea of brilliance, silently observed Subaru's performance. He didn't expect that the three kings of the underworld would find Subaru much earlier than expected. At this moment, Vanquish was more worried about Subaru's behavior because the information about the Underworld Council meeting was confidential and he shouldn't have known. Then Vanquish began searching for other information and unexpectedly found an object called Midnight Sun Glow. Just then, a voice interrupted Vanquish's thoughts. The souls of Saiaka and Renji approached him. Vanquish had to explain the situation to them. The three kings of the underworld came to find Subaru to rescind the contract and choose them again. If Subaru rescinded the contract, then you who lost power would die. But if he refused, he would probably face the wrath of the three kings. since they wouldn't tolerate anyone opposing them. "I heard the Golden Queen took a dangerous object from the treasure," said Saiaka worriedly. "How dangerous is it?" "It's a treasure called the Victim. When used, it can easily destroy an entire country and cause millions of deaths." Saiaka was shocked. "Isn't the Gate Master supposed to be an ally?" Renji also expressed concern. "If Subaru refuses for our sake and faces retaliation, we're finished." However, Vanquish just smiled. "Don't worry, it seems he has already received help." The scene changes. When Subaru made his request to the three kings, the Bronze King immediately exploded with fury. His powerful rage made the city tremble. "At a highly prestigious council of kings, you, a mere mortal, want the same status as other kings." But Subaru remained calm. "Anyone who wants me can negotiate. It's not fair otherwise." In reality, Subaru was anxious inside. Because his opponents were the three kings of the underworld, impossible to defeat or reconcile with. So now the only thing he could do was buy time until the King's Council gathered. And the second disaster would come immediately after a decision was made, so this was Subaru's only way to change fate. However, it wasn't just the Bronze King who was angry. The Silver King said coldly, "I didn't expect a human to be so arrogant." Then he turned and said, "Let it go. Tifana, let's use that instead." Hearing this, Subaru started sweating, cold sweat, because he knew exactly what that thing was. Then the Silver King mocked, "You will witness the tragedy unfold and regret it until your death." After that, the Gold King pulled out an object Subaru recognized immediately. The treasure. The victim's explosion range depends on the power of the soul injected into it. When this extremely dangerous item appeared, his bracelet immediately emitted a strong warning signal. If the three kings injected their power simultaneously, it was conceivable that the entire country would perish. Then the future conclusion would repeat itself. However, at this moment, the Gold King spoke. "I must congratulate you. What I have is equivalent to a human nuclear bomb. If you foolishly refuse, we will use it immediately. Daring to set conditions for us shows remarkable courage, so I've decided to consider your proposal." Upon hearing this, the other two kings showed slight surprise. When did the Gold King become so merciful? But the next second, the Gold King suddenly smiled. "Without our help, can you survive the coming trial?" Hearing this, Subaru immediately sensed trouble. He quickly stood and looked out the window. The sky clock update had reached 99%. When the number hit 100%, a gate appeared slowly out of nowhere. The Gold King showed a smug smile. "What will you do now? This is too soon for you." Moments later, a 6-star demon gate descended over the city. Subaru never dreamed that, even knowing the gate would appear, it would come so fast. Then a notice appeared. As punishment, the difficulty of the 6-star gate had been increased. Subaru still clearly remembered the difficulty of the 5-star gate, and the difficulty of the 6-star gate was 100 times that of the 5-star gate. Then the Gold King spoke again. "Currently, none of you can possibly overcome that gate. The gate's deadline is 1 week, and the King's Council will be in 2 weeks. Let me ask you again, do you really not need our power?" The Silver King smiled maliciously. "Hurry up and say it. Help me." Subaru. Stubbornness is useless in this difficult choice. Even Carrion had nothing to say. But the next second, Subaru responded with a relaxed expression. "I don't need your power this time." Hearing this, the three kings were instantly shocked. This answer was completely unexpected. "We will open the demon gate ourselves. You may observe freely, and then discuss fairly at the council." But the next second, the Gold King burst out laughing. "Very well, I'm eager to see how you handle this. You're more interesting than I imagined. I allow you to attend the King's Council." That concludes today. Everyone present was shocked by these words, and Subaru finally sighed in relief. "I did it. I successfully avoided the first disaster." But before Subaru could rejoice, the Gold King smiled and said, "If you fail, I will use the treasure to destroy your country." Then the three kings disappeared simultaneously. As night fell, Subaru was already in bed, breathing heavily. The pressure of facing the three terrifying kings was overwhelming, and Saiaka also expressed her concern about the 6-star gate. Having experienced the 5-star gate, she believed it was now impossible to overcome a 6-star one. However, Subaru seemed confident. "I know a player who can get through that gate." As soon as the sky clock finished its update, the 6-star demonic gate descended to the earth, instantly causing chaos and panic. To calm the people, the hero publicly announced that he would gather a team to clear the gate as soon as possible. Meanwhile, Subaru decided to share everything he knew with his kindred souls. Then, the moment Carrion and Saiaka closed their eyes, countless tragic and bitter scenes slowly emerged. The two immediately opened their eyes in astonishment. The next second, Carrion suddenly exploded in fury, his body emitting intense energy. "Just because I saw Vanquish's death, I absolutely refuse to accept this. Even if it's just a memory from another future, I can't bear to see it." But Subaru just looked at him silently. I feel the same. After a moment, Carrion finally calmed down. Where did you learn about this? Then Subaru told them about meeting his future self in the Soul Sea. After hearing this, Carrion wondered if you could inherit the power of the Aurora King. Maybe you really could change the future. However, what Subaru could be sure of now was that the Aurora King would definitely be on his side. The reason for attending the King's Council was, first, to prevent the three kings from using the victim, and second, to ally with the Aurora King at the meeting. Then Subaru opened his heart. In the end, I still couldn't save Taiga in this matter. I don't know if I was right or not, but Vanquish said this answer requires a life to seek. I think he's right. So this time, I don't want anyone else to die, so please lend me your power. Hearing this, Carrion was stunned, but Saiaka responded first. My answer will never change. As long as the soul exists, I will follow you to the end. As soon as she finished, Carrion quickly declared, that's what I think too. Then Subaru moved forward. First, we need to open the 6-star demonic gate. The next second, Subaru took out his phone intending to tell Shikishima his plan, but Carrion took the phone away. You can't contact him in this war. The gold medal hero is not on our side, because the Gate Master can know the words and actions of the heir, and Shikishima's Gate Master is a subordinate of the Golden Queen. If you tell Shikishima the situation, the Golden Queen will definitely use the victim when she finds out. The silver and bronze heroes are the same. Thinking about this, Subaru frowned worriedly. This means this secret was only known by the three of them. However, Carrion was very optimistic. You forgot about Lord Vanquish. Inspired, Subaru shouted loudly, Vanquish, can you hear me? Vanquish, when the gate opens next time, I want to talk to you. I need to improve myself to prevent a disaster. If you can do something, please do it. After saying this, Subaru waited expectantly. However, Carrion looked at him with disdain. You don't need to shout for me to hear you. Renji's eardrums hurt because of your yelling, idiot. At this point, Saiaka couldn't help but ask, weren't we going to look for a player who could open this 6-star gate? Why are we out here in the middle of nowhere? But Subaru was very confident, because he's right on the other side of the sea. The scene changes to the real Saiaka in Banky's territory, training for battle. She quickly dealt with a large number of Thunder Knights, the Lords of the Storm, and the nearby Thunder couldn't help but sigh. No matter how many Thunder Knights there are, it's useless. It seems we're better teachers than Carrion. Meanwhile, Bankashiri Rengoku found the Gold Knight as soon as he saw Renji. The Gold Knight said with hatred, kill me. I won't kill you. I want you to become my sword master. Hearing this, the Gold Knight became even angrier. Shut up, traitor. After a moment of inner struggle, Renji knelt on one knee before the Gold Knight. I just want to help my friends in the upcoming war. Can you help me, Ludwig? The scene shifts to Subaru, crossing the sea to find the hero who can clear the 6-star demon gate. On the surface of the sea, a hooded hero with a silver medal. Jinga was testing his skills when Subaru finally found him and greeted him. Jinga was surprised by Subaru's sudden appearance. However, upon learning Subaru was also a hero, Jinga calmed down. What did you come to find me for? Subaru declared his purpose. You know a 6-star demon gate has descended. I need your power. I want you to be the main force to defeat one of the 3 lords of the 6-star gate. Jinga immediately lost his composure. No way. That's absolutely impossible, even. Carrion felt confused. Is this the main force Subaru mentioned? But he only has silver metal strength. Even Saiaka showed a worried expression. Then, Jinga said excitedly, I'm just a silver metal hero. I haven't even cleared a 5-star gate. You're overestimating me. However, Subaru calmly encouraged him. You can do it, even if it seems impossible now. When you reach level 70, you'll acquire powerful skills that are crucial for clearing the 6-star gate. After hearing this, the hooded man said emotionlessly, I don't believe it. How do you know what skills I'm about to master? But Subaru wasn't worried. I understand, then I'll make you believe it. A 5-star gate will appear nearby in a minute, and we'll clear it together. Once you reach level 70, you'll know if what I said is true or false. Hearing this, the hooded man was very surprised. You're too distrustful. Not only do you know my skills, but you also know when the gate will appear. Absolutely. I don't believe you. But just then, a notification appeared about a 5-star gate descending. Jinga was surprised again. This is just too suspicious. Maybe you have some kind of precognition ability. Then Jinga shouted excitedly, show me your hero registration card and ID. After checking them, I'll clear the 5-star demon gate with you. Hearing this, Subaru was very excited. Thank you so much for your trust. Although Subaru seemed very happy on the surface, Jinga saw a desperate urgency in him. Even though Jinga still didn't fully believe him, he decided to look for the answer. At this point, Jinga expressed again, I'm a very distrustful person and don't easily believe anyone, so I'll check you while we clear the gate. But Subaru didn't care at all. It's so you'll believe me. No problem. Despite your suspicions, once you believe me, you'll even go to hell with me. Hearing this, Jinga immediately became alarmed. He knew it was suspicious, and even though this was their first meeting, why do you act like you know me so well? But at this moment, Subaru couldn't reveal the truth because Jinga was his last companion in the future. Although he was only a silver medal hero, once he reached level 70, he would shine brightly, becoming the strongest ice hero, called the man who arrived too late by King Aurora. After preparing, Subaru headed to the 5-star gate. Then they arrived at a sea of flowers, which was Jinga's homeland. On the way, Jinga kept praising his beautiful homeland. Soon they arrived outside the 5-star gate. Subaru asked, "Are you ready?" Hearing this, Jinga's eyes darkened. "I absolutely won't let those underworld creatures..." Upon hearing this, Jinga's eyes darkened. "I absolutely won't let those underworld creatures trample my homeland." Then the group entered, with determination, through the 5-star gate, the Thorn Tower. Seeing the flowers that were once beautiful turn into monsters, Jinga felt repulsion, then advanced. First skill, Ice Spear. An ice spear suddenly emerged from the ground as he saw the man approaching. The man-eating flower lunged at Jinga. Jinga simply gave it a cold look and said slowly, "Second skill, White Frost." The huge man-eating flower froze instantly into an ice sculpture. At this point, Jinga no longer hid his strength. He removed his hood in one motion. "I will destroy you completely. That's indisputable." Then he unleashed his third skill, Crystal Leaf. A pair of ice skates wrapped around his feet. Then Jinga jumped toward the carnivorous flower, grabbing the ice spear and moving at extreme speed. The carnivorous flower in front of him was instantly shattered. Then a level-up notification appeared for Jinga. Jinga calmly asked Subaru, "You said the target is level 70, right?" "Yes, when I reach level 50, my next gate will also appear, so I need to give it my all." After saying this, Subaru activated his dual sword mode, holding the Mystic Piercer and the Black Ignis, ready to strike. However, watching Jinga's battle left Subaru's group secretly amazed. As a silver medal hero with 5 years of experience, Jinga not only fought gracefully, but also used his skills with great precision. Now it was Subaru's turn. Holding 2 swords, he walked forward slowly, sensing the enemy. The carnivorous flower immediately launched, countless sharp tentacles shooting directly at Subaru. However, Subaru just looked up slightly the next second. Just as the tentacles were about to hit him, Subaru teleported and appeared in front of the carnivorous flower. His 2 swords cut at extreme speed. The carnivorous flower that was cut withered quickly and died. This surprised Saiaka greatly. From the side, Lord Subaru had just used teleportation and Taiga's withering skills. The reason was that the Black Ignis possessed these 2 abilities. Now it was Saiaka's turn to act. She sang softly, "Bloodroot." Instantly, several thick tentacles emerged. Sayaka's eyes turned cold. "Go. Eliminate everything blocking Lord Subaru." As soon as she finished, the tentacles opened their heads full of teeth and rushed quickly toward the carnivorous flowers. The next second, they frantically devoured the man-eating flowers, which Ariana approved of from the side. Miss Sayaka's skills are quite proficient. Then she directed her gaze to the other man-eating flowers. "It seems you're very unlucky." Due to her various experiences, Ariana had accumulated a lot of anger. Now was the time to vent. Karen raised her hand and used a special move. With a single strike, all the carnivorous flowers within a 100-meter radius were cut in half. Seeing this, Jinga was surprised. How is this person so strong? Then he secretly wondered why they would look for him with such a powerful team. While thinking, a knight in armor suddenly lunged in front of Jinga. Then a shield strike instantly hit Jinga, just when he thought a single hit would finish him. Jinga dodged the attack without a scratch. Finally, a stronger enemy than me has arrived. The Black Rose Knight, level 77, emitted a powerful aura. At this point, Jinga quickly formed an ice spear and then threw it at the Black Knight with all his strength. The Black Knight quickly raised his shield and successfully avoided the damage. However, in the next move, the ice spear emitted a cold aura, instantly freezing the shield. Jinga's figure followed closely on his ice skates, striking the Black Knight quickly. However, the Black Knight still remained unharmed. This surprised Jinga. The defense is too strong. Not even the cold could penetrate. Suddenly, a shield appeared before his eyes. Before Jinga could react, he was struck by the Black Knight's shield bash. Jinga was slammed hard against the ground by this attack. Then the Black Knight, holding a long sword, quickly lunged down in this crisis. Jinga quickly backed away using ice. The Black Knight, having missed, paused for a moment. Then he unleashed his Black Wind skill with the longsword. He instantly sent out a wave of black energy. Jinga quickly released his skill, White Frost. A white mist rose before him, and in the next second, a violent collision caused a massive explosion. When the smoke cleared, Jinga had successfully blocked the attack. This was unexpected for the Black Knight. Then he pointed his longsword at Jinga. Jinga let out a cold laugh. "You want a fair fight? one-on-one like a knight, finally considering me a worthy opponent? But that's impossible, right? Ginga waved his hand and froze the soldiers behind him, trying to distract me and then ambush me, right? What a pity. I'm a suspicious person, and I don't believe in any chivalry code. Our fight is for mutual survival. After saying this, several ice spears instantly pierced the soldiers behind him. Then Ginga's eyes showed defiance. Now it's finally fair. Come at me. After saying this, the Black Knight charged furiously, but just then, Subaru suddenly attacked from the side in the emergency. The knight quickly raised his shield to block. Ginga quickly warned Subaru, watch out for his shield. However, Subaru ignored it. The black Ignis in his hand was wrapped in black smoke, cutting at such high speed toward the shield, slicing through both the shield and the hand at once. But the Black Knight, like a machine, instantly swung down with a long sword in his other hand. A wave of black energy enveloped Subaru. Ginga watched this scene in amazement. He can counterattack instantly after having his hand and shield cut off. This guy is too powerful. However, at that moment, a red light instantly dispersed the black energy. It turned out Subaru had blocked the attack with the Mystic Spear. Then in the blink of an eye, the two sides faced off in dozens of rounds of combat. Subaru praised him for this. You're really strong. Come on, let's fight cleanly. Hearing this, the Black Knight really stopped, and was instantly frozen by Ginga. At this point, Ginga slowly approached. Give me a hand, Subaru. Let's crush him together. Seeing this, the Black Knight desperately tried to break free. However, the two didn't give him a chance and directly activated their strongest skills, instantly tearing the Black Knight apart. Subaru asked, Now do you believe me, Ginga? He scratched his head. I can only trust your strength for now. At this point, level up notifications appeared. Subaru reached level 50, One and Ginga reached level 70. The next second, two trial gates descended simultaneously. So reaching level 70 really makes the trial gate appear. Looking at Subaru in front of him, how much do you know about the future, Subaru? He thought Ginga's gate came from one of the Silver King's subordinates who would probably relay information to the Silver King. So he said, I can't explain it to you right now. While they talked, intense battle sounds were heard from behind Subaru. The two turned toward the sound. A moment later, Vicarian and Saiaka returned and reported to Subaru that they had cleared this 5-star gate. At that moment, Saiaka looked ahead. Is this the gate that can save the world? As you said, Lord Subaru, can we really succeed in the 6-star gate with this silver metal hero? Ginga said to Subaru, I'll enter the gate for the trial, but if the skill I get isn't strong enough, powerful, I will not participate in the assault on the 6-star gate. Then the silver gate of the trial slowly closed. Now Subaru indicated that he should also undergo the trial at this moment. Saiaka began to look surprised and asked, Mr. Subaru, why have you suddenly gotten nervous? It turned out that a moment ago he had learned the contents of this trial from his future memories. Then he anxiously entered the trial gate. The scene changed, and Subaru arrived at the Sea of Radiance. Subaru, long time no see. A familiar voice sounded behind him. Looking toward the voice, seeing Saiaka was in front of him, Subaru couldn't recover for a long time. Hello, Subaru, I finally see you. Subaru's eyes were already full of tears. She had died after getting caught in her trial. She was the first person to accept it. Originally, he had so many things he wanted to say, but seeing Saiaka, again, he couldn't utter a single word. Subaru suddenly stopped. Are you alone here? That also means you will conduct my judgment this time. What you say is correct. So please attack me with intent to kill. I will use all my strength. This is also for our promise. Saiaka smiled. You still remember that promise? Then Saiaka gathered lightning around her ankles and moved at great speed. Subaru didn't expect Saiaka to be so fast, so he quickly drew the black Ignis just as she was about to strike Subaru. Surprisingly, Subaru had already used his skill, disappearing instantly from Sayaka's sight, then slowly stepped out from behind. Saiaka. The black Ignis's teleportation skill was very powerful, but the distance was quite short. Seeing this, Saiaka gathered lightning power in her hands. In the next moment, the lightning was launched, but this time Subaru didn't try to dodge it. The cursed blood skill gathered in his hand while defending, then attacked Saiaka. While Saiaka complained that her skill was too restrictive for her soul, Subaru had already used his teleportation skill to appear in front of her. The black Ignis launched a fierce slash while Saiaka quickly gathered lightning to defend herself. Neither showed signs of backing down. The entire space was affected by their battle. This time, both were using all their strength in the fight. Saiaka wanted to prove to Subaru that she had become stronger, and Subaru responded to Saiaka in kind. The next moment, Saiaka began to accumulate lightning power. Condensed lightning fists appeared slowly. Subaru looked at her surprise, remembering their promise to become stronger together. You really kept our promise. A huge collision sound echoed through the sky. Elsewhere, Bankashiki and Killings were talking. Bankashiki really hadn't expected that Killam trained Saiaka with such dedication. Originally, Killam hadn't planned to teach Saiaka, but after learning from Subaru's memories that his motivation to become stronger was his promise with Saiaka. Originally, he had some mischievous intentions, wanting Saiaka to defeat Subaru, but Killam could never have imagined that Subaru's growth rate would be so terrifying. In the future, they would become even more powerful. Shortly after, the two were lying on the ground. Subaru spoke slowly. In the future, can you accompany me? No matter how the disaster unfolds, I will remember our promise to never abandon each other. The scene changed. Ginga successfully passed the Silver Gates trial, obtaining a new item, Ice Wings, and the Ice 9 skill that Subaru had mentioned. Will this really be effective against the 6-star gate? I hope I made the right decision. The scene returned to Subaru. Just as Subaru passed the trial, Vanquish appeared silently at his side. It was also the first time Vanquish saw Subaru with such an expression. You look stronger than the last time I saw you. I have to thank you, Subaru. Thanks to your strength, my power is also starting to recover. But right now, the most important thing is for you to tell me everything you know about the future. I need to come up with solutions in advance after our conversation. Subaru soon left the test door. Looking at the scene before him, Subaru looked very surprised. The entire dungeon was completely covered in frost. Looking at the scene before him, it seems that Lord Ginga has succeeded. At that moment, Subaru felt a powerful icy force from behind. Ginga spoke slowly. This power is truly terrifying, just like you said. I'm going to keep my promise and go with you to this 6-star gate. Just then, a notification appeared. You have defeated the boss. Why did a notice suddenly appear? Seeing Subaru's surprised expression, Ginga explained the boss, wounded, used a disguise skill, making Carrion think it had been cleared. When I tried to use my skill, I accidentally killed this cunning boss. The scene changed. A large group of heroes gathered at the entrance of the 6-star gate. Shikishima, to ensure the success of this operation, reminded all the gold badge heroes who were carrying out missions outside, including Kira, known as the Lightning, and the Gravedigger Fuchigami. Shikishima was very worried about the current situation, still unable to contact Subaru. Then he informed everyone about the rules of the 6-star gate. If it's not conquered within a week, the world will be destroyed, but Akira didn't take it seriously, believing that so many gold badge heroes working together were making a mountain out of a molehill. It was this statement that angered Shikishima, who even said, as a gold badge hero, you're ignorant. The difficulty of the 6-star gate is beyond your imagination. It's not 10 times harder than a 5-star gate, but 100 times harder. If you come with that attitude, then don't participate in the 6-star gate battle. Hearing this, Akira fell silent, laughing awkwardly at that moment. Sakura told Shikishima not to be mad at Akira. If he hadn't brought the healer known as the Saint, my limbs wouldn't have recovered. Then she looked to the side. This girl named Mia was a gold badge heroine known as the Saint. It was then that Mia saw her, Vero, approaching, and felt a dangerous aura coming from him. Mia didn't understand how a teenage boy could emit such a powerful pressure that even she felt suffocated. At this point, everyone also noticed Subaru's arrival. Seeing this, Shikishima said angrily, Subaru, do you know how many calls I made to you? Fuchigami thought so he is Subaru, while Akira didn't know what good a level 50 or higher rainbow hero would be, but Shikishima didn't know what Subaru was thinking now. Subaru thought, if I don't let them participate in conquering the 6-star gate, Lord Shikishima will definitely get angry. But Lord Shikishima, I have something to tell you about this 6-star gate. I hope you'll allow me to complete it. Just hearing this, everyone was surprised. Subaru stated, if you try to conquer this gate, it's absolutely impossible to succeed. When Subaru said this, everyone present was shocked. Even Ginga was very surprised, wondering how he could speak like that to the gold badge heroes. Lord Shikishima, I know it's hard to accept, but I'm serious. At that moment, Akira slowly approached. You're suggesting you're stronger than us. The gold badge heroes. Subaru was about to explain, but Carrion suddenly burst out shouting that although he didn't want to admit it, this was the truth. Hearing this, Akira got angrier and angrier. As a gold badge hero, he had never been looked down on like this before. Carrion pushed Subaru, saying this was the fastest way to explain. Shikishima still wanted to stop Akira. Well, Subaru, he said he would quickly finish off the power of Akira's gold badge hero. He began to rise slowly, but couldn't react at all. Since Subaru's fist was already coming at him, this hit was astonishingly fast. Leaving no chance to resist, Akira's consciousness faded. No one nearby had expected a powerful gold metal hero to be defeated with a single blow. Sorry, maybe I hit too hard, but I can't let you die at the 6-star gate. The battle's ahead. Still need you to hold on. But the fact that Subaru had defeated Akira with one punch made all the heroes tense up. Everyone aimed their weapons at Subaru. Shikishima also gathered skills in his hands. Subaru, I need you to give me a reasonable explanation. Seeing Subaru treated this way, Saiaka instinctively prepared to act. But the Carrion said it wasn't time yet, and if they really hurt Subaru, he'd be the first to get up. Looking at the serious Shikishima, Subaru said, the heroes, can't use their second skill inside the city. The fact that you could bring a silver badge here means you already have a plan. I get it from your expression. Subaru, you have your own struggles. This was something Subaru hadn't expected the Lord Shikishima to understand just from his expression. At this point, Shikishima finally realized why he hadn't been answering his call, but why was he so worried? Subaru asked if it was because of them, the carrion. Feeling Shikishima's murderous gaze, he quickly clarified that this had nothing to do with them. The next instant, Shikishima's face showed a helpless expression. Subaru, there really isn't anything we can do to help you. We will challenge the 6-star gate 3 times in total. No, this is the only time you go alone. We will still fight together later. Then everyone received the order from Shikishima to lower their weapons. Subaru, I believe in you. Subaru, you've gotten stronger. We all believe in you. It was at that moment that Akira woke up. He didn't want to admit he had lost to Subaru and understood, even less why they were willing to trust him. This was a battle concerning the fate of humanity. Shikishima spoke slowly. This is because he once fought alongside us, risking his life, and has led us to victory multiple times. Come on, Subaru. I think you can lead us to victory this time too. Then Subaru pushed the gate, and at that moment, the 6-star gate slowly opened. Looking out Subaru's silhouette, Akira's face showed nothing but reluctance. Subaru turned around to look back. Sorry for hitting too hard. I'll apologize when I return. Although the 6-star gate had closed, the aura it emitted made it impossible for people to open their eyes. It was at that moment when Mia the Saint shouted, "You really accepted letting the 4 and the 6-star gate? You should know that a 6-star gate appeared in the country and 30 people entered without anyone returning. It truly is a hell. The 6-star gate, it's divided into 3 areas. The first being the Fire Garden area. The second is the Cemetery of Kings, heroes of the past. The last is the spectator stand for the king. The boss of the first area is called the Hero Devourer. Blazing Lambda, located in the central area of the Fire Palace. The flame temperature had already reached 700 degrees. Subaru must pass through these flame domains to face the boss. Subaru knew the contents of the 6-star trial gate through the memory of his bracelet. Midnight Sun's glow, and also recalled his future memories. In future memories, Shikishima and other gold badge heroes entered the 6-star Butcher's Gate together. However, the first level of the Gate of the Butcher was the extreme Fire Garden area, with temperatures reaching 700 degrees. Even as heroes with the gold insignia, everyone found it hard to breathe in such an environment. Even Shikishima couldn't last 3 minutes. At that moment he shouted, "Subaru, what should we do?" Subaru didn't expect to use his power so quickly. A flow of blood energy appeared from Subaru's hand, then a barrier built from blood energy protected everyone at that moment. Everyone finally had the chance to breathe. My ability can reduce the heat effect on everyone, but even I can only maintain it for 1 hour. And that's based on the condition that Subaru doesn't participate in any battle. Everyone fell into despair. Just the environment of the 6-star gate had already trapped everyone in a tight spot without even seeing the boss. It was then that Subaru felt a different pressure. Even his blood barrier was evaporating faster. Shikishima involuntarily felt fear growing in his heart. Even Akira, as a hero, with a gold insignia, couldn't stop his hands and feet from trembling. Subaru's voice brought everyone back to reality, just to see a concentrated fire energy rising from the central palace of the Fire Garden. In the next moment, the boss of the first area was in front of everyone. His expression looked very calm, looking at Shikishima and the others as if they were ants. Shikishima really couldn't believe it. This was the boss of the 6-star gate, doing nothing, just standing there. The surrounding environment naturally formed a burning hell. As commander, Shikishima had to make the most correct assessment of the current situation. Then he summoned his most powerful ability. A blue flower, like one that would never wither, was launched toward the boss. At the same time, Shikishima also announced the order to retreat for everyone. This attack had failed. Everyone faced this decision with disbelief. The chance to challenge the 6-star gate was only 3 times in total, and the first time they only looked at the boss. Now our offensive and defensive capabilities are very insufficient. We must retreat. Shikishima was also very reluctant, but now besides hiding behind Subaru's shield, there was nothing else they could do. Sir Shikishima, I have always trusted your decisions. I will hold the shield until everyone retreats. Then Shikishima shouted for everyone to execute the retreat order immediately. While everyone retreated one by one, they thanked Subaru for his contribution. But in the next moment, a straggler was instantly devoured by the flames. Subaru couldn't believe it. The speed was so fast he couldn't react. He only saw a huge hand extending. Ants are trying to escape from right under my nose. Everyone's anger reached its peak. They couldn't bear to see their comrade die before their eyes. Shikishima shouted, "Retreat!" But 2 people still wanted to avenge their fallen comrade, although they never imagined that as humanity's ultimate combat power, The heroes with gold insignia couldn't withstand even one attack from the boss, and the boss also mocked them. A group of ants actually has such courage. In the next moment, William invoked a skill, wanting to rely on his defensive power to trap the boss. But the boss's face was full of mockery. The skill's effect on him was like tickling, completely ineffective. Nearby, Sakura also offered her most powerful chain skill. No matter how much Shikishima shouted, no one showed signs of stopping. Shikishima grew increasingly angry. "None of you can understand what I'm saying," I said. "Retreat." Everyone couldn't accept it, a comrade dying before their eyes. Just as the two hesitated, Akira had already thrown them out of the 6-star gate. "Future battles still need you, Subaru. I have witnessed your great strength. You are also an indispensable force for the future." In the next moment, Subaru was also thrown toward the gate. "Covering the rear is something only I can do," Akira said. "Also remain forever at the 6-star gate." The 6-star gate closed completely. This attack resulted in the death of 4 players and a serious injury. And time returned to the present. This time, Subaru would not repeat the steps of the future. "I will pass through the 6-star gate without any sacrifice, watching the scene identical to his memories. This time, I will definitely pass the 6-star gate." The 6-star gate had been untouched for hundreds of years. The only joy in the monotonous life of the Fire Lord was to fight the 2nd-level Lord. Just as the battle was heating up, he felt someone had interfered at the gate. "They can survive in my domain for more than 10 seconds. Looks like today brings new fun," he said, saying goodbye to the Radiant Dragon Carcinus. Upon seeing this, the Radiant Dragon pouted. "He's really a battle maniac if you like fighting so much. Why don't you go to the depths of the palace to find someone else to fight?" As soon as the words were spoken, the Fire Lord shot out like an arrow and said fighting him was like seeking death. Meanwhile, Subaru and his group were covered with layers of blood armor. This was a skill Subaru improved based on future memories that could prevent the fire aura, but there was only 10 minutes of time. This means we must finish the battle in 10 minutes. "Lord Ginga, please, wait for my signal before releasing your skill." Soon a powerful pressure descended again. The Fire Lord appeared in front of everyone. This pressure made it hard to breathe. "So this is a 6-star boss, even though I had already heard about this before. The pressure, seeing it in person, is suffocating." Seeing this, Carcinus also laughed awkwardly. "So it's him. This borrowed body is no match at all." The Fire Lord was eager to fight suddenly. Carcinus pleaded, "Sir, please don't attack yet." Subaru also changed expression, crying out loud that he shouldn't attack. "I bring news, extremely important about your 2 brothers. Although I look human, we all come from the underworld." He had never mentioned his brothers to others, wanted to know more. It turned out Tempest and Thunder were his brothers who disappeared in the last war. He had always thought his brothers died in that battle. In the next moment, the Fire Lord came straight at Subaru. Carcinus was sweating profusely, knowing that in the last battle, he was the one who killed the Fire Lord. Carcinus spoke. "The power in your body is too strong. We are all about to be roasted near." Subaru also cooperated, saying he was about to evaporate. At the next moment, the Fire Lord dispersed his flame domain, urgently asking about the news of his brothers. "This person knows the whereabouts of your brothers, and although he doesn't have much combat power, he can allow others to see his memories. Just with his touch, you can learn information about your brothers." The Fire Lord was clearly confused by the scavenger's claim. Although his power was strong enough to allow a stranger to use a skill on him, it was clearly beyond his range of acceptance. In the next moment, Ginga put his hand in front of the Lord and said he would know about his brothers after contact. The Fire Lord didn't know that Ginga was now very nervous inside, because in his hand was his new level 70 skill. The gate owner was informed him about the effect of this skill. This was a skill classified as forbidden. It turned out that thousands of years ago, a war broke out in the power of that man had reached a level beyond life and death. Even the 6 lords under his command were invincible under his leadership. The small countries united like never before. So the Silver King of the previous generation spent his whole life creating this ultimate skill. But the skill also had a big drawback. It would consume all the caster's magical power. Once the launcher was in a vulnerable state and in close contact with the target, it was equivalent to suicide, and using this ability outside the gate was not allowed. Using it would result in immediate death. Facing the monster in front of him, he had no choice, just as Ginga was about to touch him. "I don't need you to tell me what my brother said to you. Why you have to use an ability?" When asked by Mr. Ginga, he didn't know what to say. Fortunately, the nearby scavenger said there's also a map. "We think seeing directly is clearer than talking." Suddenly, the Fire Lord pointed at the scavenger. "You look a lot like the person who killed me before. I remember clearly. They were once as weak as you, but over time their power grew stronger and stronger since. Then I never ignore the weak. And your appearance reminds me of one of the 6 lords." The scavenger knew he couldn't fool him anymore and transmitted to Ginga. "We only have one chance to delay him. You have to take it." Seeing this, Subaru also understood, taking the Black Ignis and advancing silently. Subaru used the Black Ignis ability and the next moment suddenly appeared behind the Fire Lord. The Fire Lord was surprised, sensing trouble. Then his finger launched power toward the scavenger while a fist headed for Subaru. Subaru's expression didn't change at all, because no matter what happened, his attack would definitely be a step faster. The Fire Lord was even more surprised that the scavenger, who should have been dead, was gathering power to attack him in milliseconds. Their attacks hit the Fire Lord's body full on. Subaru used his most powerful Cursed Blood while the scavenger used his most powerful Deadly Fist ability. The Fire Lord was furious, not because he had been fooled. He would never forget the scavenger's ability, "I will unleash endless fire to burn them all." But the next moment, an ominous feeling arose. The firepower, originally overwhelmingly strong, was gradually dismantled. It could no longer unite. The Silver Badge hero, whose power had seemed insignificant and weak in his eyes, now radiated an extremely icy coldness from his hands. The Lord was stunned. He would be defeated by these few ants. It turned out Jinga had cast the Ice 9 ability on the Fire Lord's body, sensing danger. The Fire Lord didn't choose to dodge because he simply despised those before him. A mere Silver Badge, an existence that could be eliminated with a casual wave of the hand, possessed ice immunity abilities. No freezing effect would work on him. But the next moment, his firepower began to dissipate completely. An unbelievable sight. It was at this moment that Jinga spoke. "We already knew about your ice immunity ability, but my ability isn't freezing." The Fire Lord didn't clearly understand. He was completely immune to ice elements. Why could he still be frozen when Jinga had first obtained the ability? He was also very surprised because the ability's characteristic wasn't freezing, but petrification. Like the Medusa's eye, just by looking at the target, it could turn them to stone. And the Ice 9 ability was touching the opponent, turning them completely to ice. "I will lose to the ants again," said Jinga. "Give up. The ability will follow you until your body is completely turned to ice, and you should know, this ability was created by the first Silver King." When the Fire Lord was turned to ice, Jinga finally breathed a sigh of relief. But Jinga hadn't expected that the Fire Lord had already left a seed of fire in his body. The next moment, the Fire Lord revived instantly and exploded with powerful fire force. Who would have thought the Fire Lord's power had reached such a level? Although Saiaka took Jinga away, Jinga still had a shattered arm. This was clearly something Subaru. He hadn't anticipated that now the Lord of Fire just wanted to kill them all. Then he rushed forward with great firepower, but suddenly, the Lord of Fire's body froze again. All of this happened too fast. He stumbled and fell. Jinga's face showed a satisfied expression. "You should know that Ice 09 was created by the lifelong work of the Silver King. As long as you're not dead, it will keep chasing you." The next moment, Jinga fell asleep, but his wounds were getting worse. Saiaka screamed for Subaru, and Subaru understood, already running toward the Lord of Fire. He had to kill the Lord of Fire before Jinga died. In the surprise attack from Carrion, the Lord of Fire summoned a huge fire dragon to attack Carrion. But on the other hand, Subaru took this chance to advance because Subaru knew that now the Lord of Fire's power was already depleted. The Lord of Fire could only dodge, while Subaru used teleportation skills to tear apart the Lord of Fire's body. The resurrected Lord of Fire was very angry. Each resurrection consumed his fire source. Once exhausted, he couldn't resurrect at all. But now, facing the joint attack of Subaru and Carrion, the Lord of Fire had no power to counterattack. When the Lord of Fire's last source was exhausted, he finally turned into ice, and Subaru said, "I know where your brother is. Go to the Sea of Shine. There, you can find your brothers." The Lord of Fire's face was stunned. He didn't know whether to trust this human again. The next moment, a notification was heard. The boss has been defeated. This Carrion reminded Subaru not to forget that the Lord of Weather still had a passive resurrection skill. But Subaru told Carrion not to worry. He couldn't revive anymore because Ice 9's skill had suppressed the Lord of Weather's passive skill. Meanwhile, Ginga's level increased and the wounds on his body healed completely. As Subaru and others defeated the Lord of Fire, the Radiant Dragon King already knew everything that had happened, and had already filled the central area with waves of light waiting for Franning. The Dragon King's skill was to shoot huge waves of luminous energy. Without limitation, the Dragon King wouldn't be careless like the Lord of Fire, because he never ignored the weak, and Subaru understood that now was not the time to conquer. The Dragon King. The Dragon King eagerly awaited Subaru's next visit. Since he hadn't fought humans in 100 years outside the Six Stars Gate, everyone could only sit at the gate waiting for Subaru. Shikishima, facing the scene, couldn't complain and said, "Only a few minutes have passed. Now we're just starting to wait. And we don't know how long it will take. It's better if you take it easy. Go rest first." But as soon as Shikishima finished speaking, Subaru's voice came from behind. Seeing this, Akira said, "Only 5 minutes and 17 seconds have passed. You guys escaped very fast." Because the time was so short, Akira didn't believe they had successfully conquered. He only thought they were deserters. He scolded Subaru, because due to his arrogance, they had lost an exploration opportunity. Hearing this, Subaru's face showed no displeasure. He even held Akira's hand and cried, "Mr. Akira, it's so good that you're alive." The scavenger interrupted Subaru. "Don't say these things to people without future memories," and the scavenger declared that the first-level lord had been killed. Akira's face was full of disbelief. Everyone behind also had blank faces, knowing that the difficulty of the 6 stars gate was 100 times that of the 5 stars. "You're a liar. The difficulty is so high. How could you finish in just over 5 minutes?" Just when Akira was angry, a notification was heard. The boss of the 6 stars gate has been defeated. 2 more. At this point, everyone behind showed disbelief. As a healer, the heroine of the country's gold badge, and Mia asked curiously, "Who are you? I've never seen you before." Carrion said, "We are subordinates of the future, King, a hero." Close by, he said, "Since you can finish the battle of the first level in 5 minutes, that means you can replicate such tactics for the second and third levels." But Ginga denied his idea. Since the Radiant Dragon King was surrounded by numerous waves of light, he couldn't be touched, and the Radiant Dragon already knew how they killed the Fire Master. He wouldn't allow anyone to touch him, but Subaru's thoughts weren't on the second-level boss, because he knew the third level was the toughest problem. Seeing Subaru's worried face, Shikishima couldn't help but ask if there was any chance of winning. Subaru said he had to visit the prison once. There was a chance, but it was very small. Hearing this, Shikishima said, "From now on, command of all the heroes is granted to you. Subaru, you must lead everyone to survive." Obviously, everyone was very surprised by Shikishima's decision. Shikishima was definitely not a reckless person. Subaru wasn't surprised by Shikishima's decision, because in the future, Shikishima had handed him command the same way. Later, Subaru arrived at the prison and took the man in black who used to belong to the underworld, a man named Kyoryu. Because his wife and son were mistakenly killed by a hero, Kyoryu no longer had hope in the world. Kyoryu's heart had already died, and he weakly asked Subaru where he was taking him. Subaru didn't answer his question directly. Instead, he asked, "Do you want revenge?" Kyoryu was surprised by Subaru's question. Looking at Subaru's sincere expression, after a while, Kyoryu began to speak slowly. The hero who accidentally killed his wife couldn't control his power well. It went out of control, and they weren't even adults yet. He had thought about revenge but gave it up. Even if he managed to get revenge, his wife and son wouldn't come back. The nearby Ginga remained silent upon hearing this. Ginga couldn't understand how Subaru would convince a man who didn't even have the motivation for revenge. Shortly after, Subaru took Kyoryu to a soccer field. Seeing this, Kiryu's eyes showed a hint of hesitation. This was his son's old soccer team. He remembered past moments with his son. His son's smile seemed like it was from yesterday. Even his wife looked at him tenderly. This was a place full of family memories. Being Kiryu, he felt deeply sad and asked painfully why Subaru had brought him to such a place. This would only increase his inner pain. "Why did you do this, Subaru?" At that moment, Kiryu stood still, like a soulless human with tears flowing uncontrollably. Just then, children gathered around Kiryu. A child shouted, "Seichi's dad." The man instinctively looked forward because Seichi was his son's name. It turns out the captain of the soccer team hadn't abandoned Seichi but kept him in his heart and promised Kiryu, "I'll take Seichi with us to next month's soccer match. Seichi will always be a member of our soccer team." Hearing this, Kiryu could no longer hold back. "They're all good kids. Uncle will definitely come cheer for you at next month's soccer match." At that moment, Kiryu's heart began to soften, finding the desire to protect this world. Ginga asked Subaru, "Was all this part of your plan?" Subaru explained that not everything was his plan. It turned out Subaru had met Kiryu in his future memories during the beginning of the 6th disaster. At that moment, Kiryu was holding a pair of soccer shoes. In response to Subaru's question, Kiryu said that all the kids on the soccer team had died because of the disaster's arrival. He never expected that the soccer team's locker room would always have a picture of his son. "These kids always considered my son as a member of their team and died in front of me, and I couldn't protect them. If I had another chance, I would want to protect these kids." Subaru looked at Kiryu. "I won't let you have any more regrets. Let's fight together. Let's defeat the 6-star gate." Gate really qualified to participate in the battle against the 6-star gate, and Subaru murmured, "Please help us in any way you can." At this point, Subaru had gathered all the conditions to defeat the 6-star gate. At this moment, Shikishima looked at the 6-star gate and murmured, 6 days have already passed. Today will be the last day to defeat it." After 6 days of interaction with Subaru, Kiryu clearly understood that Subaru was not an ordinary person. His strength was beyond the reach of ordinary people. He had witnessed how Subaru defeated dozens of bosses from the 5-star gate. Only with his strength could the heroes recover instantly from normal injuries when leveling up, but the fatigue caused by physical and mental effort could not recover as battle time increased. Physical fatigue and the hero's reaction speed would decrease considerably, Eventually, they would be defeated by the boss, but Subaru was different. He was a monster, whose mental strength required no rest at all. I can't believe even more that a hero went from level 55 to 89 in just 6 days. Maybe it's because Subaru's mental strength is as strong as a monster's that all the kings of the underworld want to be his contractors at this moment. Subaru killed the last boss of the 5-star gate. His level also reached 91. The Rainbow Gate awaited Subaru. Subaru entered the gate without any doubt. But what Subaru never expected was that this trial would require him to kill Vanquish, who had always accompanied him. At this moment, outside the gate, a hero could defeat the 5-star gate. Releasing a demon from the underworld, everyone watched the scene before them in amazement. Somehow, a hero was already standing in front of the demon and radiating light like a deity. It was Subaru who had returned from the trial gate. Then, with a light shout, a mystic piercer with a single strike, the boss was instantly killed. No one could believe it, killing a 5-star boss with a single blow. Was this really Subaru? Now Subaru had become the savior in everyone's eyes. The Subaru who returned emanated an invisible authority, even. Shikishima couldn't help but sigh that Subaru really had become the savior. At this point, Subaru also gave the final order, before the attack, that we all come back alive. This would be the battle. Final with the 6-star gate. Subaru led everyone through the gate, but in the next moment, the Radiant Dragon King attacked Subaru and his group at an extremely fast speed, surrounded by terrifying waves of light, feeling the threat. Subaru did not show panic, as if all this was within his calculations. The next would be the true beginning of the 6-star gate battle. But in the next moment, the Radiant Dragon King's body tensed, screaming in fear, "Why are you here?" Only a knight emanating a dark aura was seen standing in front of the Dragon King. Then, slowly raising his long sword, in an instant, countless sword auras surrounded the light dragon. Only the Dragon King's lament was heard, resounding throughout the dungeon, shouting incredulously, "Why did you come to my domain?" The Dragon King always knew they were not on the same level as the knight, but until death, he could not understand why the knight appeared here. Until the light dragon died, he did not get the answer he wanted. The Night King didn't even look at the Dragon King. Each step carried a wild aura. Walking slowly towards Subaru, the Night King and Luke. Walking slowly towards Subaru, the King of the Night, and Luke, known as the Demon Beast Slayer in the underworld. With just one strike, the entire 6-star gate terrain underwent a tremendous change. Subaru wasn't surprised by what happened before him, because all this was within his calculations. It turned out Kiryu, following the instructions of use the Crest of Interruption skill. This ability could block any form of barrier. The sushi was already prepared, wrapping around Subaru and everyone at an extremely fast speed, running toward Eluk. Seeing this, Eluk didn't hesitate, reaching for his sword behind him, but suddenly, Eluk's expression hardened as he felt several powerful auras. Shikishima's new level 90 skill, Angel's Wings, was forming. Akira's Holy Angel's sword was also charging. Sakura also had golden chains gathered in front of her, and with Shikishima's slight shout, everyone's power surrounded Shikishima, fiercely tearing toward Eluk. An energy like a burning sun appeared above Eluk's head. Seeing the energy in front of him, Eluk's heart finally stirred. This blow hit Eluk full force, resonating throughout the area. It was from this strike that Eluk remembered his old self being defeated by the combined efforts of the Golden Legion. Eluk drew his sword. A terrifying aura appeared around him. Once again, with a simple strike, he repelled everyone's attacks. The ground thundered loudly again. The force made it impossible for everyone to stay standing. The entire floor of the 6 Stars Gate was completely shattered. There was only shock on everyone's faces. Is this something we can fight against? Is this a joke? Shikishima's face showed despair for the first time. Suddenly, Shikishima shouted, "He's heading toward us." No one could have thought that in less than a second, he had defended against all the attacks and even launched an extremely fast counterattack. Udo did not hesitate at all to summon the Golden Wall skill. Kiryu deeply understood that facing such reinforcement, they could not hold back. In the next moment, hundreds of defensive traps appeared behind the Golden Wall. Countless sword auras with the sound of cutting wind came crashing down. The Golden Wall also began to slowly collapse. Nearby, Subaru was also very alarmed. This was faster than in his memory. In less than a second, countless sword auras had already wrapped around Shikishima. The death threat covered Shikishima. The sword aura suddenly began to explode. An intense battle had broken out just 10 seconds after entering the gate. In Illich's eyes, Shikishima was certainly doomed. When the dust slowly settled, Shikishima was very grateful to have withstood the attack, but looking carefully, it was Kiryu, who had summoned hundreds of defenses to protect Shikishima. With only 3 defenses barely holding at the end, Sakura also didn't know what to do. This was a completely overwhelming power. Everyone fell into despair in those few seconds. "This is not on the same level," Shikishima said. "This was never a battle we could intervene in. If we win in the end, it depends on Subaru." sword auras had already wrapped around Shikishima. The death threat covered Shikishima. The sword aura suddenly began to explode. An intense battle had broken out just 10 seconds after entering the gate. In Iluk's eyes, Shikishima was certainly doomed. When the dust slowly cleared, Shikishima was very grateful to have withstood the attack, but looking carefully, it was Kiryu, who had summoned hundreds of defenses to protect Shikishima, with only 3 defenses barely holding on. In the end, Sakura didn't know what to do either. This was a completely overwhelming power. Everyone fell into despair in these few seconds. This wasn't on the same level, Shikishima said. This was never a battle we could intervene in. If in the end we win, it depends on Subaru. Thanks to my skill, I've already seen that Subaru has reached the boss. Now it's up to them. Shikishima's face also showed a sad expression. He hadn't expected that in the end he still couldn't help Subaru. Looking at Kiryu, saying slowly, we don't even qualify to stand beside Subaru to face the boss. And on the other side, Subaru's squad was staring at the boss in front of them. Once we get close to the Night King, we can restrict his sword, aura. Next, we'll fight with everyone's hopes. Carrion and Saiaka said in unison. This time, it will be a fight to the death in the next moment. Carrion said softly, I leave the rest to you. Carrion and Sayaka's bodies exploded with blood-colored Thunder Lord power. In the next moment, Renji's eyes filled with violent aura. Renji returned just like the real Saiaka. Sayaka's eyes showed the power of the Thunder Lord itself. Nearby, Jinga and Fushigami opened their eyes wide because Saiaka and Carrion's aura had completely changed. Facing the Night King's attack, Renji summoned the golden sword in his hand. Waves of heat continuously spread around. The Night King wondered if he was experiencing an illusion. This attack was too familiar. But in the next moment, the aura around Renji changed again. I'm glad to see you, my servant. Seeing this, Iluk began to tremble. The aura of his body started to uncontrollably accumulate. The killing intent in his eyes grew sharper and sharper. It turned out Iluk was once Ludwig's servant and also Ludwig's brother. To gain stronger power, he turned to darkness, killing his only master. In the end, Ludwig gathered countless knights to subdue Iluk. At this moment, Saiaka, who was nearby, quickly gathered the Thunder Lord in her hand. Several feet of the Thunder Lord instantly struck Iluk's body in the ground. An instant wave of heat was witnessed. Renji, he did not relax at all, because those attacks could not harm Iluk. Saiaka understood this attack wouldn't defeat him, but what she never expected was that this attack wouldn't cause even a little damage, which Saiaka couldn't understand. Iluk slowly raised his long sword. It is known that he possesses a resistance ability. All ranged attacks would be weakened by 95%. Saiaka was very clear. Renji was using the golden sword. Having Renji as the main attacker was the best option. Hearing this, Renji completely reassured Saiaka. Now he was stronger than before. His level had risen to 97. At the same time, Subaru shouted to Ginga and Fushigami. The situation has already slipped out of memory's control. Subaru's future. Let's attack together. At that moment, Saiaka was already waiting to attack. Renji had already entered battle with the boss. Iluk's sword aura seemed to split space, while Renji defended with golden sword aura at an extremely fast speed. Both techniques were taught by the same master, and Ludwig knew Iluk's techniques very well. Ludwig knew if he fought alone, he couldn't win against Iluk, but now he wasn't fighting alone. Renji and Ludwig were sharing the same body, and now there were also excellent comrades fighting together. Saiaka and Jinga were always nearby, ready to strike at any opportunity. Renji had to defeat Iluk to fulfill Ludwig's wish. This was the price for Ludwig's training. Renji still remembered Ludwig's expression, seeing Ludwig angry and sad for the first time 6 days ago. Subaru participated in the Rainbow Gate trial and at the same time told everyone about the future of the 6-star gate. In the Aurora King's memory, the 6-star gate was not successfully defeated, because in the memory we suffered many casualties in the first stage of the Flame Lord. Finally, we put all our effort into killing the Light Dragon King in the second stage, but due to the waiting time, Iluk was released from the 6-star gate. That night, countless sword auras swept through the city. The world entered the destructive Red Moon. In the memory, everyone was entrusting their future to Subaru. Everyone died in this disaster. Leaving me alone upon hearing this news, Renji silently walked away like the anti-hero, stronger. Humanity's hope would not allow the world to be destroyed like this, so I need to find Ludwig for training suddenly. Renji was surprised. Vanquish had already brought Ludwig and was slowly walking toward Renji. Ludwig had learned from Subaru that the leader of the 6-star gate was actually Iluk. Then he slowly told Shikishima, I can train you. Even if it goes against my country, I will train you, but you must promise me, no matter what method you use. You must kill Iluk with me. Renji saw Ludwig's expression for the first time and said he swore on his life to kill Iluk. This was the reason why Ludwig and Renji descended together to the 6-star gate, but their power was still not enough to kill Iluk. I need the support of comrades to compensate for my weaknesses. Fuchigami understood he needed to cover Renji, observing Iluk's moment of relaxation. He gave a strong kick that sent him flying, and Renji took this opportunity to fiercely slash. Iluk, the fallen Iluk, instantly got up, but what Iluk never expected was that Jinga had already formed an ice cage nearby. In just an instant, countless ice crystals froze. Iluk. At this very moment, the ice began to collapse in less than a second. Renji took advantage of this brief interval and fiercely attacked Iluk. This attack gathered all of Renji's power, so fast that space itself trembled, but Iluk was too powerful, breaking the ice instantly and blocking Shikishima's full power attack. At the same time, the aura over Iluk gathered again. A shapeless sword aura was about to take form at this moment. Subaru took the opportunity to use the death fist, hitting Iluk. Iluk flew backward again, but in an instant, Iluk launched a counterattack towards Subaru. Just as Iluk was about to hit Subaru, Subaru softly shouted. His whole body disappeared, instantly appearing above Iluk's head the next moment. Just as Iluk was preparing to attack with his sword aura, Renji very quietly had already arrived behind Iluk, coming with a sharp sword aura. Feeling the danger approaching, Iluk wanted to defend himself, but Renji's speed was so amazing he couldn't block it. This attack hit Iluk full on. At the same time, Renji launched a kick toward Iluk. This kick seemed normal, but it was Renji's level 90 ultimate skill, Kirin. Strike, a technique that instantly transforms sword aura into physical arts, making the body as sharp as a blade. Iluk spat out a large amount of blood for the first time, then was sent flying by Renji nearby. Jinga was stunned. Is this the strongest battle of the #1 ranked hero? Looking at Iluk lying on the ground, apparently without any trace of aura, he murmured in disbelief, "We won." Saiaka's voice suddenly sounded. If only it could be that simple. He will wake up soon, and I also must join the battle. After training for so long, I should also show Subaru my strength. Having the ability to fight by his side, several small Thunder Lords appeared next to Saiaka. This was the supreme skill of the Thunder Lord, the 8-colored Thunder Lord. Right at this moment, a golden light surrounded the originally fallen Iluk. The aura in his body was even stronger than before. It turned out that at the Rainbow Gate, Ludwig told everyone that Iluk's armor was armor granted by God. It was said that the armor granted by God was created by the ancient god of the underworld. Just by using it, it would continuously provide life, so we need to use explosive attacks to definitely destroy the armor. We cannot. It was said that the armor granted by God was created by the ancient god of the underworld. Just wearing it would continuously provide life, so we need to use attacks. Explosive to definitely destroy the armor. We absolutely cannot get involved in a war of attrition with him if we can't destroy his armor. Then this battle will certainly end in failure. If the armor is destroyed, then Renji needs to use the Imperial Glory skill combined with the Kirin Strike. At this moment, Saiaka indicated that she understood. We just need to launch explosive attacks to destroy the armor, right? Saiaka confidently declared that she would take care of it since she was good at explosive attacks. I believe you. After all, you are the disciple of the Thunder Lord. In terms of speed, I don't think anyone can surpass you. At that moment, Iluk's heart trembled, feeling a chill throughout his body at the moment when the Thunder Lord's skill appeared. Iluk felt very anxious. At that moment, Renji looked at Saiaka in front of him with a surprised face, only to see Sayaka's body surrounded by the Thunder Lord, every inch of her skin filled with a violent aura. Saiaka only had 10 seconds in Thunder Lord mode. The speed would increase by 1000% for 10 seconds. All the power would be concentrated within these 10 seconds, and the Thunder Lord mode could not be cancelled. In just an instant, Saiaka disappeared from her place. In the next moment, she appeared in front of Iluk. Like a ghost, a strike covered with thousands of lightning bolts. In an instant, she hit Iluk, then moved again to the left side, exploding with the purple Thunder Lord, continuing the attack. Just as Iluk wanted to counterattack, Saiaka was at his side in the next moment. For a while, all Iluk could do was defend passively. The power of the Thunder Lord all over Sayaka's body could no longer be controlled. The entire ground was shattered by the wild power. Iluk received dozens of attacks in just 1 second. Saiaka was very clear that she had to take advantage of these brief 10 seconds, and Iluk was extremely angry that he was being played like this. And nearby, Fuchigami couldn't believe what he saw with his own eyes. Subaru, who exactly is she really? Capable of facing a 6-star boss head-on. Subaru looked ahead, slowly opening her mouth. She is Saiaka Amamilla, my first comrade in arms. At the same time, in the shining sea space, the Thunder Lord was watching Sayaka's battle. The Storm Lord Delta laughed, saying, "Killing hasn't made me this happy in a long time." The Thunder Lord was very pleased watching the fighter, Saiaka, laughing that Sayaka's growth rate was truly terrifying. But Sayaka's opponent was after all Iluk, so victory would still be very difficult. At this moment, Saiaka deeply experienced that without the Thunder Lord's descent skill, she would have died many times. But this boss must be defeated by her and Renji together because Vanquish said that Subaru's ultimate skill needed to be saved for the next disaster. So, in this disaster, Subaru couldn't prematurely expose her ultimate skill. Nearby, Renji watched Saiaka, who was in a fierce battle. He could only choose to believe in her then, began charging his skill. At that moment, Saiaka knew she didn't have much time left. Then the power of the 8-colored Thunder Lord gathered around Saiaka. In just a moment, the wild power of the Thunder Lord coiled around Saiaka like a great dragon. Saiaka attacked Iluk at an extremely fast speed. Iluk charged his sword aura, doing his best to resist, but the power of the Thunder Lord had already become uncontrollably fierce. The sword aura barely touched the Thunder Lord before dispersing. The power of the Thunder Lord fell upon Iluk like a giant dragon. The armor, originally as solid as a rock, showed cracks. When the last trace of the Thunder Lord's power struck the armor, it suddenly broke. At the same time, Sayaka's power had reached its limit, and she could no longer keep fighting. Iluk never dreamed that the armor granted by God would break. Seeing this, Saiaka shouted, Renji, the rest is up to you, Lord Renji." At that moment, Renji had already gathered all his power. In the next moment, an extremely strong sword aura completely enveloped Iluk Renji. He did not hesitate at all, gathering all his power into his sword and advancing at an extremely fast speed. Seeing this, everyone's expressions became very tense. They might actually win this time. Even the Lord of Thunder showed a satisfied smile, but nearby Tempest felt a hint of an ominous sensation. Ludwig's face showed fear, because until now, Iluk had not revealed his strongest ability effectively. Ludwig's worries came true. Iluk's expression radiated divine light. In the next moment, blood-colored energy currents began to gather, covered with black lightning. The energy appeared like a flood, filling the entire space with a violent aura. "Ludwig, did you forget we have the same master?" Iluk activated the Imperial Glory ability, instantly healing his wounds. "You know why I'm not in a hurry to kill you. Because I want to consume your power, take over your body, so I can return to the underworld. I never thought Ludwig would choose you as his successor. I also want to thank my foolish sister for sending you to me at that moment." Ludwig suddenly realized, his face showing deep concern. Ludwig had not expected Iluk to have already learned the acquisition ability. Now Iluk murmured calmly, "You know how, as a relative, one can go to the underworld. The first point is to be killed by me, a demon, of course. Taking over their bodies to return to the underworld is not the best solution, because taking over their bodies will greatly reduce my power, but given the current situation, this is the only method that allows me to return to the underworld." Renji couldn't bear to see his comrades being killed before his eyes, and rushed forward at an extremely fast speed, but at this very moment, Renji felt an extremely dangerous aura, feeling intense pain in his body. He had no chance to react before being knocked down. Iluk wouldn't give Renji even a little chance, sending him flying again fiercely. He wanted to use this blow to kill Renji completely. A substantial killing intent covered Iluk. A suffocating aura rose. Gradually, a dark red cloak suddenly appeared, increasing the attack by 100%. But the defense would be greatly reduced at that moment. Renji and Saiaka had already reached their limits, but Iluk's aura became increasingly terrifying. A substantial killing intent gathered on the blade of his sword. Nearby, Jinga couldn't help but shudder. "Subaru, you've already reached your limits. Such attacks are no longer something you can endure." Subaru had never thought it would be much stronger than he imagined. At that moment, Iluk slowly opened his mouth. "I want to thank you humans. It's you who gave me the chance to return to the underworld. I will make good use of your bodies. I will tear my sister to pieces." Renji and Saiaka couldn't fully understand it. It was really a power they could resist. Subaru seemed to have made some kind of determination. In the next moment, Saiaka and Renji appeared in Subaru's soul space. "Leave the rest to me. I will defeat him." Hearing this, Saiaka and Renji seemed very anxious. "Subaru, are you serious? If you use your secret card, then facing the Silver King in the next disaster will be very difficult. I don't know what the future will be like. At least now, I won't let you die in front of me." The two fell into a brief silence. I charged at Subaru again. Still, I can't be his strength. Suddenly, Saiaka seemed to think of something. She stopped Subaru, who was about to leave. "Besides the trump card, we have one more thing we can use." At that moment, Iluk's power had reached its peak, fiercely striking the two, but suddenly, the sword aura seemed to be trapped by a strong restraining force. Iluk couldn't believe it. This was his strongest blow. Sayaka's face. She showed joy just as she thought. At this moment, Iluk finally realized somehow a man had already appeared above. "Renji, long time no see." The interruption skill shield moved the original spatial barrier to where Iluk was swinging his sword. For just a second, he trapped the power. "Although I really don't want to do this. This time I have to seal you back to your original space first." And Iluk looked angrily, tensely moving the barrier that originally restrained me. "In front of me, Subaru, you have to hurry." In this short time, half of my magical power has been consumed. Subaru arrived without hesitation beside Shikishima. Mr. Shikishima, Mr. Akira, please help me. Please become my allies. This way I can unlock a new skill. This skill will definitely lead us to victory, but Subaru wasn't sure if Akira would agree with this approach, because Akira didn't want to become Subaru's relative since their first meeting until now. Akira and Subaru didn't have a deep friendship, but Akira didn't care as long as he could save Mr. Renji. He was willing to do anything. The old man, Akira, was tormented by illness, living in pain every day. The happiest part of each day was seeing Mr. Renji on TV. In Akira's heart, Renji was his savior. Renji visited the hospital every day, encouraging him to live strongly. Thanks to Mr. Renji's encouragement, I managed to get the Golden Bridge recognition and finally became a hero. Scene changes to the other side. Iluk looked ahead surprised, using his skills numerous times to investigate, finally learning that this defensive barrier lasted about 1 second each time, and when the defensive barrier was activated, the two in front didn't attack. This meant that when the barrier opened, no one rushed to attack. It seemed they were trying to buy time, although I don't know why you're waiting. I don't want to wait like this. In the next moment, countless lightning bolts struck the barrier. At that moment, Kiryu's expression seemed to have made some determination. He had to hold on no matter what. Nearby, Renji's face showed concern because the fiercer Iluk's attacks were, and the faster Kiryu's magical power was consumed. Iluk confirmed Renji's assumption. As long as Kiryu's magical power ran out, the barrier couldn't continue to exist. Kiryu heard Iluk's words. He couldn't believe that in such a short time, his skill had been surpassed. Iluk moved quickly. Kiryu's magical power visibly decreased. Kiryu was very clear that continuing like this would lead to his death. Iluk took advantage of the skill's duration interval. A fierce sword aura wrapped around Kiryu. A loud rumbling sound arose and the ground trembled uncontrollably. Iluk murmured, "It's over." At this moment, Renji launched a surprise attack from behind, but clearly, Iluk was already prepared. You barely have any magical power left, what can you do? But suddenly, an extremely fast attack approached, and Iluk barely dodged by moving to the side. This aura is something Iluk feels for the first time, and he turns only to see Shikishima, sitting calmly right behind him. The aura around him has undergone a tremendous change. Even his attacks now have a power that corrodes the soul. Shikishima murmurs to himself, "Indeed, becoming Subaru's relative grants additional abilities. His attacks acquire the ability to strike directly at the soul." At this moment, a great flash of light appears in the sky and Iluk can't even open his eyes. Akira can be seen with a dark golden gate covering him behind. Renji received a message from Subaru, learning that both had simultaneously become Subaru's relatives. Akira understands that Renji's magical power is almost zero. Akira summons his golden arsenal skill. A weapon wrapped in a golden aura appears in the void. In the next moment, it appears in Renji's hand. The weapon also possesses a crushing soul power similar to Saiaka's. Subaru received the military emblem and battle flag at this moment. He feels very confused. He doesn't want everyone to become his family. But to conquer the 6-star gate, he has no other choice. Shikishima tells Subaru, "Subaru, please don't think like that. We are willing to do anything to overcome the 6-star gate." Shikishima, who has become a relative, learns about Subaru's memories. "I'm very sorry to make you endure so much pressure alone. Leave the rest to us." Everyone's momentum reaches its peak at this moment. Shikishima is also looking for the right opportunity to attack. Everyone's attacks are clearly more coordinated than before. For a moment, Iluk is completely unable to counterattack. Even when Iluk tries to counterattack, he is interrupted by Shikishima's long-range attacks. It's incredible. Their attacks are completely coordinated without any communication. His own power has mostly been exhausted. Renji and Sayaka's speed shows no signs of slowing down. Iluk refuses to believe he is being so badly defeated by this scum. Then suddenly he stands up and shouts, "Don't underestimate me." But Shikishima, from a distance, won't give him the chance to counterattack. Shikishima won't allow Iluk time to charge his skills. His job is to interrupt Iluk's skill casting. At this moment, Kiryu also uses his last bit of magical power, although this barrier can only last 1 second. 1 second is enough to leave you no escape. At this moment, Renji and Sayaka have already reached in front of him. "I won't lose. I won't lose to you, scum." Srenia desperately shouts at Iluk, but with the final blow, he simply can't believe he lost to scum. Then comes the message: boss defeated. Time rewinds a few days earlier where Ludwig had placed all his hopes on Renji, looking at the artifact emitting a faint glow in his hand. Renji doesn't understand how this lower-level artifact could kill the boss of the 6-star gate. Ludwig says, "This is the only Class C artifact I've collected. Its only ability is to send souls to the Sea of Souls. The Sea of Souls is the final destination for all broken souls." After speaking, a sad expression appears on Ludwig's face. She vaguely remembers things from her childhood. Her brother was the brightest star of the Golden Country. even though she was the older sister. Her brother's strength excited her greatly, but now, she has to find a way to kill her own brother. At this moment, Iluk's life value drops to 0, shouting angrily, "My soul will return to the underworld. I will come back." Renji speaks slowly. "You will no longer be able to return," while the artifact that glows faintly appears in Renji's hand, gently inserting it into Iluk's body. Iluk simply can't believe Ludwig really used this object against him. The next moment, Iluk's soul begins to break, his eyes full of sadness. Just because this artifact was the birthday gift he gave his sister on her 12th birthday. I really was wrong. Then it disperses into streams of light. Renji says, "It's finally over. Ludwig's promise has been fulfilled." At this moment, Ludwig, who is in the sea of splendor, feels something and slowly looks up at the sky. "Thank you, Renji. It's finally over." Saiaka breathes heavily while Renji looks at Akira in front of him. "You have grown a lot, and now you are very reliable." Looking at Renji in front of him, Akira's voice begins to break. "Mr. Renji, I am really happy to see you again." At this moment, Shikishima stands in front of Renji. Simply looking silently, this atmosphere makes Akira feel confused. Then they bump fists with a tacit understanding. "Welcome back, Renji." At this moment, Fuchigami and Jinga, who are nearby, show excited expressions and "We finally won." But Subaru's expression turns extremely serious, since he just received a hidden warning about the second disaster. The second disaster is coming much faster than he expected. The future will be tough, but we will definitely beat them this time. Subaru becomes the most dazzling savior, Renji murmurs. "Subaru has completely surpassed us. I'd really like to keep talking with you, but I need to return to the Sea of Light. Next time we meet, I will definitely be stronger. I look forward to our next encounter." Renji's face starts to contort. "Carrion has returned. This bastard is leaving right now." Shikishima and Subaru quickly grab Carrion. They can't ruin Renji's image in front of the crowd right now. Jinga walks alone toward Kiryu. "Help me say goodbye to Subaru. I have completed the task I promised," and Kiryu indicates his task is also finished, and that he probably should return to prison. Upon hearing this, Jinga bows deeply to Kiryu. "Please have more faith in Subaru. Subaru once told me that if Lord Kiryu wants to atone, then help them overcome future disasters." An emotional expression also appears, and patter after peers appears on Kiryu's face. "I still have the qualification to atone." Scene change. Ginga returns home. The news constantly reports that Subaru successfully conquered the 6-star gate and is called the youngest savior. Ginga deeply understands that Subaru is truly a special man. Suddenly, an ominous premonition arises in his heart, feeling that the silver gate appears. Suddenly behind him, Jinga doesn't understand why the silver gate would suddenly appear. Jinga pushes the silver gate with a restless heart, but the scene before his eyes leaves him even more incredulous. "Hello, nice to meet you. I am the Silver King. Let's have a good talk." Scene change. Having finished the battle of the 6-star gate, Subaru is once again quietly enjoying his time. Thinking that in 1 week the King's conference will begin looking at the peaceful world, he silently promises that this time he will protect it. Well, now there is one more important thing to do. That is to find Jinga, who has returned home. Jinga is very puzzled, having just finished the battle of the 6-star gate. "What business do you have with me now, Subaru?" he asks casually. "Can you come with me to the underworld next week?" Ginga is stunned for a moment. Can ordinary humans really enter the underworld? Ginga knows that the gate creatures come from the underworld, but can we really go? "Now, Subaru, I'm not surprised anymore. Everything you say makes me panic. Going to the underworld is something no one can imagine. But you say it so casually." Subaru indicates that he already considers Jinga a companion, so he wants to invite him. "I will form my own team. I hope Lord Jinga can become my companion. Never betray a companion. This will be the motto of my team. Subaru always makes me feel calm. I don't have confidence in my own strength, but I believe in you, Subaru." Hearing this, Subaru shows a sad expression as his hands join. A strange smile appears on Jinga's face. "Goodbye, Subaru." The Ice 9 skill instantly appears in Jinga's hand. At that moment, the Silver King shows a satisfied smile. "Subaru, in just a few days you've become very dangerous. Unlike the Silver King, the Gold King, and the Bronze King, what they've always wanted is to stop Subaru from the start. So they controlled Ginga and used Ice 9 on Subaru just when the Silver King naively thought he could easily kill Subaru this time, but at this moment, Subaru's expression shows no surprise at all. It's exactly as I predicted. Subaru's voice carries a cold, killing intent. "Silver King, I know you've been hiding nearby." The Silver King's face shows an expression of disbelief. "He really noticed me. Silver King, you made 2 fatal mistakes. Jinga, I would definitely wear a paper bag mask when going out. The most important thing in future memories is that Jinga died in front of Subaru. Even in the last moment, Jinga would never say I trust you because once said, Jinga would fear putting pressure on Subaru, afraid that he might prioritize saving the world over his own life. At that moment, Jinga told Subaru, before dying, "It's okay if you can't save the world. It's okay if you run away." Subaru clearly understands that Jinga trusts him a lot but wouldn't say those words. Subaru decisively discards his arm that is being corrupted. Such a decision impressed the Silver King, as if Subaru knew from the start he would control Jinga. Cutting the arm effectively blocks the corruption of the ability. Subaru rushes toward Jinga at an extremely high speed. His fingers quickly touch Jinga's body. Curse Blood, a more powerful curse ability, covers Jinga's body, devouring the control originally imposed by the Silver King. Now the control is back in Subaru's hands and he can lift Jinga's curse at any time. Seeing this, the Silver King shows an incredible expression. He really can break my control, then places Jinga on the ground and indicates it will end soon. The backpack begins to tremble slowly. In the next moment, it suddenly opens and an arm appears, prepared, his Barush.